In the city of Terra Negra of the Immortal Kingdom lay the gravel desert. In this land where camouflaged animals lived, a sudden commotion broke out. Desert ghost wolves were chasing a group of girls who were screaming for help. Having only faced level 1 monsters, they had encountered level 3 wolves and fled. The warrior and leader of the group pointed to a forest ahead. If we reach the trees, we can survive. However, she was worried, as the ghost wolves would not give up hunting their prey. Already injured, they had no choice but to run. However, in the middle of their escape, the mage tripped and fell to the ground. Worried about Xiaohei, the warrior and the cleric turned around in fright, but the wolves were already pouncing on their companion. Xiaohei saw her life flash before her eyes, but at the last moment, an attack took down the wolf that was attacking her. The beast, hit by the sword, fell beside her, and soon someone approached, pulling out the blade. Surprised to see a hooded person, Xiaohei wondered who had saved her. Upon checking the person's information, however, she discovered that he was at level 1. The man removed his hood and surprisingly revealed himself to be a complete novice. Still, he faced the pack. With a serious gaze, he watched the monsters, too strong to be just level 3, advance. With the sword in hand, he lunged forward with a sharp, dark look. 3 wolves jumped at him, showing claws and fangs, but his attacks drew a continuous arc, eliminating them before they could prove to be a threat. The girls were shocked to see the level 1 young man demonstrate such strength. The sword he wielded drew attention. The group leader couldn't believe he had defeated 4 desert ghost wolves with a simple novice sword. Xiaohei was then surprised to notice something on the horizon. A new pack of wolves had appeared. Faced with the large horde, they hid behind the mysterious man. But soon fear spoke louder, and they ran. "Run! This wolf horde is capable of wiping out an entire novice village," she warned the young man, but he only smiled. As he extended his hand, power overflowed around him, and 5 cards emerged. With them, the system's voice echoed, "Player Lin Yuen, would you like to summon skeleton warriors?" He confirmed the request, launching the cards forward. As soon as they fell to the ground, they formed a powerful summoning magic circle. From the ground, a skeletal hand emerged. 5 level 3 skeleton warriors were summoned, roaring to the afterlife. The wolves were not intimidated and advanced to use the bones as snacks, but confident Lin Yuen whispered, "Let's see who will be turned into pieces first." The skeletons advanced, confronting the horde in an overwhelming manner. Their swords blocked attacks and launched counterattacks immediately afterward. Lin Yuen joined the battle, brandishing his blade alongside the skeleton warriors. 15 minutes later, all the wolves were already on the ground. Lin Yuen pulled out his sword after defeating the 16th desert ghost wolf. While obtaining 16 wolf teeth as a reward, power flowed to him and the skeletons. Souls seemed to leave the summoned creatures, flying towards Lin Yuen. Shocked, the cleric of the group of girls asked if she was dreaming. Xiaohei approached Lin Yuen, questioning if he was a mage for using summoning abilities, some of which she, even as a mage, had never seen before. Lin Yuen stared at the girl with his red eyes. "Who said I'm a mage?" Surprised, the young woman wanted to know what he was, but received only a smile in response. Lin Yuen possessed a forbidden triple S tier class, Necromancer. He, coming from the blue planet, was a reincarnated person. 3 years ago, scientists had observed a mysterious planet called Magic Planet, which had suddenly appeared near the blue planet. 3 months ago, an enigmatic company announced a virtual reality game called Immortal World, shocking the world. Upon entering Immortal World, humans were categorized into different classes, and through the leveling system, acquired skills to fight. At first, no one paid much attention, as it seemed like just a game, until people started gaining power in the real world. These people were called the Chosen. From then on, a group of cultists known as the Evil Star Deity Faithful began invading the real world from the virtual one, attacking players. Chaos took over the planet, and unfortunately Lin Yuen's parents were victims of the tragedy. Humans from all sides united to fight but were defeated by the cultists. Lin Yuen was one of those who perished in the final battle. However, an hour ago, he was reincarnated at the moment of his first entry into Immortal World, obtaining a triple S tier class. With this new power, he swore that he would become strong enough to protect the blue planet and his family. Bending down, the protagonist extended his hand over one of the fallen wolves. From the body, as well as from the others, energy shadows rose. A notification appeared. "Do you wish to use Shadow Summon on the bodies of the desert ghost wolves?" As soon as Lin Yuen confirmed, the wolves stood up with a new power. This special class possessed the physical traits of a warrior and the ability to use Shadow Summon, turning monster bodies into zombies. These zombified creatures not only inherited the abilities they had in life, but also gained the new skill Dormant Body, which granted them immunity to most negative effects. Extending his hand, Lin Yuen used another ability, the Gate of the Underworld. The ground under the wolves split open as if gates were opening. This ability maintained the reincarnated monsters, increasing both the number of servants in his possession and their level. When the true gate appeared, it opened for the wolves to enter. Lin Yuen was confident that with enough level, he would create an army of unstoppable zombies. Upon seeing the young man revive the wolves as zombies, the warrior hastily asked who he was. Ignoring the question, Lin Yuen realized that the time had come. The time for the world boss, the giant wolf, to emerge. A notification appeared for everyone, mainly showing Lin Yuen that it was time to face the boss. Lightning spread across the red sky, alerting all players. From the cracks opened by the lightning, the sky tore open and dark eyes emerged in the void. The players understood that the giant wolf was about to appear. Remembering that it possessed long-range attacks, the novices hurriedly fled. As they ran in despair, a shadow appeared, attacking them. A pair of players hid behind rocks. The immense black and red wolf possessed teeth as large as human arms and a gaze as deep as the most intense fire. A player was shocked to see his brother attacked by the wolf, but was held back by his companions. Alone, he couldn't do anything. The hidden pair wondered if anyone would be able to defeat such a monster. Soon they saw someone advancing. It was Lin Yuen. The protagonist was carrying the worn sword with a downcast look. Observing that blade, the hidden players concluded that he could only be a novice. Still, he was facing a Lord tier, level 6 monster. In Immortal World, monsters were categorized into different tiers: normal, elite, leader, lord, king, monarch, and deity. Among them, a Lord tier monster, even at level 1, already represented a deadly threat to novices. Lin Yuen stood before the huge wolf, which growled in his direction. From the hiding spot, someone shouted, "Are you crazy? Run away!" But the level 6 boss monster had already marked him as prey. Standing before the great wolf, Lin Yuen came to a conclusion. "You're not as impressive as they say." The provocation infuriated the wolf. With a roar, the monster launched a column of energy against Lin Yuen, but he disappeared. The protagonist had leaped backward, dodging. The wolf then advanced, revealing its claws. With a serious look, Lin Yuen recalled his past life. That creature possessed strengthening abilities, but only had 3,400 hit points and 510 attack points. For adventurers in the gravel desert who were usually level 3, it would be almost impossible to defeat it without a team. Lin Yuen remembered how much he had suffered against it in the past. However, after countless battles, he was a different person. The wolf's claws came down on him, but only struck the rocky ground. Lin Yuen had moved to the side, revealing a speed that impressed the hidden players. The enraged wolf charged again. Lin Yuen smiled at the reaction and touched the ground, releasing an incredible amount of dark energy. The gate of the underworld rose from the earth, large enough to frighten even the gigantic wolf. When it opened, Lin Yuen allowed his army to emerge. Dozens of wolves appeared, advancing against the giant lord. The players were terrified both by the dark gate and the zombies, which resembled desert ghost wolves. After defeating the previous enemies, Lin Yuen had reached level 3, which increased the capacity of the gate of the underworld to 30 units. Leveling up had been worth it. The game mechanics made the summons as strong as the summoner himself, and when both were present, the monsters prioritized attacking the servants, ignoring the master. The zombie wolves were hurled away, but soon recovered, confronting the lord again, who attacked confidently in his superior size. With the wolf's attention diverted, Lin Yuen advanced. Using the aggro function, he was free to brandish his sword against the monster's entire body in a flurry of attacks. The giant wolf howled to the heavens, consumed by fury. Quickly, it managed to recover and charge towards Lin Yuen. The high damage dealt had attracted the aggro back, but Lin Yuen sent his zombie wolves to harass the lord once more. He trusted that, just as ants could bring down an elephant through sheer numbers, his servants could cause enough damage to defeat the monster. Soon, the great wolf began to falter. Watching the battle, everyone was impressed. However, some were already starting to harbor malicious intentions. A few minutes later, when the boss had only 500 hit points, Lin Yuen attacked personally, leaping while pointing his sword downwards. He dealt critical damage, causing the boss's life to drop rapidly. The wolf's howl echoed throughout the desert as the great amount of damage was inflicted. Powerless, it collapsed to the ground. The boss was left with only 10 hit points after Lin Yuen's attack. The protagonist stared at it, ready to deliver the final blow. But at that moment, 3 malicious players charged at him. Lin Yuen noticed their presence, and while a hidden man shouted to alert him, he moved immediately. With a single swing of his sword, he sent the trio who tried to attack him from behind flying. With the blade still dripping red, he defeated the 3 of them. Approaching with a sneer, he said, "Don't overestimate yourselves." The players were shocked to see the 3 bandits eliminated in an instant. While Lin Yuen was losing time with the distractions, the giant wolf got up. But it didn't have time to run, as Lin Yuen brandished his sword and launched an energy blow. The critical attack hit the boss monster, which took its last breaths. As a reward, Lin Yuen received 480 experience points, in addition to a gem. Still, he needed to check what other rewards the boss would grant him. In the middle of a pillar of golden light, Lin Yuen found the gem as well as a chest. The soul gem could be exchanged at the Eternal Council for a legendary item, provided a certain amount was collected. Lin Yuen remembered that, at level 60, players traveled to the land of the elves to continue their evolution, but it was still too early to go there. Knowing that these gems were the easiest way to obtain legendary equipment, he also mentally recalled the item hierarchy: white, black iron, bronze, silver, gold, dark gold, epic, legendary, and mythical. Novice players usually had white rank equipment, and rarely black iron. 2 hours ago, Lin Yuen had used the experience to manipulate 2 skeleton warriors, attracting the elite rank sand lizard. Thus, he obtained a bronze breastplate, as well as a bronze rank black lizard robe, and the title of Hunter. In the immortal world, different titles granted specific skills or effects. The Hunter title, which Lin Yuen had earned, was excellent. It increased attack power by 10%, critical hit chance by 10%, and also spell damage. For being the first player to defeat the world boss, he obtained a silver rank chest, which he promptly opened. Inside, he found the Silver Moon Sword of silver rank, in addition to a ring, a scroll, and some potions. With the experience points being accounted for, Lin Yuen's data began to update. He reached level 4. Receiving 5 points per evolution, he distributed 3 in mind and 2 in strength. With this, he reached 10 points in strength and physique, 25 in agility, and 35 in mind. Lin Yuen was satisfied, as these statistics were already the highest among the players in the Gravel Desert. Additionally, the Gate of the Underworld now accommodated 40 units. Although all the zombie wolves had been sacrificed, his gains had been immense. Extending his hand over the body of the giant wolf, the notification to use Shadow Summon appeared. As soon as Lin Yuen confirmed, the giant wolf rose, consumed by a dark energy. Even more sinister than before, it answered the call. Observing the wolf's abilities, Lin Yuen discovered that it possessed area of effect techniques, in addition to crowd controls. After becoming a zombie, it also gained undead fury. He sent the wolf into the Gate of the Underworld, planning to use it in the future to expand his army. Everyone was terrified to see someone turn the boss into a zombie. In their eyes, Lin Yuen was scarier than the monsters themselves. At that moment, Lin Yuen realized something. People started disappearing from their hiding spots. They hid even further away, so they wouldn't enter his line of sight. After the 3 bandits were eliminated, they ended up dropping some swords. They were good for low-level players, but Lin Yuen had gotten better weapons. Picking up one of the swords, he walked up to the rocks where the players were hiding, frightened. The protagonist approached a specific one. "You were the one who shouted just now, weren't you?" The young man stammered, afraid to answer. Unexpectedly, Lin Yuen gifted him the extra sword. As soon as he handed over the weapon, he said goodbye and left. Everyone gathered around the young man who received it, shocked, as it was worth tens of thousands. After walking for 10 minutes, Lin Yuen felt something strange. A sense of weakening began to emerge. In the real world, he removed the helmet that connected him to the game. The device had shut down due to lack of battery. Sighing, he reminded himself that he needed to earn money to buy the immersion capsule. Upon exiting the game, he observed the Immortal World start screen. This was a hyper-realistic holographic game, divided into multiple logins based on continental areas. Furthermore, each login area contained different kingdoms for players to choose from. In the Elpad district, where Lin Yuen lived, there were 4 countries: the ancestral country of the West Desert, the Southern Empire, the Northern Hades Empire, and Tidal Island. It was possible to choose a birthplace, and upon restarting in this world, he made the same choice as in his past life: the ancestral continent of the West Desert. He had done this because, in his other life, he had discovered a secret. In the final war, a spatial rift had appeared. Torn apart by the monsters, Lin Yuen heard the cries for help from countless people. But it was at that moment that, from the rift, winged beings appeared. Among the winged beings, there was a hooded man. A yellow sapphire adorned a brooch on his clothes, the emblem of the Desert Kingdom Guild. The first follower of the Evil Star deity had actually been a human player. Lin Yuen knew that this follower was crucial for the descent of the evil sovereign, and that, with only 3 years remaining, he needed to eliminate him to prevent the tragedy from repeating itself. However, the only clue he had was the emblem. Only the guilds of the main city of the Western Desert used insignias with yellow sapphires, and the condition to enter the city was to reach level 10. To expose the enemy's true identity, he needed to hurry up and increase his level. Thinking about this, Lin Yuen made an attempt. Opening his hand, he summoned the Skeleton Warrior card. He had become one of the Chosen, just like the other Immortal World players, who could transport their powers outside the game. The Chosen, also known as the Sons of Destiny, possessed a powerful secret class and extremely high luck. They would be the main fighting force in the confrontation against the evil sovereign, which would occur in a few years. In real life, the abilities had only been obtained after the Blue Star catastrophe, but this time, they occurred much earlier. earlier. The forbidden Necromancer ability that Lin Yuen had received was not common, but it was not yet known how superior it was compared to other secret classes. Suddenly, the protagonist heard a noise outside the room. It was already past lunchtime, and he received a visit. His parents were surprised to see the various sophisticated dishes on the table. Serving the last of the dishes, Lin Yuen asked them to help themselves. His mother told her husband to eat quickly, admiring her son's gesture. Lin Yuen had learned that one of the human characteristics was realizing the value of something only after almost losing it. In his past life, he lived in ignorance, spending his days uselessly. His parents constantly argued due to his gaming addiction. But when the disaster happened, he discovered painfully how foolish he had been. Since it was Sunday, Lin Yuen asked if little Tan would not come home for lunch. Happily, his mother revealed that Tan Tan was preparing for exams and was eating while studying at school. Remembering something, his mother asked him to take food to his sister when he had time. She enjoyed the meal, surprised that he knew how to cook. Seeing how much she ate, his father let her have all the chicken wings. At that moment, Lin Yuen served his father, stating that, in the future, he would learn to cook other dishes. Surprised, they paused momentarily and moved, nodded. During the day, Lin Yuen spent time running around the city and exercising. To better control the power that the game brought to reality, he needed to have a physical constitution strong enough to support it. After a run in the park, sweaty, Lin Yuen checked his performance. 50 meters in 5.5 seconds. Not bad, but still far from the goal he aimed for. After all the training, it was time to go back. A mist arose at the moment of login, and Lin Yuen appeared in the gravel desert. Various flying beings crossed the sky, reflecting shadows of their wings onto the sand. Lin Yuen was being chased as he advanced and soon looked up, discovering that monsters were observing him. Several red birds plunged towards him, planning to devour him. They were the Howling Birds, level 2 monsters. With precise sword cuts, the protagonist turned them into fried chicken. By defeating the Howling Birds, Lin Yuen obtained 15 experience points. The amount was not impressive, but enough to keep him moving. He continued forward, turning the birds into zombies shortly after. Soon, Lin Yuen found dozens of wolves gathered in a horde. The birds had attracted the wolves, showing that they were their favorite prey. The protagonist used a potion to help him face the horde. With the monster essence, he increased all his stats by 10 points. The enhanced speed allowed him to advance against the ghost wolves. The hungry horde ran towards him, opening mouths full of sharp teeth. Using the wolves as a warm-up, Lin Yuen brandished his sword like a dance, eliminating 4 of them at once. 2 wolves jumped on him, but cuts that summoned shadows instantly destroyed them. Lin Yuen was soon surrounded by the wolves who wouldn't give up. Dozens of monsters surrounded him, making it impossible to escape. However, he was already preparing for their advance. As soon as they attacked, he delivered powerful blows, eliminating several monsters with each sword thrust. The kill count rose quickly, surpassing 20 wolves and easily reaching 30, thanks to his sword skill and the attributes he had evolved. When he reached 40 kills, Lin Yuen hit level 5. The gate of the underworld was opened once more, and the zombie wolves were directed into it. After 2 intense battles, he had formed his army of monsters again. With the 4 main attributes increased by the monster essence, Lin Yuen's combat power was enough to face elite monsters at the same level. This marked the beginning of his plan to go to the city to find a certain person. The protagonist entered a house with cracks in the walls. There was a drunkard, Quincy, the instructor of the mages of Black Sand City. Lin Yuen was there to learn skills. In the game Immortal World, skills were usually acquired in books left by monsters or in treasure chests. Additionally, each profession had its own novice instructor, responsible for teaching skills. Quincy was the instructor for novice mages. Upon realizing the young man's intentions, Quincy celebrated, as he would earn money for drinks for the rest of the month. Despite having been a mage in his past life, Lin Yuen had little information about the Necromancer class, but believed that it considered magic as the attribute for its abilities. Before moving on to specialized skills, he intended to learn the basic mage skills. I want to learn the spiritual flame skill, the art of healing, and also the art of concealment. The protagonist threw a bag of coins to Quincy, exactly what the instructor wanted. Seeing the countless silver coins, Quincy was satisfied. Extending his hand, the drunkard created a sphere of energy. Do your best, young man, for the glory of the mages who will shine upon you with splendor. Lin Yuen learned the 3 desired skills. Spiritual Flame, which dealt damage to the target. Art of Healing, which restored 10% of health. Art of Concealment, which made the user camouflaged for 5 seconds. The protagonist already had a lot of knowledge about how the skills could be used, but since they were too simple, he hoped to evolve them, something that required resources. Lin Yuen set a plan: go back to hunting and level up. To the east of Black Sand City was the Black Sand Mountain, accessible only by a narrow stone path. Upon reaching the end of the path, Lin Yuen was congratulated for discovering the kobold mine. Kobolds were level 5 monsters that lived near caves. They had keen sense of smell, could hunt in the dark, and carried out ambushes. Even more dangerously, the number of kobolds in each group reached hundreds. In terms of number and level, the kobolds were completely superior to common monsters, becoming a powerful source for the kobold army. Lin Yuen used a night vision potion, lasting 30 minutes. He intended to use the kobolds to maximize skill proficiency, in addition to opening some treasure chests. As soon as his ghost wolf army appeared, Lin Yuen raised a torch. Advance and clear the path ahead. The wolves quickly entered the dark cave. The protagonist and his wolves walked through the cave for 15 minutes. After a long time, Lin Yuen found something. A chamber in the cave showed traces of civilization, as well as movements in the darkness. The protagonist threw the torch forward, lighting up the space. The torch fell into another chamber, after a flight of stairs, revealing the kobolds. With red eyes, the monsters charged towards the undead army. The undead wolves also advanced under Lin Yuen's order. Eliminate them all! Leave none alive! The protagonist charged with the wolves, facing the kobolds. The monsters, with a werewolf appearance, carried pickaxes or attacked with their claws. But the undead wolves that Lin Yuen controlled showed the strength they possessed, and thanks to Lin Yuen's own support, dominated the battle. The kobolds relied on their smash skills to deal powerful damage, but Lin Yuen's sharp sword could eliminate them with a single blow. The combat power of each kobold was not great, so the only thing that really mattered in the battle was dodging the pickaxe. Several kobolds united, leaping towards Lin Yuen. At this moment, he used the concealment skill. The pickaxes hit the ground as Lin Yuen had disappeared. Appearing behind one of the kobolds, he mocked, "You idiot, I'm here." The protagonist used his sword to attack the kobolds as if he were preparing a barbecue. Soon, a total of 20 kobolds had been eliminated. Having won the first part of the battle, Lin Yuen retreated. The art of concealment ended, as it only lasted 5 seconds, but it was enough to increase the 100 points needed to evolve the skill by 5 points. However, as the kobold's attributes were very low, the evolution of the skill became extremely slow. Lin Yuen didn't stand still and used the necromancy skill on the kobolds who rose in the shadows. Raising his sword, he commanded, "From now on, you will replace the undead ghost wolves. Find the leader of this place." Lin Yuen followed behind 3 kobolds through a tunnel. He arrived at a large room where there were various paths that spread across the walls and ceiling. Before entering the tunnels, the protagonist noticed something on a wall full of marks. Releasing energy with his finger, he smiled. "I found you." The energy was launched at a target, hitting several stone-colored slime balls. At the same instant, dark eyes fixed on Lin Yuen in the shadows. Although he was surrounded by his zombie kobolds, a giant kobold with a lace of thorns leaped to attack him. The kobold foreman, an elite level 6 monster, showed no mercy in its attack. Since ancient times, the weak have been preyed upon by the strong. This was the immutable law of survival in the natural world. The predator, however, was always doomed to become prey at some point. Absolute danger lurked at every moment. Showing the power of a predator, the kobold foreman exploded the ground with the attack, raising a curtain of dust. Something that could always happen was for the hunter to pretend to be in defenseless prey, just waiting for the counterattack. Lin Yuen had grabbed the pole that the kobold foreman used to attack him. He held it tightly and used it against the kobold itself, spinning it and violently pulling him. The kobold foreman didn't let go of the weapon and ended up being thrown against the ground, destroying the large stone it landed on. Still, it got up furiously, but at that moment a shadow passed by it. Before it could realize, it had already been hit by Lin Yuen's sword attack. The blows fell upon the monster, forcing it to fall to its knees. Powerless, the foreman could no longer get up. However, from the shadows, countless other kobolds emerged. Lin Yuen could see over 50 gathered, including other foremen among them. However, the numbers under Lin Yuen's command were balanced, which made the fight possible. Opening the gate of the underworld, he summoned the wolves to the battle. The hunt has officially begun. The wolves snarled fiercely, advancing against the kobolds who carried their miners' pickaxes. A fierce battle began. The pickaxes tore at the wolves, who retaliated with sharp fangs in their bites. Soon a giant wolf appeared and used the darkness howl ability, stunning the kobolds around it. Those hit by the range of the howl were not only stunned but also suffered severe injuries. The giant wolf's attack changed the course of the battle. Lin Yuen raised his sword and shouted, "Eliminate them all!" One after another, the kobolds were defeated, 40 in total, until Lin Yuen reached level 6. The various souls of the monsters floated towards him, and he collected them to use his necromancer abilities and raise the defeated foreman. While Lin Yuen strengthened his troops, the kobolds who survived tried to retreat, but Lin Yuen would not allow them to escape. Letting the sword speak for him, he ran among the enemies, hitting every one of those who remained. At that moment, however, he was surprised by a powerful club that descended towards him. He quickly retreated, dodging the decisive blow of the kobold chief. The The monster, a level 7 boss tier armed with a stone hammer, roared at the protagonist, but Lin Yuen had been waiting for it all this time, prepared to face it. The kobold chief's hammer exploded a wall upon hitting it. The weapon ended up stuck in the rocks after the impact, and even trying to pull it, the monster couldn't free it. Lin Yuen saw that as an opportunity and attacked. The sword blow fell upon the kobold chief, partially hitting the hammer, which was recovered in time, and the rest directly onto the enemy's body. However, due to the boss's high defense, Lin Yuen couldn't penetrate it. Roaring, the kobold chief once again swung the hammer, destroying another wall. The protagonist was surprised by the speed of the monster, which attacked again with an overhead hammer blow. Enraged, the kobold delivered such a powerful blow that it exploded the ground, throwing Lin Yuen far away. The protagonist recovered quickly. The boss's attacks did not follow a simple pattern, not even compared to other monsters of the same level. Based on the strength it demonstrated, it was at least 3 times more powerful than elite monsters. Lin Yuen devised a plan: maintain the distance between them, and at the same time, ensure that the chief continued to receive damage. To do this, he raised his various zombies, surrounding the enemy. Each of the summoned monsters used their abilities, attacking the kobold chief, who counterattacked with a devastating blow, a spin that created a hurricane capable of dealing double damage. As soon as his undead escaped the spinning attack, Lin Yuen commanded again, "Advance!" The wolves leaped onto the kobold, sinking their teeth into its flesh. The giant wolf roared fiercely, activating the Undead Wrath Group ability. The power and critical hit chance of all monsters in the area increased considerably. With the buff, the wolves jumped against the kobold chief once more, as if lightning bolts were falling on it due to the energy that dominated the undead creatures. The monster howled helplessly. The battle intensified more and more. Lin Yuen still had a weapon up his sleeve, the spiritual flame magic. A barrage of flames fell upon the kobold chief, who was practically immobilized by the wolves surrounding it. Since the kobold's magic defense was extremely low, the flames completely enveloped the chief's body, causing additional damage. Howling in pain, the monster managed to free itself from the flames despite the injuries. It charged once more against Lin Yuen, the real threat. But when it approached, Lin Yuen activated the concealment skill, moving behind the enemy without showing mercy, his eyes fixed on the exposed nape of the neck. Pointing the sword downwards, Lin Yuen plunged it in like a knife through butter. The kobold chief roared in agony, spun its body, and with a hammer blow, threw the protagonist away. Still, Lin Yuen, sword in hand, rose to challenge the boss monster again. At that moment, one of his zombie wolves lunged towards him. Mounting the giant wolf, he took the lead of the attack, guiding his beasts against the enemy. The kobold chief, however, showed its immense power once more, swinging the hammer and spreading destruction. But its armor was already beginning to be damaged by the wolves that sank their fangs and claws into it. Lin Yuen took advantage of the opening and conjured countless celestial fires, making them rain down on the kobold chief once more. Surrounded by the flames, the boss monster roared in pain and suffering. A multitude of common kobolds suddenly appeared to help their leader. In Lin Yuan's eyes, this was nothing more than a final desperate attack. Against the new enemies, Lin Yuen eliminated a dozen foremen, in addition to over 30 kobold miners. The kobold chief was left aside by the wolves, who had to face the common monsters, and he took the opportunity to try and escape. However, Lin Yuen got in his way. Trying to escape? Then leave your life for me. Advancing one last time, he struck the kobold chief. Like a king losing his crown, the monster lost what he possessed above his shoulders. The body fell to the ground after being eliminated, granting 50 experience points to Lin Yuen. The protagonist received the points, reaching level 7. Yuen was satisfied as he was one step closer to level 10 when he could head to the main city of the Western Desert. Thanks to the long battle, he managed to evolve the skills Spirit Flame and Art of Concealment. Lin Yuen's attention was drawn by what appeared next. A bronze chest surfaced on top of the kobold chief's body. Without hesitation, he opened it, obtaining several items and 20 gold coins. Soon, the world's main bank would be opened for exchanges between reality and the immortal world. 20 gold coins would be equivalent to 200,000 yuan, not bad for the beginning of his journey. Besides the gold, he obtained the unquenchable torch, which provided night vision in a 3-meter radius, and the skull mask, an armor-type item that reduced physical damage received by 5%. Finally, Lin Yuen was impressed by a glove, the Shadow Gauntlet, a silver rank item that granted 30 attack and defense points. Lin Yuen's luck proved to be incredible, leaving him extremely excited to test out the new equipment. Near the Kobold Cave, there was a small forest where dozens of wolves had been defeated. Before them stood the leader of the Bloodscar Guild, Huang Feilong, the Flying Yellow Dragon, a level 8 warrior. Beside him, Vice Leader Huang Feiju, the Flying Yellow Tiger, a level 5 thief, celebrated the training they had done, treating themselves as invincible. The guild members were impressed with the duo, who had eliminated countless ghost wolves. Many were eager to meet the Thunder Guild members again and face them once more. Huang Feihu snorted, cursing Lin Yuen for suddenly appearing and claiming the kill on the first world boss. They still remembered the day before, when Lin Yuen solo defeated the giant ghost wolf. Feihu swore that when he met him again, he would unleash all his fury upon him. Meanwhile, Huang Feilong warned Feiju not to act rashly. Lin Yuen is a tyrant, and his strength should not be underestimated. So, instead of antagonizing him, it's better to make him fight on our side. Knowing that the kobold dungeon was nearby, Huang Feilong decided to inspect it, ordering the group to rest while they recovered their energy. Reprimanded by his older brother for the third time, Huang Feiju cursed internally and swore to the heavens, "Lin Yuen, just you wait. The day I find you, I will eliminate you so my brother can see who is truly powerful." A bald monk suddenly caught Feiju's attention. "Vice leader, don't get angry over that useless person. Look over here!" Curious, Feiju followed the direction pointed out by his subordinate. Amidst the trees, a mage was happily walking. Huang Feihu and his subordinates cast malicious glances at the young woman. The protagonist left the kobold dungeon through another entrance. He had managed to add the kobold chief to his collection, in addition to increasing the number of undead in the underworld to 70. As he planned to advance further with his plans, he heard a girl's scream. "Don't come near!" He noticed a scared and wounded mage, retreating in front of a group of people. Climbing onto a small mound, she was surrounded. Huang Feihu smiled maliciously with his companions, trying to deceive her. "Don't worry, you'll have fun with us instead of suffering." However, the mage kept waving her staff. "If you come closer, I'll attack." But before she could do such a thing, Huang Feihu appeared before her, kicking her staff away. He managed to throw her to the ground and held her by the hair. "If you won't give up, I want to see how you'll react." He smiled like a madman, taking advantage of the mage's despair for his own amusement. Like a maniac, he pulled at her clothes, but at the same instant his cheek was deformed by a punch that carried a large amount of energy. The owner of that fist was wearing a glove, which sent Huang Feihu flying. Seeing the blow that struck the vice-captain of the Bloodscar Guild, the group of subordinates was dumbfounded. Feihu dragged himself on the ground until he hit a large rock, raising a curtain of smoke. Powerless, he was pinned against the rock. Having tested the new glove, Lin Yuen commented to himself, "The effect is not so bad, easier to use than I imagined." One of the subordinates tried to escape quickly to get the guild leader. At the same time, two others shouted, "Who are you? If you anger the Bloodscar Guild, your fate will be sealed." The protagonist ignored the threats and stared at them. He focused on the guild's crest, which had an axe and two crossed swords. He remembered this guild, where most players had a red name for committing evil. Red name players had been classified by the system for having more than 6 sin points, due to criminal acts, deliberate attacks, robberies, or the like. Although the evil governor had not yet invaded the world, and the attack on players had not yet reached the real world, losing equipment and levels tremendously affected players. With such things in mind, Lin Yuen asked a simple question. "Are you all from the Bloodscar Guild?" The group was surprised, but a bald man boasted, "That's right. We are a renowned guild in Black Sand City. You've enraged our vice-captain. Has fear filled your heart now?" Maliciously, the bald man ordered him to crawl and call him grandpa repeatedly to receive forgiveness. Seeing that there was no point in talking, Lin Yuen simply attacked the duo in front of him with a single blow. Like pieces of a disassembled doll, arms flew. The amputated group fell to the ground, being forced to kneel. The mage who had been saved by Lin Yuen was shocked by his strength. In a corner of the wall, Huang Feihu was getting up, still shaking, after using a potion that restored 20% of his health points and magic points. He gnashed his teeth and stood up with fury dominating him, overflowing with evil energy. "Damn it, your destiny is condemnation." At that moment, a voice also emerged. "Let's see who dares to mess with a dragon and a tiger." The protagonist looked back, drawn by the voice. The guild member who had fled pointed up. "He's the one who attacked the vice leader." Annoyed, Huang Feilong grabbed his axe while shouting, "Who?" But he stopped suddenly. He was staring into dark, cold, and indifferent eyes, which possessed an overwhelming presence. In the unknown man's hand was a sharp, shining ice sword, capable of cutting through anything. The aura emanating from him caused those around him to suffocate without realizing it. Ignoring these things, the Scar Guild member shouted, "Master, hurry up and show this brat our power." The subordinate cursed Lin Yuen, but Huang Feilong couldn't move. Knowing that that sword looked like one obtained from eliminating a boss-level monster, he was 90% sure he was facing the person called Lin Yuen. With a dark look, he knew he couldn't avoid this battle. At the same instant, someone leaped from behind Lin Yuen. The mage looked up, shouting, "Watch your back!" Huang Feihu leaped while carrying two swords and cursing, "Perish, damn you!" At the same moment, Huang Feilong brandished his axe. "Young man, you made a stupid decision by confronting us." Lin Yuen was being attacked from the front and the back, but those who attacked him were surprised. An energy surged, as did a kobold chief carrying a hammer. The kobold smiled maliciously and swung the tool. It hit Huang Feihu squarely, throwing him far away with a single attack. Lin Yuen addressed Huang Feilong. "You're next!" Feilong was speechless at such words. Before he could realize, Lin Yuen's attack had already hit him, carrying an oppressive energy. With a single blow, the protagonist took down the guild leader and mocked, "This guild doesn't even have the qualification to be taken seriously." A notification popped up for Lin Yuen. For eliminating a human player, his sin value had increased by 2 points, but he expected these 2 points to disappear, as long as he didn't accumulate any more within a week. Seeing other Bloodscar Guild members flee, the mage hastily asked if they should chase them. However, Lin Yuen didn't want to go after insects. He checked the bodies of those he had defeated. From Huang Feilong, he obtained an explosive battle axe of silver rank, as well as the twin dragon blades that Huang Feihu possessed, along with the bronze rank thorny dagger. Although he had no use for the items, Lin Yuen thought about selling them. At that moment, the mage who had been attacked approached with kitten eyes. "Great, sir. Thank you for saving me, but I don't even know your name yet." The protagonist turned and declared, "One day you will find out my name on the world's top 10 list." The declaration surprised the young mage, but stomping her feet, she complained, "Who cares about such a trivial list? Sir, take me with you." Lin Yuen had arrived in the Desert of Lamentations, where there was nothing but sand. A monster emerged, submerged in the soil. Thunder scorpions jumped out of the sand, attacking Lin Yuen. The protagonist reacted in time, preparing for battle. The scorpion's stinger traveled towards him, but spinning his sword, the protagonist cut them with no room for error, eliminating each one. Overflowing with overwhelming energy, the protagonist created a vortex by spinning his sword. Hunting for some time, he managed to eliminate 60 scorpions, reaching level 8. Despite reaching level 8, gathering paralyzing herbs would be quite annoying, but still an unexpected gain. 2 days before, Lin Yuen had gone to a dungeon where he found an old man in a hat. The old man, with a braided beard, held out his hand when he saw him. "Hero, we finally meet." The protagonist received a quest from the alchemist Emor. The quest was called Emor's Will and asked him to go to the Desert of Lamentations to gather 100 paralysis herbs and deliver them to the alchemist. After a period of time, Lin Yuen knew that a special dungeon would open in the main city. Its monsters would have electrical properties and, to successfully defeat it, it was necessary to have high resistance. For this reason, the demand for electrical resistance potions would skyrocket, and their true value would reach hundreds of gold coins. In Lin Yuen's past life, someone made a fortune because of this. Completing the paralysis herb quest would give him the recipe for the resistance potion, which is why it was so important. Emor had arrived in Black Sand City for the first time. After this quest was taken by someone, he would disappear forever. Therefore, this was the only chance to obtain it. The protagonist promptly received the quest and went to the desert where he hunted the scorpions. They, which were level 6 electric-type monsters, were the guards of the paralysis herb. But for Lin Yuen, they posed no threat. He planned to complete the quest and use the opportunity to increase the proficiency of his skills during the hunt. Approaching the leafless herbs, he used the gathering skill. The skill, already at level 2, had a 5% bonus to increase the quality of the herbs obtained. Gathering all of them from the area, he delved further into the desert. After walking a little more, Lin Yuen suddenly stopped. He felt something on the ground, and the next moment, a stinger attacked him. The protagonist quickly retreated, escaping the surprise attack. After the forced retreat, Lin Yuen stared, frowning, at the monster he would face. He had found the dark mutant monster, the crystal lightning scorpion. Finding such a creature, which possessed a crystal instead of a stinger, in that location surprised Lin Yuen. Despite being difficult to face a level 10 monster, he smiled, excited to sharpen his sword using the scorpion's crystal shell. A powerful sword blow, which created an energy tornado, traveled towards the scorpion. Lin Yuen's sword, however, failed to pierce the shell. The scorpion's armor had no vulnerable points. The boss monster would not let the human go unpunished. Lightning flashed everywhere as the paralyzing thunderstrike had been activated. Lin Yuen tried to sink his sword into the scorpion so as not to be thrown away. The next moment, the boss activated the venomous spines attack, aiming the tip of the stinger at Lin Yuen. The protagonist managed to jump, making the scorpion hit itself. Retreating while brandishing his sword, Lin Yuen made the enemy even more furious. Since the strength of the crystal scorpion was beyond expectations, Lin Yuen needed to understand its true battle power. With pincers full of electricity, the scorpion crawled towards the protagonist. Dark power surged in Lin Yuen, who opened the gate of the underworld so that kobolds and wolves would rise before the enemy. The kobold chief used its hammer to hit the crystal scorpion, preventing its advance. However, Lin Yuen did not see the damage duplication power activate in the attack. The scorpion let out a hiss of hatred and raised its pincers, slamming them onto the ground to throw the kobolds and wolves away. The spiritual fire traveled towards the monster, managing to hit it as it was distracted. The scorpion felt the taste of the flames that had evolved. Small amounts of damage were continuously caused, and due to its large size, it couldn't dodge. With the spiritual flames, Lin Yuen continued to attack without giving the enemy any openings. In the continuation of the battle, several ropes were thrown against the scorpion to tie it up. The kobolds tried to pull it to knock it down. With the scorpion immobilized, the kobold chief had a clear path to jump with its hammer. The double damage was activated, and a critical hit occurred, breaking the monster's shell. In a fury, the scorpion managed to break the ropes and free itself. It looked for the human but didn't find him, as Lin Yuen had jumped high up. With the opening in the scorpion's shell, Lin Yuen used the effect of the Hunter title to increase his attack and magic damage. "I'll break your entire body and turn it into a pile of shells." Lin Yuen's punch hit the crack, causing a strong impact that pushed the scorpion's entire body down. The creature roared one last time due to the large amount of damage, but fell to the ground, being defeated by Lin Yuen and providing 560 experience points. The protagonist soon extracted the crystal scorpion as a zombie. The level 10 monster with paralyzing attacks would not be left behind. Sounds of crawling footsteps emerged throughout the desert. The protagonist saw various scorpions approaching in the distance, forming a horde. In an instant, Lin Yuen and his new monster had been surrounded. However, he loved the opportunity. "You arrived just in time." Under Lin Yuen's command, the crystal scorpion used the thunderstorm to attack. A rain of lightning occurred, hitting all the smaller monsters in the desert and making them suffer. Lin Yuen did not stand still, putting his sword into action. With one attack after another, he hit the weak points of each scorpion, advancing to the next enemy after eliminating the previous one. His blows pierced the monster's shells, reaching their interiors and causing even more damage. In a few hours of hunting, Lin Yuen repeatedly leveled up, achieving the accomplishment of reaching level 10. He looked at the character information, confirming the arrival at level 10. The feeling of gaining 2 levels on the same day was not bad. Thanks to the long hunt, he obtained a silver rank weapon, the lightning spear, as well as the guardian boots, the ring of paralysis, and the phantom arm guard. He intended to sell some of these items in order to provide better living conditions for his parents. The protagonist walked among the defeated scorpions. Having eliminated the beasts with dark powers in that area, he was congratulated and received a gold rank book. A glow surged in Lin Yuen's hands when the brown book with a red eye was materialized. The skill present in the book was called Curse of Darkness, a technique exclusive to necromancers. The protagonist celebrated his good fortune, registering the skill in his memories. A pillar of light fell on Lin Yuen, granting him the exclusive skill. The Curse of Darkness, a shadowy mist of skeletons, dealt 20% of the target's health as damage, or, if used on an undead ally, recovered 20% of their health points. Looking at the power in his hands, the protagonist analyzed the ability. He looked around and found that his crystal scorpion only had 60% of its total health. He used the magic on the scorpion to test it. The power of the crown fell upon the scorpion, which felt the energy overflow in its body, having its health points restored to 80%. Finishing his warm-up, Lin Yuen saw that it was time to go to the main city, looking for the first subordinate. Before he left, however, he felt the shadows embrace him. This feeling was the same sensation as when someone from the real world tried to interact with him. Removing the helmet, Lin Yuen was faced with his mother, who worriedly said, "Yuen, your father hurt his back. Come help." Lin Yuen ran to the living room, putting his father's arm around his neck to help him lie down on the sofa. Lin Yuen's mother was quite distressed about her husband. "At this age, why are you being so careless? Wouldn't it be better to call a technician to fix the air conditioner?" Lin Yuen's father lay face down, sighing, "We need to save what we can. Last week when the washing machine broke, didn't I fix it?" Seeing his father treat the injury as something unimportant compared to the need to save money, the protagonist understood the worrying situation happening in his own home. The next day, the morning started earlier than usual. Lin Yuen's parents woke up to hear a noise in the kitchen. Still tired, they got up to see what Yuen was doing. They were surprised when they saw the house shining and 2 men installing a new television on the wall. Lin Yuen's father was startled when one of the men suddenly grabbed his hand. "Are you Mr. and Mrs. Lin? These are the items Lin Yuen bought. We brought them and installed them as quickly as we could." Seeing the movers installing various new items, Lin Yuen's mother felt like she was dreaming. At the same time, Lin Yuen was working out at the gym, strengthening his muscles and drawing the attention of the girls. Someone interrupted him suddenly. A gym employee approached, asking if he would like to purchase the VIP package for discounted annual access. The protagonist liked the idea and handed her his credit card. After selling the equipment he didn't need, he renovated the house and bought gym items. He intended to have his sister Xiao Tan, as well as his parents, exercise to adapt more quickly when they entered the immortal world. The gym employee was impressed. as after exercising so much, Lin Yuen didn't even seem tired. She suddenly noticed something. The card she had received was a premium VIP card, which only those with over 5 million in their accounts could obtain. The protagonist was talking to his family on the phone, stating that he had made the purchases thanks to a video game competition he won, asking Xiaotan's parents to rest and leave everything to him. With a blush, the employee could only glimpse how incredible Lin Yuen looked. At Xiushui First High School, various young people walked in the luxurious courtyard, where even fountains could be seen. A girl with blonde hair and a blue bow, matching her uniform, was waiting for someone. She was precisely Lin Tan. Behind her, 2 girls were talking. One invited her friend to visit her, as on her birthday her brother would buy her favorite strawberry cake. The friend felt quite envious of her having such a good brother. For Lin Tan, however, having a brother was not something one should be envious of. She hated her own brother, addicted to games. Annoyed, she intended to leave when someone interrupted her. Even though you're a beauty, you're too arrogant. 4 delinquents wanted to invite them out, going up to her personally to force her to accept. Frowning, Lin Tan questioned what they wanted. The 2 girls from earlier approached her, asking the same question. One of the delinquents tried to approach Lin Tan with a malicious smile. "Look at that soft skin, let me touch it." Annoyed, Lin Tan slapped his hand away. "Don't touch me." Lin Tan gave them an ultimatum, saying that if they insisted, she would call the police. Furious, the man Lin Tan pushed away attacked her. Shoved, Lin Tan fell to the ground. Fury seemed to have taken over the delinquent, who attacked her with all his might. Afraid, Lin Tan closed her eyes, putting her hands in front of her body to protect herself. In the last second, someone hastily grabbed the fist of the man who tried to attack her. Lin Tan opened her eyes, realizing that nothing had hit her. With a sinister look, a young man questioned, "Who allowed you to attack my sister?" Lin Tan was surprised to see Lin Yuen. Not yielding to fear, the delinquent shouted, "Where did this dog come from?" In an instant, he charged at Lin Yuen, as did his 3 companions. However, before Lin Yuen was hit, he dodged an attack and punched the guy he was holding by the wrist. He followed with an uppercut on another, launched a spinning kick on the 4th, and finally stepped on the face of the one who tried to attack his sister, sinking him into the ground. A crowd gathered around Lin Yuen, who walked over the delinquents. Lin Tan and her friends were in shock. The protagonist looked at them, showing that everything was fine. Following her brother, Lin Tan asked why he had come to her school. She didn't understand why her game-addicted brother had come to pick her up. Surprising her, Lin Yuen revealed that their father had a backache. She hastily asked, "Backache? Is it serious?" However, he reassured her. After the quick response, there was silence between the 2. Lin Tan hadn't talked to Lin Yuen for a long time, so there was an awkward atmosphere between them. However, he didn't seem to care and walked with indifference. Suddenly, Lin Tan's 2 friends ran up to her. "Class president!" They gathered around Lin Tan, asking if the young man was really her brother, since he didn't look like a lazy bum. One of them seemed quite excited. "I didn't know Senior Lin Yuen was so skilled and handsome. Why did you never talk about him before?" Her friend calling her brother handsome left Lin Tan confused. Several other girls walking through the schoolyard ended up having the same opinion as Lin Tan's friends. Unexpectedly, he had become quite popular, while Lin Tan wondered, since when her brother was so tall, a girl approached Lin Yuen. In Lin Tan's mind, various confusions arose about her brother's body. She always saw him as a skinny guy, consumed by playing video games, a bum who isolated himself. Now she could feel a great change coming from him. After some conversation, Lin Tan's friends said goodbye. Confused, Lin Tan looked at her brother. He had crouched down for her to climb onto his back, which drew the attention of several girls. Blushing angrily, she wondered what her brother was doing, wanting to carry her in front of so many people. However, Lin Tan was pulled by him before she realized it. He put her on his back even against her will. Lin Tan, worried, looked around, but Lin Yuen reassured her, stating that her classmates had already left. He knew his sister had hurt her ankle when she was pushed, which is why he wanted to help her. Lin Tan could understand what was going through her brother's mind and was surprised that he noticed the injury. Lin Yuen's parents were surprised when they saw their son enter the house carrying their sister on his back. They were so amazed that they exchanged silent glances. In the end, they stood up, relieved that they were back. Later, while Lin Yuen was washing the dishes, his mother asked Tantan if she didn't think her brother had completely changed. Their father agreed, remembering how he cooked and bought things for the house. The mother also reminded her daughter of how the relationship between the two had returned to what it was when they were children. Feeling a strangeness in Lin Yuen, Lin Tan did not dismiss the assumption that he might have changed. Soon, Lin Yuen finished washing the dishes and, taking off his apron, announced that he was going back to his room. Lin Tan stared at her brother going back to his room and cursed internally. What was I expecting? He's still a game-addicted, unemployed person. However, suddenly, Lin Yuen returned, handing her a bottle. He asked her to apply the cream after bathing, as it had an excellent therapeutic effect. Finally, Lin Yuen returned to his room, asking them not to interrupt him if it wasn't important. Linton held the jar of cream in her hands, nodding as she changed her mind. He's right, no one likes it when people enter their rooms. She ended up smiling without even realizing it. This made her mother comment, "See, I told you your relationship has improved." Curious, their mother asked what had happened at school. Not wanting to answer, Linton said she was going to take a shower. Inside the room, the protagonist heard the conversation between the two. He sat in the chair, believing that the domestic problems were now resolved. Finally putting on the helmet, he was ready to return to the game. The protagonist descended into the main district, the Wind Sands. Smiling, he declared, "Let's find that rat." Entering the Wind Sands, he headed towards the Great Palace. In front of the palace, a man had been knocked down by a guard and tried to defend himself. "Honorable officer, I swear by the heavens that this is a misunderstanding." However, the guard was determined to throw him in prison. Suddenly, the guard spotted a stranger, but what he saw disappeared, making him wonder if it had been an illusion. Lin Yuen hid behind a wall while the guard led the prisoner away. The senses of the patrol soldiers were sharp. Lin Yuen still needed to stay quiet for 3 days for his sin level to return to 0. Still, he needed to take this opportunity to find an old friend in the streets of the main city. The protagonist went to the church, which looked more like a palace. In the church, Father Lawrence was giving his sermon and performing a baptism. Lin Yuen announced his arrival upon entering. "I came from the House of Charity for the Poor." Lawrence stared at the hooded man, who continued, "I heard that there is a patient in critical condition. I came to treat him." Lawrence led the protagonist into the church quarters and revealed the situation of the knight Doug. Lying on the bed with a green mark on his chest that spread through his veins was one of the strongest lion scorpion knights. In Lin Yuen's previous life, when he reached level 15, he barely managed to obtain a gold rank weapon from Doug. This time, he came to treat the poisons present in the knight's body. Doug weakly opened his eyes and analyzed Lin Yuen, surprised. "Only a level 10 mage? Even the patrol soldiers are at a higher level than you." However, as soon as Doug tried to get up, he heavily vomited a dark slime. The poison was already corroding his insides, showing the urgency of the treatment. Lin Yuen warned, "You won't live more than a month." The soldier stated that, to treat the poison, 1,000 grams of rotten gillfish fat was needed, which could only be found in the dangerous muddy clay desert. A quest was formed for Lin Yuen so that he could collect the item capable of saving Doug. The protagonist obviously accepted it. He headed to the indicated location, a place similar to a sand swamp where snakes and catfish swam. The rotten gillfish with sharp teeth leaped from the muddy water, targeting 2 players. Several others, however, advanced to defend them. Swinging its tail, the fish launched a long-range attack against the humans. A red-cloaked knight managed to dodge, but his companions were not so lucky. When the players fell into the mud, they were surrounded by the gillfish. Using their tail jump, the catfish attacked, besides opening their mouths so big that they were capable of swallowing the humans whole. The knight, seeing what was happening to her companions, gritted her teeth. However, in front of her, the fish had already opened its mouth to swallow her. She knew those were her final moments. However, suddenly, a silhouette appeared beside her. Grabbing the back of her shirt, Lin Yuen pulled her. Throwing her away, he complained, "Don't get in my way." Spiritual flames surged around Lin Yuen, who intensified them for an attack. Amidst the flames, the fish had no way to dodge and only glimpsed the brilliance of the flames. A large explosion happened, engulfing the fish all at once. Still holding the knight, Lin Yuen landed on the ground. Having survived, the knight was still in shock. She tried to speak to the person who saved her, but he disappeared, leaving only the shadows of the hero who had appeared at the last moment. Using the spiritual flames, Lin Yuen continued to attack as he advanced. He rained fire upon the muddy swamp where several gillfish swam. As a desperate attack, they tried to emerge, leaping out of the water to hunt the one who attacked them. Hastily, the knight shouted, "Great hero, be careful!" The various fish tried to swallow Lin Yuen, but he escaped while mocking all of them. Quickly, the protagonist retreated to dry land. Immediately, he materialized his sword and cursed. Disgusting beings. Together, they only become more disgusting. The protagonist faced the catfish head-on, cutting them with his sword as he passed through each one. Those who watched him were shocked. They couldn't understand how a group of 8 couldn't equate to such a great hero. However, the knight and the others were confronted with the most frightening threat of the gillfish, the group attack. From a gathered school, lightning seemed to surge. Suddenly, a toxin exploded from the muddy lake, covering the entire area. The protagonist was surprised and was confronted with a large amount of dark energy, the cursed echo traveling towards him. However, for Lin Yuen, that was just a common trick. He wouldn't fall for it in this life either. The protagonist used the gate of the underworld to summon the giant wolf. Use the hungry wolf howl ability. From the top of the mound, the giant wolf howled, causing the catfish to become dizzy. The protagonist then used the awakened mask, which had a defensive effect against toxins. He returned to descend to the sand swamp to attack the fish with the mask that allowed him to breathe normally. As he advanced, he brandished his energy-filled sword. Submit and meet your end. Lin Yuen aimed at the vital points of the catfish, slicing each of them into sushi. Against the last catfish, he raised his sword like an Excalibur. In a matter of minutes, the protagonist had already piled up countless enemies. A final one, who had managed to escape, tried to flee. However, for Lin Yuen, it was too slow. With the sword in his hands, he threw it at the catfish. The blade traveled like an arrow, exploding on the target not far away. The knight and her team were impressed, but it was too early to lower their guard. Countless gillfish were approaching. The protagonist summoned the zombie lightning scorpion to hunt them. The king of the sands strengthened its claws, using the crystal lightning ability. From the scorpion's body, various crystals flew towards the catfish. The rain of attacks fell upon the sand swamp, hitting the fish, which suffered from the sharp blows. However, the catfish were not eliminated, leaving the surroundings in shock and fear. Still, Lin Yuen never intended to exterminate all of them. He jumped from stone to stone, leaving behind the pile of slaughtered fish and approaching the group of players. The knight was surprised as she understood Lin Yuen's plan. The monsters were heading towards the other catfish that had been killed. Unexpectedly, the fish began to devour each other. Whenever female catfish are eliminated or lay eggs, they release a large amount of toxins. This caused the male catfish to enter a frenzy mode, attacking anything they encountered, even fish of their own species. The protagonist had taken advantage of the catfish's characteristics to make them attack each other. Suddenly, a giant catfish that had separated managed to find Lin Yuen and attacked him. The fish jumped out of the dirty water trying to swallow him. Many were surprised, as the female was the same size as the males. However, Lin Yuen was calm. The instant before he was hit, a wolf jumped to defend him. The zombie wolves launched themselves onto the catfish, starting to devour it. The protagonist was impressed with the elite rank, level 15 monster. Almost no damage had been caused, even after he sent 6 zombie wolves. But still, they managed to immobilize the fish, facilitating the attack. Shadows surged in Lin Yuen's blow, eliminating the elite rank catfish. From the female's body, countless roe fell, which Lin Yuen quickly began to collect. As they watched, the knight and her group asked what he was doing. The giant wolf had cut the fish and, under Lin Yuen's command, began to carry it. Jumping from stone to stone, the wolf transported the fish's head full of roe. Suddenly, it dropped the basket and began to howl to attract the catfish in the mud, as the roe and its pheromones overflowed. The males, attracted by the smell, changed their route and swam hastily towards the hill where Lin Yuen was. One of the knight's companions shouted, "I remember that catfish roe attracts males. He's intentionally spreading pheromones to create chaos among the monsters." Having gathered enough monsters, the protagonist extended his hand, opening the gate of the underworld and freeing the kobolds. "It's time for you to work." With the various catfish leaving the mud, the kobolds carrying pickaxes were able to act. They attacked with the piercing tools, pulling the fish. People nearby were surprised to see something oozing from the catfish. "Is that the blue poison sac that's inside the males?" The protagonist heard and confirmed. "That's right, the poison sac that grows in the males contains a toxic gas. The bad smell it emits makes the schools of fish sense danger." The various fish swam through the muddy area, but upon approaching the blue liquid, they stopped advancing. They themselves were not immune to the poison, so they needed to stay at the mercy of the others. Seeing all the catfish flee, the knight celebrated happily. All that remained now for Lin Yuen was to complete the quest and collect the items the eliminated fish had dropped. He jumped towards the fish. Removing the mask, he was thankful for the important job it had done. It was a shame to have to spend 5 gold coins for only being able to use a certain item once, but it was still worth the effort. Raising his hand, the protagonist grabbed a jar. It served precisely to extract the rotten gillfish oil effortlessly, flying towards him. Almost forgetting something as he was leaving, a small red sphere appeared in his hand. That was an armor-type item, a flexible sphere covered in fish skin. When pressed, it released sound, vibration, and lights, causing a slight panic in aquatic creatures. The only downside was that it had to be worn like a clown nose. The knight approached Lin Yuen, stifling a laugh as she saw the red ball. However, her eyes shone, impressed. The protagonist rolled his eyes when he saw the knight offer a shower of gold to buy the clown nose. The knight's companions apologized for her, as she was always like that. Giving up the item, he just handed it over as a gift. The knight really wanted to pay, but Lin Yuen didn't care. Suddenly, a pair of wings appeared on Lin Yuen's back, like a celestial being, further impressing the knight who saw him as a hero. In the church, 2 priests guarded a room. Inside it, Lin Yuen used a vial to release energy onto the chest of the knight Doug. The knight was impressed to be healed quickly. Doug never expected Lin Yuen to actually collect the necessary items. The quest was completed, and Lin Yuen received a gold rank weapon, the Green Spirit Blade. He was satisfied to obtain the item he had conquered in his past life. The Green Spirit Blade increased attack power and magical damage, as well as spirit points. In addition, it possessed a range ability, dealing damage equivalent to 150 spirit points of the character character to enemies. Although its effect was basic, it was beyond common. It also had a secret effect. With each attack, it accumulated green spiritual energy inside the enemy, and after 3 hits caused explosive damage. At the same time, the sword had been what helped Lin Yuen in his past life cross the desert, until he became the #1 mage in the region. Lin Yuen looked at the sword with nostalgia. He also received 1,000 reputation points in the main city, and 500 points with the Scorpion Knights. Although the reputation points were only at the neutral level, just like in his past life, they would be enough to walk through the city areas. The protagonist noticed something before leaving. He had gained more affinity points with Doug. He felt that things were a little different this time. The knight Doug thanked Lin Yuen, calling him brother. If it weren't for you, I might have met my end. As a sign of gratitude, Doug wanted to reveal something to Lin Yuen. The protagonist was already satisfied with the affinity points, and now saw the opportunity to discover a secret story. Remembering the shadow of the night, Doug warned, "If you meet someone named Quincy, don't go near him." However, Lin Yuen had to frustrate him. "What's the problem with Quincy? He is my teacher." Doug was shocked to hear Lin Yuen. He realized how Lin Yuen had hidden his true class and asked, "You are a necromancer, right?" Frowning, Lin Yuen questioned how he knew, as even Quincy couldn't verify such a thing. Doug revealed, "I was a knight who reported directly to the king, responsible for all kinds of secret missions, including hunting necromancers. For this, I learned darkness perception." Doug explained that this unique ability of the Scorpion Knights made them automatically sense the presence of necromancers when they were nearby. Surprised, Lin Yuen asked if Doug already knew who he was thanks to this ability perfectly created against necromancers. Doug denied it, revealing that due to the poison, his senses had deteriorated, and only now, cured, was he able to perceive, "Now I can notice this presence of the Lord of Darkness coming from you, which cannot be hidden." Curious, the protagonist asked about this so-called Lord of Darkness. To explain it, Doug had to go back centuries in time. Within the immortal world, the most famous legend says that there is a total of 5 sacred beings, representing light, the shadow of the moon, nature, the seas, and the soul. But in the beginning there was a 6th, the Lord of Darkness. According to Doug's story, the Lord of Darkness was also called the King of the Undead and was the most powerful among the 6. Because of his strength, the Lord of Darkness did everything he wanted. He gifted his most loyal followers with a tremendous dark power, transforming them into necromancers and making them obey his orders. Under the dominion of the Lord of Darkness, the necromancers not only spread plagues, eliminating millions, but also turned the dead into zombies, causing countless disasters. With this, all nations began to boycott the Lord of Darkness. Times were destroyed, and records about him were reduced to ashes. Whenever a necromancer was discovered, he was immediately eliminated. This class came to be considered forbidden by everyone. Doug revealed that he had been poisoned by a necromancer, and the poison tortured him for 10 years. Initially, he thought he was doomed, but then he found Lin Yuen. In his past life, the protagonist had only been a mage and did not expect such a complex secret path to exist. He finally understood why the necromancer class was forbidden. Luckily, he had hidden his profile the entire time. Seeing how things became complicated, he realized that investigating the main city in search of the emblem from his past life would become even more difficult. If he didn't find a way to hide the presence of the Lord of Darkness and his class was exposed, it could be the end. The protagonist made a request to Doug. He asked if there was a way to escape the darkness perception of the Scorpion Knights. Doug revealed that it would be possible if Quincy helped him, but warned, if Quincy discovered Lin Yuen's true identity, he would certainly eliminate him, as, in the past, Quincy had lost his wife because of a necromancer. That was the real reason why Doug had warned Lin Yuen to stay away from Quincy. The protagonist returned to the gravel desert right after the conversation. Walking through the vast barren terrain, he began to think. 10 minutes earlier, Doug had tried to stop him. "Are you crazy? You really want to find Quincy?" However, with a firm look, Lin Yuen reminded Doug that he had no other choice. He knew that if he carried this presence of darkness through the city, any movement would become dangerous. While reflecting on how to solve his problems, he was surprised. Several energy arrow attacks crossed the desert towards him. He noticed the attacks out of the corner of his eyes and reacted quickly. Jumping backward in a zigzag, he managed to dodge them all. After reaching a safe position, he looked for the enemies. On the horizon, a group advanced in his direction, challenging him. Numerous players were there waiting for him. "We've been here for days, we finally found him." Among them, a player smiled maliciously. "Last time I was ambushed by you, but now I have 30 brothers with me." Huang Feiju carried a sword on his back and was allied with dozens of guild members prepared to fight. "Let's see who will be eliminated now." A bloodthirsty look appeared on Huang Feiju's face, delighting in his thoughts. "When you fall later, I want to see how loudly you'll cry." While the group of 30 players surrounded Lin Yuen, a robotic dragonfly hovered over the location. With cameras installed in the dragonfly's eyes, the Bloodscar Guild was live streaming. Everywhere, even on the subway, people watched the broadcast, and heard Huang Feiju's voice saying, "Hello, lucky viewers. You are fortunate to see today's broadcast. In this show, we are going to show you a real slicing lesson." Quickly, the number of spectators began to grow. In a room, some young people commented, "Is this Bloodscar Guild going to attack another novice live?" Some people found it strange that 30 of them united to attack only one person. Others felt that the guild's adversary seemed familiar, while some girls focused on how handsome he was. Facing the pair of brothers, the protagonist warmed up his fists. "You dogs who only know how to bark, haven't you had enough? Will I need to take you down once more?" The broadcast went crazy upon hearing Lin Yuen's determined words, but Huang Feilong became furious and ordered, "Attack now!" Lancers, warriors, and rogues advanced at once. In a mage's hand, lightning surged. An archer equally prepared an attack, pulling back the arrow. Everyone, without exception, leaped towards Lin Yuen. A notification popped up for the protagonist. "A malicious attack has been detected. Time to counterattack 15 minutes. Eliminating those who attacked you in this period will not increase your sin value." Smiling, Lin Yuen drew the spiritual green sword. 15 minutes is enough to eliminate them at least 3 times. From the gate of the underworld, the zombie army rose, charging into the battlefield. Against the lightning attacks, the protagonist mocked, as his kobold foremen managed to destroy and block the blows with their bodies. The zombie lightning scorpion attacked with its stinger, piercing and poisoning the adversaries. Huang Feilong shouted hastily, "All members, attention! Warriors get into formation, mages attack, rogues and archers open fire!" The knight formation raised their shields, forming a defensive wall. The mages plunged their staffs into the ground, preparing spells together. A single mage received the strength of all the others, creating a gigantic thunder sphere. A rain of lightning fell upon the zombie scorpions. The archers didn't stand still and shot their arrows, aiming mainly at the kobolds who had suffered continuous damage. People on the broadcast wondered if those summons were easy to eliminate, treating the novice only as someone trying to show off. Huang Feilong was confident that, even if Lin Yuen summoned the giant zombie from before, it would only turn into a pile of flesh. Confidently, Huang Feiju exclaimed, "You will be eliminated today." Darkly, Lin Yuen asked if they were sure. Upon noticing Lin Yuen's hidden smile, Huang Feilong felt a chill. Suddenly, a comment on the broadcast revealed the surprise that everyone began to feel. The sand beneath the mage's feet began to move. Holes appeared in the desert, pulling the mages down. Hastily, all the warriors entered a state of alert. The peace was broken again when the kobold chief emerged, carrying a large hammer. The kobold chief broke the group's defense, hitting them one by one, making them scream as they retreated. The kobolds destroyed the shield-bearer's line of defense. The Huang brothers were shocked by the sudden turn of events. People on the broadcast became excited to see the attack from the depths and laughed at those who thought the Bloodscar Guild was only attacking a novice. The priests quickly tried to use magic to heal the wounds and neutralize the poisons. But before they could properly heal, several attacks fell upon them, causing consecutive explosions. Lin Yuen extended his hand towards the group, launching the spiritual flames. A ripple surged behind Lin Yuen. The protagonist quickly stabbed the ripple with his sword. The rogue who tried to attack Lin Yuen was speechless. "How did you know?" the protagonist scoffed, looking at the man's footprints. "At least I'm not stupid enough to use invisibility while walking on sand." The scorpions bravely attacked the Bloodscar Guild, showing Lin Yuen's strength. Quickly, all the tanks were eliminated. Huang Feihu gripped his sword with irritation on his face. "Damn it! A bunch of useless people!" He bravely leapt towards Lin Yuen, intending to eliminate him personally. The protagonist looked at him seriously, awaiting the attack. The sword appeared in Lin Yuen's hand, while dark energy spread around it. Various spiritual skulls began to circle Lin Yuen. The protagonist brandished his sword, launching them towards Huang Feihu and activating the Curse of Green Souls ability. Huang Feihu interrupted his attack, startled by the skulls surrounding him. Lin Yuen advanced against Huang Feihu, carrying the energy of the curse. "Execute!" In an instant, Lin Yuen had already finished the attack. Huang Feihu, standing, seemed motionless. The protagonist made a countdown, and when it reached 0, an explosion occurred, eliminating Huang Feihu in the process. With the sword he was already familiar with in his hands, Lin Yuen seemed excited. The viewers on the live broadcast almost doubled in number as soon as Huang Feihu was eliminated. Meanwhile, the members of the Bloodscar Guild screamed for help in front of their leader. Huang Feilong felt like he was hallucinating. Having passed only a few days, the man before him had become terrifying. He felt like he was facing an underworld monster, controlling everyone like puppets. Lin Yuen spotted Huang Feilong, who was trying to flee. The guild leader hid behind his shield. "Please don't attack me." The protagonist picked up his sword, walking towards Huang Feilong, who was on guard. Before Feilong could realize, the sword had already hit him under Lin Yuen's order. "It's your turn to taste despair." The sword that pierced Huang Feilong put an end to the battle. The leader of the Bloodscar Guild had finally fallen. Lin Yuen's gaze became sharp as he spotted a dragonfly flying around him. He extended his hand towards the dragonfly, launching a spiritual fire. The dragonfly exploded, finally leaving the place in silence. During the night, in a random skyscraper, an argument was happening. In a luxury apartment, some people were trying to discover the identity of a player. They learned, through messages, that the Scar Guild had faced the one who eliminated a giant wolf. Seeking to find out where Lin Yuen was, they found his location in the gravel desert and sent an S-class invitation to the Mercenary Guild. Sipping wine, a man in a suit seemed furious when thinking about Lin Yuen. In Black Sand City, an old man slept on top of barrels. Lin Yuen opened the door of the house, drawing Quincy's attention. Quincy wanted to send him away. "I'm not going to teach you today. I already have enough money." At that moment, Lin Yuen showed a serious expression, and canceling the profession hiding function stated, "I need to talk to you." As soon as Lin Yuen's forbidden class was revealed, Quincy threw a jug of drink on the floor. With a furious look, Quincy questioned even though he knew the answer. "Are you a necromancer?" The two stared at each other for a moment, with tension in the air. Quincy gritted his teeth, and power surged in the mage's hand. "How dare a necromancer appear in front of me?" Lightning exploded around Quincy, launching several pieces of wood towards Lin Yuen. The protagonist disappeared, impressing Quincy with his speed. A blur passed before the professor, and before he could realize it, a sword was already pointed at him. Surprising Quincy, the protagonist asked, "Can we talk now?" Quincy got straight to the point, questioning what Lin Yuen wanted. He remembered the hint Doug had given him before leaving the main city. In the beginning, under the dominion of the Lord of Darkness, the immortal world was immersed in endless despair. Seeking justice, Quincy, along with his own wife and his most loyal subordinates, fought against the Lord of Darkness. After an arduous battle, the Necromancer was defeated, but Quincy's wife, trying to heal him, was cursed. Her soul was corrupted by darkness, losing all memories and becoming a monster that could never be reincarnated. To break the curse and save his own wife, the only method Quincy found was to defeat her corrupted soul. But after the battle, Quincy couldn't even hold a sword. Everyone believed he would spend the rest of his life in sadness until one day he published a mysterious quest. If someone could save his wife, they would receive his entire fortune. If it was a necromancer, they would also obtain the method to deceive the senses of darkness, a treasure he had conquered. Quincy planned to use the reward as a trap, save his wife, and at the same time, make the necromancers pay. However, all 158 people who accepted the quest that day never returned alive after facing his wife. Pointing his sword at Quincy, Lin Yuen demanded that he tell him about the quest. Quincy sighed. "All right, since you wish it so." The quest given by him, called Search for the Person's Soul, required that the one who accepted it free his wife's soul within 10 days. Lin Yuen didn't think much and accepted the quest. He left Quincy's house under the well wishes of the old drunkard, although inwardly the latter cursed with a smile. "Try to at least crawl back with your body intact." On the north side of Black Sand City, a memorial castle stood. Lin Yuen entered the dark castle, guided only by the moonlight. The protagonist needed to use the night vision potion. As he entered the mausoleum, he summoned kobolds to carry torches, while scorpions protected the rear. The memorial had a total of 5 floors, where the bodies of the non-playable characters of Black Sand City were arranged. Suddenly, a coffin opened and a zombie leaped out to attack Lin Yuen. However, the scorpion pierced the enemy with its sharp tail. Besides the zombies, there were also ghosts. The level of the monsters increased on each floor. On the first, there were zombies up to level 3. On the second, they reached level 6. On the third, up to level 9. And on the fourth, even more terrifying creatures emerged. Level 10 ghouls. Their gigantic bodies with tails and horns made them frightening beings. Upon reaching the end of the 3rd floor, Lin Yuen found a portal. "Let's go straight to the 4th floor." The 4th floor housed the Sanctuary of the Mourners, a gloomy mausoleum. The protagonist looked around as he had heard something. Soon from the darkness, various red eyes stared at Lin Yuen. The ghouls used their wall-walking abilities to surround Lin Yuen, some even suspended from the ceiling. The elite ghouls were level 10, had 2,000 health points, their bites were poisonous, and their movements were agile. Facing the dozens of ghouls, Lin Yuen ordered, "Attack!" Immediately, the scorpions used their piercing abilities, sinking their stingers into the ghouls on the walls. A powerful blow from the giant scorpion destroyed the wall they were on. After the first attack, the large scorpion did not stop, crushing several ghouls with the swing of its tail. Lin Yuen also did not stand still, advancing against the ghouls. The sword charged with necromantic energy flashed through them, and they were torn apart without even being able to defend themselves. In an instant, a dozen ghouls had been eliminated, but Lin Yuen still had many to face. A final ghoul crawled towards him but couldn't even attack. Almost forgotten by the protagonist, it ended up being eliminated when found. Thanks to the elimination of countless monsters, the protagonist reached level 12. He leveled up faster than he expected. The only pity was not being able to use the shadow summon on the ghouls, as they were wandering spirits. As Lin Yuen walked to the end of the room, a dark power surged behind him. The protagonist quickly turned around, only to see a beam of dark light advancing towards him. He raised his sword, blocking the attack. In Lin Yuen's eyes, surprise was evident. The powerful blow managed to defeat and engulf him all at once. In a chamber lit by flames in a corridor, the dark light surged again, throwing Lin Yuen to the ground. The energy concentrated on a single point, on the chains that sealed a coffin where a woman rested in a deep sleep. The protagonist looked around, realizing that the area had completely changed. The woman in the coffin with a long green dress and sharp red claws seemed to be sleeping. Suddenly, she licked her lips and smiled. Hey, I've waited a long time for you. The coffin and chains exploded as the woman freed herself. Floating in the air, the vengeful spirit seemed to revel. Finally, fresh flesh and blood. Lin Yuen realized that he had been taken to the 5th level. With a menacing smile, the vengeful spirit roared, "I will slice you into pieces!" The creature's claws advanced against Lin Yuen, who raised his sword to defend himself. The vengeful boss activated the Underworld Flower ability, creating several thorny vines to attack Lin Yuen. The protagonist quickly retreated, dodging the blows. The spots hit by the vines released a poisonous liquid with powerful corrosive properties. Lin Yuen continued to dodge while raising his sword once more. Showing that such attacks were useless against him, he brandished the blade, pruning the vines. With sharp attacks, the protagonist pressured the vengeful spirit to retreat. In an instant, she lost all her vines, needing to protect herself. Furious, she screamed and clenched her nails to counterattack. With an explosion of fury, the Banshee's lament was activated, overflowing with a large amount of energy in her scream. The protagonist was surprised, thinking that this was only a long-range ability, but soon realized that it was actually a summon. The walls began to tremble, and several wooden doors began to move. The protagonist saw several skeletons coming out of the graves, and Lin Yuen promptly got into battle position. He discovered that he would have to face all the Black Earth City characters who had been eliminated at some point. In addition to the people who originally lived in the city, he would also have to fight against everyone who tried to challenge the quest given by Quincy. The protagonist cursed the vengeful spirit for wanting to summon all those enemies. The skeletons emerged from the graves, enveloped in a dark necromantic energy. The number of enemies was greater than Lin Yuen expected. He had never imagined facing so many piles of bones. The kobolds rose from the gate of the underworld under Lin Yuen's command. The protagonist promptly ordered, "Block the doors of those bastards." The kobolds quickly advanced, trying to prevent the skeletons from leaving the drawers. The scorpions also acted along with them. Lin Yuen extended his hand and ordered, "Apply the bloodthirst status." One of the foreman kobolds brandished a thorny vine, hitting the scorpions to make them enraged. With a furious look, Lin Yuen intended to eliminate them all. The scorpions and kobolds continued to advance. One of the scorpions used the burrowing ability, while a kobold launched a heavy whip attack against the vengeful spirit. She quickly retreated, dodging the ground break that launched stones towards her. However, the ceiling suddenly cracked. The vengeful spirit looked up, surprised. Stones fell from the ceiling towards her, but none managed to hit her. Lin Yuen was astonished. He remembered that wandering spirits belonged to the ghost-type monster family. Their bodies could pass through constructions, making them immune to physical attacks. Despite this, he recalled that spirit-type creatures received double damage from magical attacks. With a dark look, he swung his sword, creating several dark skulls that advanced in a magical wave against the vengeful spirit. The skulls cackled as they attacked, activating the blue curse to deal damage to the ghost. The vengeful spirit, however, managed to dodge, suddenly increasing her speed. At the same time, with the falling stones, the kobolds managed to block the advance of the skeletons summoned by the enemy. But Lin Yuen knew that they could break the defense line at any moment. While thinking about how he could contain them, he took a ring from his inventory. He equipped the Ring of Paralysis, an item with paralyzing toxin. Immediately, Lin Yuen advanced against the vengeful spirit, wielding his sword. With the ring on one of his fists, he closed it in a blow that carried the paralyzing toxin. The paralyzing effect magic of the ring attacked the vengeful spirit like lightning. With the target hit, the effect was activated, stopping space-time. However, Lin Yuen was not finished. The skulls accompanied him in the swinging of the sword. The first skull fell upon the vengeful spirit who tried to protect herself at the last second. But the power of the attack threw her far away, causing her to hit a wall, while the vines she had created were once again cut by Lin Yuen. After hitting the wall, the vengeful spirit fell to the ground. Lin Yuen was satisfied with the attack he executed. What Lin Yuen expected happened. After being hit by the curse of the green spirit, her speed had dropped. Raising his hand, Lin Yuen ordered the wolf to howl. With the wolf's howl, a skill was activated. A magic circle appeared beneath the vengeful spirit, who was still confused, stunning her. Even though the stun only worked for 5 seconds, it was enough for Lin Yuen to act. As he advanced against the vengeful spirit, he spun his body, launching countless attacks. The energy blows fell upon the vengeful spirit, causing an infinity of continuous damage. The vengeful spirit gritted her teeth, with fury dominating her. She suddenly began to roar, with a dark energy consuming her. Lin Yuen was shocked to see the ability activated by the vengeful chief. Body explosion. A large explosion happened, creating a curtain of smoke. Kobolds and scorpions, one after another, were eliminated by the vengeful spirit, who exploded each of them with the ability. After the vengeful spirit caused a great commotion, the air in the mausoleum returned to calm. Lin Yuen was amidst countless wolves, surrounded by his necromantic energy. He already expected to face the body explosion ability. The vengeful spirit had used such an ability in an attempt to collapse the entire tomb. With the number of zombies falling to 1/3, Lin Yuen realized a great loss for his side, but not defeat itself. Walking towards the vengeful spirit, he announced, "It's time to finish you." The curse of the green spirits was activated once more, and along with Lin Yuen's advance, the phantom skulls appeared. All traveled towards the weakened vengeful spirit, hitting it before it could use a new spell. The vengeful spirit screamed due to the pain from the attack damage. It entered a state of near elimination, with less than 10% of its original health points. Soon, the health points were drained after each phantom skull hit it. With the wind, the vengeful spirit began to fall apart. Lin Yuen was congratulated. He defeated the boss monster, receiving the experience points as a reward. As he finished eliminating the vengeful spirit and saw the scenario calm down, Lin Yuen wondered if it was really over. However, a gentle spiritual energy caught his attention. The spirit of a mage appeared with a sweet voice. "Thank you, brave human." Quincy's wife's spirit began to fall apart while transmitting her energy to Lin Yuen. In the protagonist's hand, a ring was formed, the beloved ring, a quest item that symbolized the love between Quincy and his wife. The protagonist seemed sad to only receive a quest item as a reward. However, soon a Necromancer book materialized before him. Receiving the book with a skull on the cover, Lin Yuen's attention was drawn. Lin Yuen had never expected the body explosion ability to be exclusive to Necromancers. He wondered if he had received the ability book because the one who sealed Quincy's wife was a servant of the Lord of Darkness. The ability book was used instantly, being engraved in Lin Yuen's memory. An energy enveloped Lin Yuen, teaching him the skill. Body explosion made zombies explode, dealing damage corresponding to 60% of their health points to surrounding enemies. Although the ability caused him to lose the zombies, the damage and range were not bad, great for a surprise attack. Sometime later, Lin Yuen returned to Black Sand City. Seeing the ring he had given his wife in Lin Yuen's hands, Quincy was incredulous. Picking up the ring and remembering the past, he commented in surprise, "A sealed soul has no memories. Only when it is free will it regain its memories and drop its most precious item." With great emotion, Quincy asked Lin Yuen if his wife had not suffered. Lin Yuen confirmed it. In tears, Quincy remembered his wife, seeing his request fulfilled. Quincy never expected a necromancer whom he hated to fulfill his wish. He swore he would remember this kindness forever. Quincy picked up a mysterious box. Inside it was an iron crown with a necromantic aura, the Dark Crown. With the crown, the sin value could not be seen, and it hid the aura of darkness. Lin Yuen took the crown. Although it did not provide additional statistics, it had the effects he was looking for. The protagonist hoped that with this, he would no longer worry about the Scorpion Knights and could walk freely through the city. Lin Yuen equipped the crown. The energy of the item overflowed around him, forming a magic circle. With the crown on his head, Lin Yuen felt one step closer to finding the truth. Leaving Black Sand City, Lin Yuen headed to the great city of Sandbreeze. Inside Sandbreeze, there were large and small unions of players. On the streets, various recruiters announced their groups and their banners. Looking at the rankings, Lin Yuen saw no more than 10 powerful unions, so he wondered if the human who had betrayed humanity was among them. Lin Yuen saw himself only as a novice in Sandbreeze City, so it wouldn't be easy to join one of these unions. Thinking about all this, he imagined that he would need to find a good opportunity. As he walked through the city, some people were following him. He quickly entered a street to dodge them. A knight with long golden hair who was following him was surprised to lose sight of him. The next moment, he felt an icy sword on his shoulders accompanied by a cold voice. "Who are you?" The feminine-looking knight was startled by the sudden pressure and turned around with shining eyes. "I finally found you, my hero Yuen." The young man tried to jump on Lin Yuen but fell to the ground when he dodged. Lin Yuen managed to recognize him. The knight pointed to himself confidently. "I recognized you when I saw you in that guild's broadcast." The young man revealed that he had found clues about Lin Yuen among thousands of comments and had proudly spent 2 million to evolve the facial recognition system just to find him. Lin Yuen couldn't believe so much money was spent just to locate him. The knight pondered if it really was that much money, since the Han Corporation spent hundreds of millions just to test the system. Upon hearing the name of the corporation that was worth trillions of dollars and controlled all the technology in the world, Lin Yuen was surprised to discover that the knight was related to it. Lin Yuen was so surprised that he wondered if he should eliminate him immediately. The knight's eyes sparkled as he vibrated. Lord Yuen, if you team up with me, there will be an S-rank hunt inside the Bloodscale Cave tomorrow. While begging to team up with Lin Yuen, the knight stumbled, becoming embarrassed. The protagonist told him to leave, warning him not to follow him. The knight smiled deprecatingly, knowing that someone as strong as Lin Yuen wouldn't join him. He scratched his head and sighed. For this hunt, the third team of the Black Tree Guild will also come to choose novices. If you perform well, you might have a chance. The protagonist looked at the ranking, remembering that this guild was 10th in the union rank. The knight sighed about having to try his luck alone. However, from behind him, Lin Yuen asked, "Where is the hunt?" The knight turned around surprised. Lin Yuen repeated the request for the information. The knight jumped to Lin Yuen's feet and revealed, "Tomorrow at 8 in the morning. Sir Yuen, are you in?" The protagonist pushed him away, telling him to call him just Lin Yuen. Before deciding, Lin Yuen revealed that he needed some preparations. Being pushed away, the knight seemed a little surprised. A flag with skulls was unfurled. There was the Vulture Thieves' Camp, a ruined place in the sand desert. Suddenly, an explosion happened, destroying part of the location. Lin Yuen, with necromantic energy, walked through the camp among the monsters. The Lord must be just ahead. He quickly raised the Vulture Thieves, turning them into zombies. The vultures followed Lin Yuen. With confidence, he advanced, but just ahead, coming out of a building, countless monsters emerged. Countless vultures raised their swords, protecting their leader on a throne. The vultures howled and advanced upon seeing the human. Lin Yuen did not stand still and sent his zombies into battle. Live vultures and zombies quickly entered combat, intensified by similar statistics. A normal vulture launched its sword, spinning towards Lin Yuen, who remained still in front of it. In the last instant, he disappeared, and the sword plunged into the ground. The vulture was confused. The next moment, Lin Yuen appeared behind it, brandishing his sword to eliminate it. The protagonist zigzagged between the vultures, eliminating half a dozen of them in seconds. Soon, Lin Yuen eliminated a group of 10 enemies. After passing through the vultures, he faced the leader's seat. However, he was surprised. The boss monster had disappeared. The Vulture Thief Lord suddenly appeared behind Lin Yuen. The level 19 monster used the backstab ability, trying to eliminate him. Before being hit, Lin Yuen used the body explosion ability. Several zombie vultures jumped against the Vulture Lord. Lin Yuen's eyes shone, and immediately the zombies exploded, consuming the Vulture Lord. The Vulture Lord, however, managed to escape the attack and squawked in fury. The protagonist wouldn't let it escape and quickly advanced. With a furious look, he activated the Shadow Glove. The punch headed towards the vulture, hitting it in the chest with great energy. The vulture flew towards a wall, destroying it with the impact of its body. With the powerful blow, Lin Yuen eliminated the Bandit Vulture Lord, and thanks to the experience points, reached level 13. The Curse of Darkness ability reached level 3, while Body Explosion reached level 2, increasing its percentages. Lin Yuen, satisfied, observed the increase in the ability's power. He took out a skill scroll, used to evolve powers. The protagonist analyzed Body Explosion while using the scroll. The efficiency is not bad. I used the scroll to evolve Curse of Darkness before, and now I increased it to level 3. At the same time, I also learned the art of Body Explosion. With 130 slots for monsters in his army, Lin Yuen was also satisfied. The protagonist raised the level 15 Vulture Captains, as well as the level 19 Vulture Lord. He observed that upon reviving the vultures as zombies, they acquired the Venomous Hand ability, an attack that increased 20 poison points. He remembered that when he revived the giant wolf last time, he had obtained the Spectre's Fury ability, which increased the critical power of allies by 20%. This made Lin Yuen wonder if reviving Lord-level monsters gave them special abilities, something interesting. While thinking, he received the notification that the hunting campaign would begin in 2 hours. With excitement on his face, he decided to move. The protagonist headed to the Bloodscale Cave, formed by stones with shapes resembling scales. Leaning against a stone, he saw a glittering shine and questioned, "What are you wearing? Are you disguised as a gold statue?" In front of him was the knight with golden armor and cape who had invited him to the hunt. The knight smiled. "Yuen, I spent 50 coins to hire the master blacksmith and create this super armor." As he excitedly moved, however, the armor's belt broke. Before he realized it, his pants fell down, revealing his flowery underwear. The incident caused embarrassment both for him and for Lin Yuen, who was watching. The protagonist mocked, "It's the first time I've seen armor like this." The knight quickly adjusted his pants, giving a flimsy excuse. The next moment, the helmet's visor closed, preventing him from seeing. He hastily shouted, "I can't see! Save me, Yuen!" The knight stumbled and fell, hitting his head on another knight. When the visor was finally opened, he looked up, dumbfounded. In front of him was a gloomy bald man. The bald man, Zhao Kui, warrior and captain of the third team of the Black Tree Guild, looked at him with a smile. "Are you okay?" Despite the man in front of the young man smiling, he felt like he was facing a venomous snake. Surprised, he was suddenly grabbed from behind. Lin Yuen questioned him. "Aren't you going to take off that stupid armor?" Zhao Kui stared at Lin Yuen thoughtfully. The protagonist felt his gaze and returned a sharp look with red eyes. This made Zhao Kui grit his teeth, irritated at feeling challenged. At that moment, a voice behind the three called out, "Hey you all! Which one of you is Han Qing?" Han Qing was precisely the golden-haired swordsman. The man who asked the question looked at the list and stared at the young man in armor. "Is that you? Your armor is eccentric." Everyone started laughing, mocking Han Qing for looking like he was cosplaying. Awkwardly, Han Qing raised his hand. "You are the three brothers of the Black Tree Guild, right? This one is my friend." Before Han Qing finished speaking, the man with the list pointed his sword at him. "I don't care about novices. Remember, we are not letting you in because you are paying double, but because our captain is generous." Facing the sword, Lin Yuen hid his dissatisfaction in silence. The bald man Zhao Kui smiled at his brother. "What are you doing? Be nice to our new friends?" The man with the sword backed off, claiming he was just kidding, but ordered, "Don't be arrogant just because of the captain's kind words. You need to appreciate the opportunity with gratitude. Understood?" Han Qing hastily nodded. Finally, a mage clapped his hands, commanding, "Everyone to your places. Let's officially start the roll call." At the back of the group, Han Qing changed his armor, while Lin Yuen analyzed the players who would participate in the hunt. In Lin Yuen's eyes, they looked like novices who had just entered the main city. After taking the count, Zhao Kui moved forward to the cave. "Don't waste time, let's go." Before entering, however, he warned, "Rest assured, even the Grim Reaper changes his path when he sees the Black Tree Guild." Confidently, he led the team. The knight who had pointed the sword at Han Qing was surprised when he grabbed a small flag. Han Qing waved the flag to Lin Yuen as if he were at a picnic. "Come on, Yuen, I heard there are luminous slimes in this cave." The protagonist ignored the jokes, and upon entering the cave, smelled terror. Inside the scale cave, they discovered that it was wide, but dark. After a few minutes of walking, they found some forks. So far, they hadn't even found any iron-eating lizards, common monsters in the dungeon, which was strange. One of the team members asked Captain Zhao which path they should follow. Confidently, Zhao Kui thought they should split up. While everyone was worried about the danger, they didn't notice a monster that appeared behind them. A mage tried to reassure everyone, guaranteeing that the captain had already scouted the path ahead. A knight was surprised by what they said Zhao had done. Zhao Kui confirmed, "That's right. Among the three paths, the middle one contains lizard pheromones, and the risk of surprise attacks is high. Therefore, the other two are safer." Considering efficiency, safety, and possibilities of valuable encounters, Zhao Kui stated that his guild would take the middle, more difficult path, while the others would take the side paths. With a malicious smile, he asked for the others' opinion. The mage who had commented earlier praised Zhao Kui, making the others follow the same path. Lin Yuen raised his hand, stating that he would take the left path. The bald man nodded, asking if anyone would go with him. However, people didn't want to, as one seemed eccentric and the other hid his level in class. A girl commented that the mysterious man looked handsome, but quickly refused when she was invited to accompany him. Zhao Kui pretended to feel sorry, stating that he couldn't force anyone to go with them. Lin Yuen didn't care and called Han Qing to follow him. The duo then went alone down the left path. Watching them move away, Zhao Kui smiled maliciously. "Arrogant idiots." From the ceiling, water droplets dripped periodically. Lin Yuen and Han Qing followed the damp path where slimes frequently appeared. Seeing the temperature drop rapidly, Han Qing raised his sword and shield, feeling that there was something strange. "I feel like someone is watching us." In fact, that feeling is getting stronger and stronger. Surprised that Han Qing only noticed now, Lin Yuen confirmed that there was something on that path. Han Qing was shocked, as he thought Captain Zhao had investigated the route to ensure it was safe. With a smile, Lin Yuen asked if he really believed a bald man. This is an S-rank hunting campaign, and they came with countless novices. It's obvious they want to use us as bait to find out if the path is safe or not. Confused, Han Qing asked why Lin Yuen wouldn't expose this guild. The protagonist smiled upon hearing the question. Suddenly, Lin Yuen grabbed one of the slimes on the wall. Throwing the weak slime to the end of the cave, he declared, "Coincidentally, I want to see how many interesting things can be attracted." Further ahead, there was a dark cave. From the cave, various red eyes surged when the slime fell near them. A large quantity of elite-rank iron-eating lizards emerged from the darkness. The level 16 monster lurked for an opportunity. At another fork, a sword was plunged into the stone floor. A tornado of fire was created by the sword's owner, attacking the lizards inside the cave. At the same time, other attacks fell upon the monsters. Confidently, the guild knight brandished his sword to make the lizards suffer from his attacks. He walked up to Zhao Kui. "Captain, things are going smoother than we thought. I can't believe they really believed you had investigated the path. Ha ha ha." Swinging a spiked ball, Zhao Kui imagined that, with what should be happening on the other two paths, they could collect the double rewards without any effort. Suddenly, 3 lizards leaped towards Zhao Kui. However, he was confident in facing them. The attacks fell upon the 3 lizards, who couldn't even get close to him. The bald man licked his lips, scoffing, "The weak must must always remain at the bottom of the pit. At the same time, Han Qing was surprised. The lizards used an iron tail to attack, but vultures emerged everywhere, throwing spinning scimitars from a distance. The number of vultures was absurdly high, enough to easily dominate the lizards. Han Qing couldn't understand where so many undead monsters had come from. In Han Qing's view, that was even more impressive than the battle in the sand swamp. Lin Yuen reminded Han Qing that he had said the day before that he would make some preparations. This surprised Han Qing, not believing that he had gathered so many monsters in just one day. Quickly, 55 lizards were eliminated. Having finished the battle quickly, Lin Yuen liked the efficiency of the vultures. Han Qing cried, envious, because he wanted to be as strong as Lin Yuen. Suddenly, an earthquake-like tremor happened. Shocked, he observed Lin Yuen's actions. Since Lin Yuen was busy manipulating the energy of the slaughtered monsters, Han Qing imagined he could check alone, wanting to be useful. Seeing that the noise was coming from the back of the cave, Han Qing walked slowly. Suddenly, he felt the vibration disappear. Unexpectedly, an attack surged from underground, like a tentacle that rose, knocking Han Qing down. Looking up, Han Qing was darkly shocked. What looked like a large tongue stretched out from the ground. Han Qing was still trying to understand what it was. The red tongue attacked Han Qing immediately. He fell to the ground upon being hit. Before he could react, the tongue wrapped around him. Han Qing was pulled before he could defend himself. He thought that was the end, but a sword cut appeared. Lin Yuen saved Han Qing by cutting the tongue, warning, "Just a beast that hides in the bowels of the earth to gnaw on dirt. How dare you show off your tricks in front of me?" Lin Yuen quickly grabbed Han Qing, pulling him along. The protagonist ran quickly, taking him to a safe place. Upon being released, Han Qing hastily coughed, asking to leave. Suddenly the ground began to crack, and what was hidden seemed to want to reveal itself. Han Qing realized it was too late to flee. A large, tongueless lizard emerged from underground, roaring furiously. That was the iron-eating iguana, the boss monster that lived beneath the earth. Han Qing began to tremble, remembering that the quest did not mention that the iguana was in the boss class. He apologized to Lin Yuen for making him face a monster at this level, even wanting to give his own life to allow the protagonist to escape. Lin Yuen smiled, seeing how Han Qing faced the monster. "This terrible being is my prey." The iguana suddenly ran towards Lin Yuen, seeking to avenge its severed tongue. The protagonist charged against it, intending to finish it off. The vulture chiefs flew over the iguana to launch their scimitars. Soon, the swords were launched against the giant monster. The chief iguana defended itself using the swing of its iron tail. Likewise, the scimitars that hit its body were repelled. However, they served to create an opening. Lin Yuen appeared behind the iguana. Various skulls surged, the spiritual curse, attacking the monster from an angle where it had no visibility. The attacks fell upon its back, making the iguana scream. Lin Yuen landed after the magic attack. The boss monster turned against him, and on the iguana's back only a few burn marks appeared. The effect of the attack made Lin Yuen frown. However, the iguana was furious. The boss monster activated an ability, spewing a toxic sand gas at high pressure towards Lin Yuen. The gas exploded in front of him, forming a toxic cloud. Han Qing shouted hastily, "Yuen, be careful!" Lin Yuen needed to move away, as the monster's toxic breath proved corrosive. The ground melted with the liquefied gas. With a gloomy look, he realized that fighting would be harder than he had imagined. The iguana's tail traveled towards Lin Yuen, who managed to dodge by jumping backward, enjoying the thrill of the battle. While retreating, Lin Yuen summoned the master of the vultures. With 2 blades in hand, the flying monster advanced. The blades fell upon the iguana, trying to pierce it, but the boss monster acted quickly, launching its tail to counter the vulture's attack. Han Qing was tremendously surprised by the strength of the new monster summoned by Lin Yuen. His eyes even sparkled. The vulture circled the iguana, trying to attack it from behind. With the backstab ability activated, the vulture raised its blades once more. However, against the blades, the iguana activated the impenetrable fortress ability, increasing its defense power. Consequently, it managed to counterattack once more with its tail. Lin Yuen shouted hastily, "Be careful!" However, the tail hit the vulture, throwing it against the stone wall. Surprised by the iguana's reaction time, Han Qing even wondered if the boss monster had eyes on its back. Observing the iguana, Han Qing's comment caught the protagonist's attention. He remembered how all of the vulture's attacks, even stealthy ones, had been blocked. He believed that lizards were simple creatures, remembering that they were sensitive to light and therefore rarely found enemies when they stopped moving. However, the lizard's peripheral vision was excellent. They also possessed smell and hearing, capable of perfectly capturing the presence of enemies. Some species even had infrared to detect body heat. Combining all these aspects, lizards possessed a much greater sensitivity to movement than humans. With all this information in mind, Lin Yuen realized that he would need to be creative to be able to defeat it. Various spiritual flames fell upon the iguana. The protagonist attacked while provoking, "Let's see if your scales are too hard or if my fireballs are even hotter." Faced with the fire attacks, the tongueless iguana crawled towards Lin Yuen. The protagonist continued to attack while retreating, even with the iguana roaring at him. Lin Yuen's plan had entered execution. He intended to draw all the iguana's focus onto himself. Worried, Han Qing tried to warn Lin Yuen that he was in danger. Its defense is too high. Those fireballs won't cause any damage. Han Qing suddenly realized where Lin Yuen was running, towards the lizards that had been slaughtered earlier. Lin Yuen had transformed those lizards into zombies. As soon as he passed them, he spun his body, changing direction. This time, Lin Yuen distanced himself from the iguana, leaving it against the zombie lizards. Quickly, the lizards surrounded the boss-rank monster. Seeing how the iguana still tried to chase him, Lin Yuen cursed, "You big guy, don't you know when to stop?" The iguana roared furiously towards Lin Yuen, who responded using an ability. Enjoy the sweet taste of explosions. The necromantic power was activated with the body explosion art. A large number of explosions occurred from the lizards surrounding the iguana boss monster. Thanks to the explosions, Lin Yuen saw the monster's defense being broken. Despite this, the iguana was even more furious and ignored the damage suffered to run towards Lin Yuen, who attacked it. The protagonist immediately advanced, jumping towards the iguana while commanding the chief of the vultures to take the left flank. The two ran between the stones, using them as support to advance. Lin Yuen remembered that lizards had a second weak point. These animals' eyes could not focus on enemies on the left and right at the same time. On one side of the iguana, the vulture chief raised a crossbow with 3 arrows. To face it, the iguana stopped advancing, gathering a large amount of energy with its mouth open. Lin Yuen, however, reached the iguana from the other side, breaking the monster's attack. The iguana's eyes only glimpsed the human's approach at the last moment. With this attack, I declare your end. Like a meteor, Lin Yuen descended upon the iguana, wielding his sword pointing downwards. The iguana boss roared furiously as it was hit in its vital spot, but its cry soon faded. Lin Yuen received countless experience points, leveling up directly to level 14. The iguana boss lay on the ground with empty eyes. 5 minutes later, Lin Yuen had already restored his zombies' health points to 85%, in addition to having recruited new zombie lizards, thanks to the Shadow Curse ability, which regenerated 20% of allied units' health points, with a cooldown of only 6 seconds. With the ability only 100 points away from leveling up to level 4, Lin Yuen imagined he could evolve it with a skill scroll. Although Body Explosion consumed countless undead, getting the Iguana Master as one of his zombies made it worthwhile. Lin Yuen declared to his new pet, "From now on, you will be my shield." Suddenly, Han Qing's scream entered Lin Yuen's ears. Han Qing carried a box full of armor. His eyes sparkled as he celebrated. "It's the first time I've seen so many items. Should we start counting them now?" Lin Yuen asked him to calm down, as there were still some rats they needed to eliminate. Obviously, Lin Yuen was not talking about the lizards. At another fork, lizard monsters filled the floor. After eliminating countless enemies, Zhao Kui smiled. "It's not even fun to fight these idiots." Those of the Black Tree Guild who accompanied Zhao Kui praised and flattered him in every possible way. Zhao Kui kicked a last lizard before advancing. Behind him were a warrior and a mage, whom he ordered to collect the monster bodies. But suddenly, stones fell from the cave ceiling. The three had to act agilely to manage to dodge or block the stones. Furious, Zhao Kui roared, "Who's there? Who dares to ambush the Black Tree Guild?" In the midst of the dust cloud, 2 people emerged. Lin Yuen, ahead of Han Qing, asked the bald man, "Aren't you going to collect these bodies? Otherwise, I will." A mage was shocked to recognize the duo. "Impossible! You should have been eaten by the iron iguana." Roaring, Han Qing pointed his finger at them. "You still have the nerve to say that? I thought the Black Tree Guild was fair. I never imagined they would use players as dungeon bait." The knight accompanying Zhao Kui scoffed, stating that inferior beings should feel honored to be trodden upon by the guild. While everyone argued, Zhao Kui frowned, not understanding how those two were alive. He stared at the duo, where one was ranting and the other remained silent. The quiet young man irritated him more and more, which made him want to eliminate him immediately. Zhao Kui took a step forward, commenting, "I don't know what luck you had to survive, but now the good luck is over." He quickly advanced, swinging the iron sphere to attack. Lin Yuen pulled Han Qing back, dodging. "Get away!" The protagonist promptly counterattacked, swinging his sword. "Do you think you can do this alone?" Facing the sword, Zhao Kui swung the iron sphere once more. The weapons clashed, exploding against each other. Lin Yuen retreated after the confrontation, with a serious look. Seeing that his attack was defended, Zhao Kui became excited. However, Lin Yuen would make him regret it, using the curse of green spirits, skulls that flew furiously towards Zhao Kui. The captain of the Black Tree Guild leaped agilely, despite the heavy armor, dodging the attacks as he advanced. However, upon reaching where Lin Yuen was, he realized that the young man had disappeared in the smoke. Zhao Kui was still looking for him when a shadow appeared behind him. Quickly, Zhao Kui raised his shield, blocking the sword attack while scoffing, "Do you really think I'm defenseless, idiot? It's better for those who survive by luck to keep an eye open." Zhao Kui suddenly disappeared. The protagonist looked around looking for him until he reappeared behind him with a furious look. For someone useless, life is worthless. Lin Yuen was surprised to hear the voice behind him and turned hastily, only to be hit squarely by the iron ball. Flying to the other side of the cave, Lin Yuen hit a wall, destroying it with his body. Han Qing was scared and shouted worriedly for Lin Yuen. However, a knight and a mage were already competing to see who would fight Han Qing. Zhao Kui slowly walked towards Lin Yuen, who was lying on the ground. I don't have time to play with you, so just perish. With an excited look, he clenched his fist, launching a punch at Lin Yuen. However, shock appeared in Zhao Kui's eyes when he couldn't complete the attack. Lin Yuen had defended Zhao Kui's punch, holding it while questioning, "So you are the captain of the third team of the Black Tree Guild?" A shocked look appeared on Zhao Kui's face. The young man who stopped his attack was smiling. In Lin Yuen's eyes, the red intensified with the green of necromancy, while with a hoarse voice, he commented, "I think I understand the level of the guild ranked 10th in the main city." With his fist being held, Zhao Kui trembled. He tried to pull his fist back, but Lin Yuen twisted it, squeezing even tighter while staring at him coldly. Suddenly, Lin Yuen swung his body, throwing Zhao Kui away. Zhao Kui fell near his companions who were about to attack Han Qing. Coughing, he blamed himself for underestimating the adversary. Standing up, he used all his strength to charge once more. The knight and the mage, Zhao Kui's companions, shouted in unison and jumped along with him to attack together. However, in Lin Yuen's eyes, one stick remained weak, no matter how many others joined. Lin Yuen disappeared before the triple attack hit him. The next moment, two zombie vultures appeared above the trio from the Black Tree Guild. Flapping their wings, they attacked the two who joined Zhao Kui. Zhao Kui's eyes reflected the light of the attack falling towards him. Various skulls surrounded by necromantic energy plunged against him. The attack exploded over Zhao Kui, throwing him upwards. Zhao Kui fell along with his companions, who were forced to the ground by Lin Yuen's vultures. When Zhao Kui realized it, Lin Yuen had already approached. He quickly tried to intimidate Lin Yuen. "Wait! If you eliminate me here, the Black Tree Guild will hunt you down." Lin Yuen's eyes showed no change of feelings. He looked to the side, however, and spotted Han Qing hugging his leg with love in his eyes. "Boss, you really never give up. I was so worried." Lin Yuen shook his leg, throwing him away. Then he raised his sword, declaring, "I know your guild is not only tyrannical in the outside world, but also cruel in the immortal world. If you lose levels and equipment, your guild will also punish you, won't they? Have you imagined how to explain the situation to them?" Hastily, Zhao Kui tried to negotiate his own life with Lin Yuen. The protagonist thought and demanded, "Give me a list of the high-level players in your guild. Write down the characters' classes and characteristics." In Lin Yuen's past life, the abilities used by the first disciple were unknown. No one knew how to deal with them, so he must belong to a rare class that no one knew about. Unaware of this information, Zhao Kui confusedly asked Lin Yuen what he would do with the list. However, Lin Yuen punished him with a skewer so he wouldn't ask useless questions. "Choose. Are you going to write or not?" Hastily, Zhao Kui nodded. "I will write." Sometime later, Lin Yuen read the list given by Zhao Kui. Although there were some special classes, none matched that of the first disciple. Later, Zhao Kui asked hesitantly, "Boss, can you let us go?" The protagonist nodded. "I will let you go." Zhao Kui immediately thanked him, preparing to leave. However, Lin Yuen attacked them before they could realize it. The spiritual flame hit them, while Lin Yuen reminded them, "You hurt so many innocent people that you need to give an explanation to them on the other side of life." By eliminating the three, Lin Yuen obtained a sword, the iron ball, and a cloak. While Lin Yuen collected the items, he observed Han Qing's actions. Han Qing had found a chest and showed it excitedly. "Look, boss, they also found an unopened treasure chest." Opening the chest, Lin Yuen stated that he would choose one item and leave the rest for Han Qing, who hastily refused. Han Qing stated that he wanted to buy the chest so that it wouldn't be disadvantageous for anyone. Setting the chest aside, Lin Yuen accepted, as he didn't care much. Seeing the collected armor, items that didn't match him, Lin Yuen allowed Han Qing to obtain them. Han Qing bought all the items, depositing 54 coins into Lin Yuen's account. The duo left the cave after collecting the equipment. Although some were silver rank, none were gold rank, a rank difficult to obtain at that level. Starting to call Lin Yuen Lord of the Abyss due to a pun on his name, Han Qing claimed to have a doubt. Trembling, he revealed, "I heard that the Black Tree Guild is vengeful and will attack from the outside those who defeat them in the immortal world. How about I send a guard to protect you?" Stating that this guild was just a bunch of insects, Lin Yuen reassured him. As soon as he took off his helmet, Lin Yuen heard his mother's voice. "Yuen, come eat." The protagonist stood up, answering, "I'm coming." However, as soon as Lin Yuen opened his bedroom door, he came across a slender man in a suit wearing a helmet. Upon seeing the man, Lin Yuen took a step back. The man, Lin Yuen's father, removed the helmet, commenting with a smile, "Yuen, isn't this the helmet you used to play? Is it broken?" Checking the helmet in confusion, Lin Yuen asked his father when he had bought a gaming helmet. Afraid of having broken the helmet, Lin Yuen's father commented worriedly, What am I going to do? Your mother found this while cleaning little Lin Tan's room. The protagonist ended up remembering that it was around this time that in his past life, Lin Tan had awakened a secret class. Lin Tan's mother interrupted his conversation with his father, calling them to eat. It was already evening when the family began to dine. In front of a plentiful table, Lin Yuen's mother commented with concern, "Your father doesn't understand these new things, but he wants to talk to you. He spent an entire afternoon and couldn't even turn on the helmet." Having his secret revealed, Lin Yuen's father quickly tried to correct his wife's words. "I was just worried that something had happened to the helmet, so I was checking it." Lin Yuen was thinking of having his parents enter the immortal world and using the resources he had inside the game to strengthen them. With this, when the cataclysm arrived, they would be able to protect themselves. Thus, he declared, "This game is not difficult. I will buy 2 more helmets tomorrow so you can try playing it." Lin Yuen's mother didn't want him to spend money, but he reassured her and curiously asked where Lin Tan was. Imagining that his daughter was with her friends, Lin Yuen's mother decided to call her. Lin Yuen did the same, but discovered that the young woman's phone was unavailable. Lin Yuen found the situation strange, as his sister, even if she didn't answer, would send a message. Believing that his daughter was eating out, Lin Yuen's mother encouraged him to continue eating. Lin Yuen, however, stood up, stating that he was going to the market. His mother wanted to stop him, as the food would get cold, but his father stopped her. Imagining that Lin Yuen was trying to get closer to his sister again, their father wanted to encourage them. The protagonist went down the apartment stairs while remembering the past. In his previous life, he had seen Lin Tan return home full of wounds. However, she ignored him, warning him not to tell anyone what he had seen. That day was still present in Lin Yuen's mind. In his past life, after Lin Tan started playing Eternity, she quickly awakened, but had to face several difficulties. Everything had started with the appearance of a mysterious organization, the System Organization. The System Organization was a mysterious group founded by 9 celestial chosen ones. Only they were qualified to join the system. Among these, there was an existence called the Prophet. The Prophet could sense the celestial chosen ones in reality and send members to train them to join the system. At a terrifying speed, the power of the System Organization became invincible in the game. Not only that, but their influence in the real world also became stronger, although their actions became suspicious. They did something good to maintain the stability of society, which made them unique. After Lin Tan was invited to join them, she frequently faced difficult quests, but never mentioned anything about the organization at home. Lin Yuen hoped she hadn't joined them again. Leaving the apartment, Lin Yuen swore, "Even if it's them, I won't let her get involved in the matter out of ignorance again." As the protagonist was walking down the street, something caught his attention. He spotted a coffee shop and quickly hid. Inside, Lin Tan was talking to someone. The protagonist observed that his sister had already met the organization, but he couldn't understand what they were talking about due to the distance. Wanting to find out, Lin Yuen tried to focus on his ability to become invisible. He managed to enter the coffee shop with the ability, which, now at level 3, lasted 5 minutes. Stopping at the bar, he observed Lin Tan talking to 2 men, Xiao Pan and Hao Chen. Hao Chen, the more serious man, finished telling everything to Lin Tan and concluded, "Joining our organization is not just for our own good. When the disaster happens 3 years from now, you will be like us, a defense for the world." A silence settled at the table where the 3 were gathered. The protagonist observed how the situation would unfold until Xiao Pan playfully teased his partner. "You scared the girl? Calm down that terrifying aura of yours." Hao Chen hastily reminded the man that even if he thought he was handsome, they were talking about a serious matter. However, in the middle of his speech, Hao Chen noticed something. Lin Yuen felt a gaze directed towards him, as if he had been discovered. Hao Chen frowned, knowing that someone was there. Immediately, he touched the ring on his finger, activating the Dispel ability. The ability covered the entire area of the coffee shop. Lin Yuen was surprised to see that his invisibility would be dispersed in 3 seconds. However, before the time ran out, he disappeared, and Hao Chen stared at nothing. To disguise his actions, Hao Chen asked the coffee shop owner for some tea. While the owner prepared the order, Lin Yuen hid behind the counter, relieved that Hao Chen's ring ability took 3 seconds for full activation. Hao Chen drank the tea, declaring, "Lin Tan, I hope you consider carefully joining us, people with a sense of justice. We don't stand idly by in the face of disaster." He handed Lin Tan a card to contact him when she made a decision. Taking the card with conviction, Lin Tan nodded. As the 2 left the coffee shop, Xiao Pan didn't miss the opportunity to tease. "I'll be waiting for you, kitten." Lin Yuen then activated the invisibility ability again and left the coffee shop. However, upon reaching the outside, he did not find the duo who had just left. The protagonist walked around looking for them, when suddenly, A cup of coffee fell in front of him. Lin Yuen was surprised to step in the drink. Having thrown the coffee, Hao Chen commented, "I was sure there was something wrong." A notification immediately warned that the invisibility effect had been disturbed. The invisibility was fading in front of the organization duo. However, before the invisibility ended, Lin Yuen disappeared from the street. The duo stared at nothing once more. Trying to check the coffee, Hao Chen blamed himself for being so sensitive lately. Asking Hao Chen to calm down, Xiaopan asked if his companion thought the girl would join them. Hao Chen commented that the prophet had already said that soon the young woman would join them. Xiaopan, hearing this, nodded, as the predictions had never failed. Xiaopan was more curious to know what kind of woman Hao Chen liked, but with an irritated look, Hao Chen told him to focus on surviving the catastrophe first. From the top of a tree, Lin Yuen observed the duo. The group proved to be more difficult to investigate than he thought. He was also concerned about not revealing his own forbidden class to others. If that happened, life in the immortal world would become more difficult. Returning home, Lin Tan stared at the business card. She had a serious expression on her face. However, lifting her head, she was surprised. "Why are you here?" Carrying a bag, Lin Yuen simply said he had gone to buy something and asked if his sister had eaten. Looking down, Lin Tan said she was fine. Asking her not to leave work so late, he lifted the bag. "I bought food. See if there's anything you like when we get home." Lin Tan wondered why her brother was trying to take care of her when he couldn't do the same for himself. Without an answer, she saw Lin Yuen prepare to enter and called him, "Let's go home." With a worried look, she followed him. When they returned home, Lin Tan's mother asked if she had eaten. However, she refused, only wanting to rest. Since her son hadn't eaten, Lin Yuen's mother decided to prepare more food for him. At the same time, Lin Tan slammed her bedroom door shut. Inside, she sighed heavily. Remembering what had happened recently, she lay down on the bed. "Since I played that game, all sorts of strange things have happened." Lin Tan saw herself fighting monsters, but she and her friend were too weak. The friend screamed, "Xiao Tan, run! You are faster, I will hold him back!" They were against a longsword mantis, a level 5 monster. The mantis's sharp claws attacked Lin Tan's friend, who fell to the ground. Lin Tan didn't know how to react, but upon seeing her friend, she gathered courage. "I'm on the front line. How could I abandon her and flee? Leave it to me." Lin Tan faced countless mantises alone, while her friend fled through the forest. The giant mantis attacked with its sharp scythe, forcing Lin Tan to block with her sword. Another mantis appeared behind her. She couldn't dodge and was hit by the monster. However, it was at that moment that she unlocked a secret class. While coughing, surrounded by the mantises, the awakening was happening. Lin Tan raised her sword and, with the new power, brandished the sharp blade, eliminating the mantises by penetrating their carapaces. With an iron will, she advanced among the enemies to save herself and her friend. After defeating all the monsters, Lin Tan leaned on her sword, plunged into the ground. A golden glow enveloped her, finalizing the awakening of the Sword of Dawn. After awakening the Sword of Dawn, Lin Tan felt some changes in her own body. She wondered if she would really be able to protect everyone if a disaster happened. Staring at the power in her hands, she showed determination. If this kind of power can't resist the disaster, then is there any hope for others to survive? Looking at the photo of her own family, Lin Tan decided that regardless of whether or not she joined the system, she should become as strong as possible to protect those who were precious to her. Lin Yuen held the same photo, with determination. "I can't delay any longer. My energy must be focused on the game, but I can't be on guard all the time." He decided to make his family live well. The next day, the protagonist visited a large building. A woman received him, asking if he would like to take a look at an apartment. However, he was more interested in a furnished villa with high security. Seeing that the man was young, the woman wondered if he was really capable and asked, "Sir, have you heard the price of our properties?" Raising a black card, Lin Yuen showed confidence that he had the necessary value. Upon seeing the card, the saleswoman became excited. "Is that the limited edition VIP card with 10 million? The saleswoman's excited scream attracted the attention of the entire hall. Later, Lin Yuen's parents followed him, somewhat confused. Upon seeing the luxurious house he was visiting, they asked in surprise, "Are we going to live here?" Upon seeing the huge swimming pool, Lin Yuen's mother was impressed. The protagonist's father almost fainted upon seeing the giant size of the bed. The cascading chandelier, as well as all the luxurious furniture, left them incredulous. Stuttering, they asked how much he had spent, not wanting to pressure him to spend money. Lin Yuen reassured them, explaining that he had bought it with the prize from a competition. Having the dream of living in a villa realized, Lin Yuen's father held his wife's hands. They watched their son grow up in the blink of an eye. The protagonist was satisfied to provide such a life for his parents. As evening approached, Lin Yuen walked through a commercial area. He pondered to himself the next steps, getting his parents to play Immortal World and being careful with the organization. Suddenly, he became more vigilant. Several people crossed his path, and one of them, excited, said, "Heh, I finally found what I was waiting for. It was hard to find you." In front of Lin Yuen were the bald man and his companions from the Black Tree Guild. The protagonist easily recognized Zhao Kui by his bowling ball-like head. All at once, countless people ran towards him carrying iron bars. One of them raised the bar while shouting, "Whoever challenges Mr. Zhao will meet their end." As the bar slowly headed towards Lin Yuen, he activated the invisibility ability. He disappeared, making the enemy only hit the ground. When they realized it, Lin Yuen was already jumping towards Zhao Kui. The protagonist hit the bald man hard and went on to knock down all the others from the Black Tree Guild. Zhao Kui fell heavily to the ground, coughing terribly. An iron bar was plunged beside him, scaring him even more. With an intimidating look, Lin Yuen stared at the bald man. "It seems you don't value your own life." Zhao Kui stammered, trying to apologize. "I was wrong. Big brother, spare me. I can still be useful. I know a secret quest." The protagonist told Zhao Kui to speak. The bald man revealed that, in the main city, he should find a blacksmith named Tongs. With high favorability with the blacksmith, he would forge a golden equipment for him. The protagonist remembered that, in his previous life, someone had indeed managed to get gold rank equipment quickly, which raised suspicions about the game's characters. Lin Yuen squeezed the iron bar, twisting it, and advised, "I hope you don't do anything stupid. I have many ways to deal with you, inside or outside the game." Breaking the iron bars with his hand, he warned, "This is what will happen to you if you dare to do anything against my family." Sweating with fear, Zhao Kui understood the message. During the night, Lin Yuen went to a tavern in the main city. The smell of delicious drinks and food spread through the place. An old bearded man seemed incredulous. "You mean you can provide 100 gold pieces? Stop joking! You're a mage for mining, but if you do that, I'll give you a sword for free." Lin Yuen realized that Zhao Kui might not be lying. At that moment, a man started chasing a woman so she would drink with him. Drunk, she tried to escape but staggered. Lin Yuen observed her in silence, making the man furious. "What are you looking at? I'll gouge your eyes out." Before the man could do anything, Lin Yuen pushed him to the other side of the tavern, accompanied by a warning. The drunk woman clung to Lin Yuen. "What a handsome little brother. Thank you. How about I buy you a drink?" However, Lin Yuen just rejected her and ignored her. She tried to follow him but stumbled over her own feet. Lin Yuen reacted in time, holding her by the waist in his arms. The woman seemed to have fallen in love with his chivalry, but immediately fell asleep in his arms. Lin Yuen rented a room in the tavern, leaving the woman to rest. After that, he went to the Viper Mine. Kobolds raised their pickaxes, excavating iron from the mine. With 12 zombie kobolds in the portal, Lin Yuen considered them perfect for mining a good amount in a short time. Suddenly, an explosion happened, throwing a kobold away. Various violent moles of level 10 rushed towards Lin Yuen and the kobolds. Lin Yuen summoned the Scorpion King to hunt and get rid of the moles. The scorpion swung its tail towards the animals, preparing to sting them. In an instant, the monsters were defeated. Lin Yuen also collected the moles, preparing for all kinds of events. Soon, the moles rose again. However, a new explosion happened, even bigger. The protagonist protected himself from the explosion and soon spotted a giant mole chasing another person. The lucky rank violent mole was level 16, posing a great threat. Realizing that this was the mine boss, Lin Yuen believed that someone was purposely attracting monsters. The mole boss chased a man, who unexpectedly also attacked Lin Yuen. The protagonist planted his feet on the ground and used them as leverage to jump backward, while magic accompanied him. Lin Yuen was surprised, thinking that it was a fixed target magic, but realized he was wrong. That was, in fact, a blessing magic, which, upon hitting him, increased his defense points. A glow surged in Lin Yuen, showing that this was not an attack from a mage, but a buff from a priest. As the priest was being chased, the people around were surprised. A man picked up a dragonfly camera, ordering it to film the scene. The Sun Priest ran, telling everyone to get out of the way so as not to be caught. Spectators watched the priest escape and laughed. Seeing how the priest remained righteous even in that situation, Lin Yuen decided to help him. People who had seen Lin Yuen in the broadcast found him familiar and invited their friends. The mole boss suddenly attacked the priest with its claws, but the monster's attack was blocked by Lin Yuen, who held it with his body's strength. The priest was shocked by what he saw. On a plane, Zhao Kui watched the broadcast. He was impressed, as even he couldn't do that. Other people walking along the trail were irritated, as all they heard about was Lin Yuen. Zhao Kui recognized a complaining person, Nu Yan from the Fury Guild. The bald man boasted, mocking him. To be honest, the divine madman took advantage of the guild and the class. In terms of operations, no one compares to the great divine. Hearing the comparison, Nu Yan turned around. Zhao Kui was not afraid to support his words. Some people even say that Guang Shen, as the leader of the #1 Feng Chuisha guild, should have resigned a long time ago. Nguyen pointed his sword at the bald man, questioning who was speaking ill of their guild. With a malicious look, Zhao Kui commented that the divine madman had already fallen in popularity and that the young people were taking over the scene. Knowing that he was talking about the boy in the broadcast, Nguyen asked where he was. As soon as the bald man revealed Lin Yuen's location in the mines, Nguyen declared, "Call everyone who is online. Follow me." In the mines, Lin Yuen used his sword to defeat the large mole alone. Having attracted the monster's attention, he told the priest to leave. The large mole, despite the attacks, ran furiously towards Lin Yuen. It jumped against him, but only hit the ground, raising pieces of rock. As soon as Lin Yuen retreated, he extended his hand, creating spiritual flames. The attacks fell upon the mole, which screamed in pain. The broadcast became even more frantic. The enraged mole would not give up, chasing Lin Yuen through the mine. Suddenly, zombie wolves emerged, jumping onto the monster. They grabbed the mole so that it would no longer chase their master. Upon knocking down the mole, Lin Yuen scoffed, "If you only care about acting crazily, you will suffer a great loss." Since the mole wouldn't understand his words, Lin Yuen promptly finished it off. Upon being hit, the mole howled. The kobold chief jumped onto it to attack it as well. With the large hammer, he increased the damage of Lin Yuen's attack on the mole, hitting it at the same point. Lin Yuen then put on his gloves. Preparing a punch, he roared, "The end has come!" The punch fell upon the mole, eliminating it and making Lin Yuen reach level 15. The protagonist obtained the boots of agility and the pursuit dagger as rewards. The boots were silver rank items, focused on agility and speed, while the dagger increased attack speed and possessed an ability that further amplified that speed. The priest's eyes sparkled as he approached Lin Yuen, asking if he was the master who had single-handedly defeated the wolf boss, asking to be added as a friend. However, Lin Yuen denied being that person and ignored him, even with the priest's insistence. Suddenly, a fireball traveled against Lin Yuen's back. The protagonist spun his body, and with a sword blow broke the attack in half. At the mine entrance, a group smiled upon finding him. In the middle of them was Nguyen. "Let me turn you into ashes so that you recognize me." As they entered the cave, some of the dozens of people accompanying Nguyen provoked, "How dare they? Turn on the broadcast and see what happens when they face the Fury Guild." The protagonist understood the group's intention, tried to defeat him to gain fame. However, he accepted the free delivery of equipment from this group of players. Suddenly, Lin Yuen saw a cleric's staff extend beside him. The young priest roared, "I've been waiting for this for a long time. The feeling of fighting alongside a companion. In the name of justice, I will protect the important people." Lin Yuen was surprised and asked the young man to step away. Nguyen tried to get Lin Yuen's attention, but before he finished speaking, the protagonist had already slapped his face, silencing him. Nguyen spun like a tornado after the slap, being thrown far away. He only stopped when he was dragged several meters on the ground. At this point, the number of people watching the broadcast already exceeded 5,000. Nguyen gritted his teeth for being attacked by a stray dog. "You don't think you are some kind of deity like they treat you, do you?" Furious, he ordered his guild, "Attack!" Arrows, fire magic, and curses were raised against Lin Yuen. A knight raised his shield, preparing the charge. Confidently, he shouted, "He won't be able to handle all of us alone." Seeing how the group cooperated with each other, Lin Yuen decided to eliminate those who dealt damage first. He activated invisibility and dodged the sword attacks. Immediately, the knight shouted for the mages to use Dispel. The mages conjured the magic, but too late, as Lin Yuen was already behind them. With a single attack, he eliminated 2 mages. Nguyen, furious, drew his sword. "He must be low on health because he was fighting. Get him! We have the numerical advantage." All the rogues attacked at once, as the guild leader had offered a reward for whoever eliminated Lin Yuen. The protagonist dodged various fireballs. Since the mine was narrow, he couldn't properly utilize the zombies. Facing the attacks, he allowed the explosions to happen, which caught the attention of those watching the live broadcast. Lin Yuen jumped into the fire, escaping into the depths of the mine while being pursued. Nguyen followed behind the group, commanding the Fury Guild. What he didn't expect was that Lin Yuen was on the ceiling. When Nguyen realized it, someone was already falling onto him. With a strong kick, Lin Yuen made Nguyen fall to the ground. On impact, the master of the Fury Guild lost some teeth. Thrown away, Nguyen sat up with his hand over his mouth. "Damn it, sneak attacking!" However, the next moment, Nguyen felt a hand on his head and a sword touching his neck. He hastily shouted to the guild, warning them that he had found the enemy. But Lin Yuen showed that they were alone and questioned, "If your entire group perishes, will your crazy deity blame you?" At that moment, wolves entered the cave where Nguyen's group had entered. The body explosion ability was activated, engulfing each of the players. Holding Nguyen's head, the protagonist forced him to watch the scene. Nguyen shouted, "What is happening?" Raising his sword, Lin Yuen ordered him to ask personally. The The broadcast showed Lin Yuen defeating Nguyen, and the spectators were impressed. As soon as Nguyen was defeated, daggers from dual directions fell as a penalty. The protagonist quickly planned to collect all the equipment and leave before the place became dangerous due to the crowd. In a forge, Lin Yuen met with the blacksmith Tongs. Tongs was impressed and asked him to come back often, as the demand for iron ores was gigantic. Since the blacksmith could only collect a maximum of 100 pieces of iron per day, Lin Yuen imagined that the quest would take time to be completed, even though he had mined enough for a whole month. Since he had obtained a lot of equipment from the Fury Guild, he knew that selling it directly to Han Qing could put the young man in trouble. Individual sales would be laborious, but it was the only viable method. Lin Yuen also planned to look for the Disciples Guild, starting with the clues he already possessed. In his past life, the first disciple had the ability to control snakes, so there should be some clue in the Snake Men civilization. Lin Yuen headed to the city sewers. The accepted quest, delivered by Sheriff Sha Tu, consisted of eliminating 30 rats. The task seemed simple, but it was linked to a secret quest in the sewers. While hunting humanoid rats, he remembered the Snake Lair, a dungeon where it was possible to obtain the blood and flesh seed, a rare item that increased attributes. The number of secret dungeons per week was limited, so when the news leaked, everyone would fight for them. Lin Yuen planned to use the zombies to occupy the dungeon entrance while looking for a room with snakes, where the dungeon's location could be confirmed. Upon seeing a poisonous tongue, he found the exact position. An explosion occurred in the sewage water. In front of Lin Yuen, there was a giant serpent, a creature he had never seen before. The Hades Cobra King was level 60, and except for its level, all other information was unknown. The cobra hissed as it attacked Lin Yuen. He fled to avoid being caught, using invisibility. He couldn't let the serpent touch him, otherwise he would lose levels and equipment. Running through the waters with invisibility, he could still be detected, so he jumped from stone to stone, dodging the ones that fell from the ceiling due to the Hades Cobra's attacks. The protagonist used the terrain to his advantage, passing through an opening too small for the giant cobra to cross. However, Lin Yuen felt danger. Looking back, he realized that the cobra had knocked down the passage, clearing the way to try to attack him. He continued to run through the rubble, fleeing the fierce and poisonous blue serpent without finding a safe place. To help him, Lin Yuen summoned the giant scorpion to delay the cobra and gain time to use magic. He knew that the scorpions wouldn't be able to defeat the Hades Cobra, but the situation turned out to be even worse than he imagined, as the serpent destroyed the zombies with a single attack as it advanced. The protagonist reached a cave, where he found a triangular exit in the ceiling. The cobra approached faster and faster, destroying everything in its path. However, Lin Yuen managed to jump through the hole, leaving the sewers. Through the triangular hole, the cobra spotted Lin Yuen but couldn't make a passage. The protagonist stood up and observed the ruins he was in, surprised. It was the Western Desert Palace where the National Guardian was positioned, a place where any monster that approached would be eliminated without exception. Through the triangular hole, Lin Yuen saw the serpent continue to hiss. Wiping the sweat, he commented, "The Snake Men civilization and the Western Desert Kingdom have a deep feud. The Desert Kingdom's strength completely suppresses the Snake Men, generating some of the oldest revenge stories. This caused any dark beast or monster that set foot in the Imperial Palace to be destroyed without hesitation by the guard." Lin Yuen knew that that cobra was no match for the Imperial Master. Still, he would be able to obtain some information, as the snake lair was close to the home of the monster that attacked him. To avoid future problems, he noted to himself that he should buy some potion capable of attracting small basilisks, preventing large snakes from approaching. Lin Yuen headed to the large desert city castle. A vendor received him excitedly and thanked him for the purchase. The protagonist obtained 2 potions to attract only low-level creatures. Suddenly, a voice sounded. "I crossed a sandstorm just to find you. How are you, dear friend?" Lin Yuen realized that the one chasing him was the young priest he had met in the mine. The priest insisted that Lin Yuen add him as a friend, feeling attracted to him, and invited him to go to the next city together. But Lin Yuen ignored him, stating that he was busy. Quickly, the priest blocked his path. "My dear friend, don't you think the super deity in Ashvale is amazing? Join us too," he continued. "I will manage to unite Leng Yue and Xing Hen to become the 4 super deities and help each other awaken this fallen world." The name Leng Yue caught Lin Yuen's attention. In his previous life, Leng Yue was the president of the guild ranked 2nd in Feng Shuisha, the Water Mirror Moon Guild. Leng Yue was also a core member of the organization, and rumors said that he was one of the 9 chosen ones who created the system. Despite being an opportunity, Lin Yuen remembered that the secret dungeons would be reset the next day. He intended to secure those rewards before dealing with Leng Yue. In the end, the protagonist accepted the friend request from the player Old Year's Son. Commenting on going to a dungeon together next time, Lin Yuen warned that he had matters to resolve, so he would leave first. The next day, upon entering some ruins, Lin Yuen remembered that snakes would appear near the entrance of the secret dungeon, so he looked for traces of these animals. Bending down, he found a trail on the ground. Soon, some serpents appeared further ahead. Although they were small, he remembered to be careful. Exploding a door, Lin Yuen found the true dungeon with the help of a kobold. Dark candles were lit while carcasses of giant snakes were scattered around, and small snakes crawled on the ground. Reaching out to open the gate of the underworld, Lin Yuen began the operation. Emerging from the gate, the giant scorpion caught the attention of the small snakes. The protagonist ordered, "Get rid of all of them!" The scorpion's tail glowed, activating the crystal storm. Various jewels fell upon the snakes like a precious rain. Upon eliminating the small snakes, various seeds fell to the ground, the flesh and blood seeds. Lin Yuen picked one of them up and brought it close to his mouth. He gained 3 spirit points upon eating the first of the 100 seeds he could consume. Since the production of that item was limited, as was the consumption, Lin Yuen figured he could sell them for at least 5 gold coins each on the market. Clearing 1 dungeon per week, it would be possible to obtain thousands of gold coins. Even without joining a guild, he wouldn't run out of money. The second seed increased 5 physical attribute points, although the third only increased 2 points. Lin Yuen continued to eat the seeds until the 100 possible were consumed. Similarly, he took the opportunity to tame some of the snakes. Having used 100 seeds, he kept the remaining 900 to sell them in the future, planning to also return the following week to collect more. Lin Yuen left 3 zombies behind in order to scare common players. No one would go to such a place anytime soon. The snakes that lived there proved to be different from those that the dark divinity's disciple controlled, which made Lin Yuen wonder if the disciple possessed monster mutation abilities. Suddenly, Lin Yuen received a notification from the real world. His sister was calling, which worried him. He answered the call, asking if something had happened. On the other side, Lin Tan asked, "I just wanted to know if you've already eaten." Frowning, Lin Yuen answered yes. At that moment, he heard another girl's voice. "Big brother, I wanted to ask if it would be convenient to help us with a dungeon now." The protagonist confirmed, although surprised that his sister wanted to go to a dungeon with him. Then a male voice sounded in the background. "Lin Tan is a liar, and her brother is a braggart too. He agreed without even knowing what the dungeon was." "Lin Tan, has your brother gone crazy from playing too many games by any chance? Do you two always conspire to deceive people?" Beside the man, another girl scoffed at Lin Tan. "That's right, brother Yan. Let's choose a very difficult dungeon, the Valley of Ashes. No guild has managed to conquer it yet." On the phone, Lin Tan asked her brother, "Valley of Ashes on heroic difficulty. Are you sure, brother?" Upon hearing, the man named Brother Yan scoffed. "Valley of Ashes? Stop lying. Your brother is a liar just like you. Even your parents must be bad people for giving birth to liars like you." Furious, Lin Tan announced, "All right, Xiao Tan, stop talking nonsense. I'll be in the Valley of Ashes soon." Hearing his sister's fury, Lin Yuen frowned in irritation, but decided to support her. While waiting above the valley cliffs, worry arose in Lin Tan. Even though her brother played the game frequently and earned a lot of money, she wondered if he could really conquer the Valley of Ashes on heroic difficulty. She feared she was causing problems for him. Someone suddenly approached Lin Tan. Upon seeing her friend Chao Xiang Changye approach, Lin Tan formed a team with her. Chao Xiang claimed to have heard about the bet, caused only because a classmate had praised Lin Tan for moving to a new row, and Wang Yan heard. Chao Xiang treated Wang Yan like trash, so she was there precisely to make him apologize in front of everyone. Lin Tan thanked her friend for her presence, before the arrogant Wang Yan, followed by several flatterers, approached. "I've seen many girls like you. Are your parents working in someone's villa? That doesn't count as living there?" Annoyed, Lin Tan ridiculed back. "Wang Yan, besides being born into a good family, what good do you have to laugh at others?" Chao Xiang quickly ran up to her friend, preventing her from getting even more stressed. Irritated by the insults, Wang Yan ordered his followers to attack the 2 girls. A mage and a swordsman happily advanced, forcing Chao Xiang and Lin Tan to prepare themselves. Suddenly, an attack coming from an unknown place emerged. The blows fell upon the mage and the swordsman, breaking the advance of both. Lin Yuen appeared in front of his sister, putting an end to the aggressors. Worried, Lin Yuen asked if Lin Tan was okay. While his sister answered, her friend blushed upon seeing how handsome Lin Yuen could be. Wang Yan was outraged to have his followers eliminated. "You are attacking those who are going to help me level up? Do you know how much it costs to hire them? Are you going to deal with this? How will I be able to level up without them?" The protagonist moved quickly, appearing in front of Wang Yan to question him if he was the one who had cursed his parents. Before Wang Yan could curse him, Lin Yuen slapped his face. A red waterfall poured from Wang Yan's nose, while Lin Yuen cursed him. "No matter what dog you are, if you dare to bark and bite people, you should be castrated." Wang Yan flew away, falling onto several stones. Wang Yan's girlfriend quickly ran to help him while complaining. Are you crazy? It takes at least 6 people for a dungeon. Lin Yuen angrily replied, I will take care of the missing people. Just shut up and wait. Since Lin Yuen needed the mounted combat ability obtained in the Valley of Ashes, he was already preparing for the dungeon. He opened his contact list, calling New Year's Sun. Chao Xiang approached Lin Tan in the meantime. Little Tan, your brother is even more capable than I imagined. He's also very handsome. Annoyed, Lin Tan crossed her arms. Wang Yan managed to stand up and roared against Lin Yuen's words. How can a bunch of poor people like you find good people? Just losers, right? His girlfriend, however, was surprised to see a magic circle and a person teleporting to him. Young master, look, isn't that the boss of the Super Iron Triangle? As soon as he appeared, New Year's Sun murmured, when the bell of destiny rings, you and I will be destined to navigate a sea of ambition without return. New Year's Sun joined the team, shocking Wang Yan, as he was the main priest of the second guild of the Western Desert, the Water Mirror Moon Flower Guild. Excitedly, Wang Yan treated New Year's Sun with respect. Big brother, are you going to take us into the dungeon? Thank you very much. Chao Xiang was surprised to see such a person, as someone like him shouldn't form a team with people outside the guild he belonged to. Before Lin Tan could understand, she was confronted with something. New Year's Sun ran towards Lin Yuen with shining eyes. Best friend, you finally remembered me. I knew you would definitely take me to a dungeon. As soon as I received your team invitation, I rushed to come here quickly. Lin Yuen angrily extended his hand, preventing New Year's Sun from approaching. Wang Yan and his girlfriend were speechless, to the point where it was possible to put a watermelon in their mouths. Chief New Year asked that guy to carry him in a dungeon? How is that possible? Isn't he just a nerd? Shocked, the girl hastily told Wang Yan to talk to the priest. Seeing them ridicule Lin Yuen, New Year's Sun became annoyed. What are you talking about? I came here especially because of my best friend. He is the best among the best. Lin Yuen made him shut up so they could enter the dungeon. At that moment, Wang Yan returned to accuse Lin Yuen. Now I understand. Your brother is also hiring someone, Lin Tan. But the Valley of Ashes on heroic difficulty is so difficult that not even the #1 guild, Fury, managed to conquer it. What can the second guild's priest do? With a sharp look, Lin Yuen ended the discussion. Shut up and just watch. In the portal inside the Valley of Ashes, the first person emerged. Level 18. Ash lizards, red monsters with horns and spikes, were scattered throughout the deserted valley. Since the monsters' attributes were so high, even New Year's Sun wondered if Lin Yuen would be okay, wishing he was at a higher level so he could help better. Following behind the group, Wang Yan thought of something. I think he invited a priest to try to clear each monster slowly. But we can't let him succeed. We need to attract as many monsters as possible. Hearing Wang Yan's thoughts, the girl next to him understood his intentions. She extended her hand, using fire magic. The attack fell near the ash lizards, alerting them. Seeing the invaders, the first of the lizards hissed its sharp tongue towards them. Lin Yuen frowned when he saw the lizards move. Chao Xiang was scared to see so many ash lizards advancing towards them. Shocked, Lin Tan didn't remember seeing so many monsters in the tutorial video. Wang Yan was satisfied and mocked. It seems your luck is not very good. New Year's Sun became excited at the situation. Dear friend, has your fighting spirit been awakened? This battle will make us more united. Without much emotion, Lin Yuen summoned the lightning scorpion. The scorpion snaked its tail with a crystal stinger and launched thunder through its eyes, attacks that engulfed the ash lizards. While telling everyone to protect themselves, Lin Yuen advanced into battle. The sword was brandished from one lizard to another, turning them into giant sashimi wherever Lin Yuen passed. With the sword in hand, he had become the dominator of the Valley of Ashes. Lin Tan also advanced to protect her friend from a lizard as big as her, but Lin Yuen appeared before the lizard jumped at Lin Tan and attacked it with a thrust. Observing her brother, Lin Tan couldn't help but notice how good he was at the game, as well as strong and reliable. Lin Yuen stroked his sister's head, making her blush while reassuring her, "Don't worry, I'm here and I won't put you in danger." Being pampered, Lin Tan frowned, irritated like a tsundere. Chao Xiang looked at her friend with shining eyes, wanting to be in her place. Wang Yan, after seeing Lin Yuen in action, was convinced that the Valley of Ashes was extremely easy. Therefore, he believed that with silver rank equipment, he wouldn't be inferior. Wang Yan looked for a monster nearby to prove himself. Upon finding an ash lizard, he advanced. This is the true power of young Master Yan. The lizard was surprised to see someone attack it. Counter-attacking, it simply swung its arm, hitting Wang Yan's cheek and throwing him far away. Feeling how strong the monsters were, Wang Yan tasted the pain of the attack as he fell to the ground. Lin Yuen told him to try to stay alive and wait for him to complete the dungeon. Originally, Lin Yuen wanted to give Xiaotan gold rank equipment, but he would only be able to give her some silver ones for now. The protagonist released armor and gauntlets from his inventory, equipment that matched his sister. The fighter spirit gauntlets, as well as the fearless armor, mainly increased attack power and constitution, in addition to effects on critical damage. Wang Yan's friend was impressed. Those silver rank pieces of equipment could be exchanged for countless luxury items. In her eyes, Lin Yuen was giving millions of yunais to Lin Tan without even even blinking. Lin Tan refused the equipment, however, stating that she would obtain her own equipment. Smiling slightly, Lin Yuen observed his sister's stubbornness. Soon, New Year's Sun used his sacred power to attract the ash lizards, while increasing the power in Lin Yuen so that he could eliminate them. On the other hand, Lin Tan and Chao Xiang also helped as much as they could. Finally, Wang Yan continued to flee the monsters that were chasing him. One of the ash lizards swung its tail like a hammer, falling upon Lin Tan, who used her sword to protect herself. With determination, she stated that she would be able to fight, but the lizard extended its tongue towards the girl, intending to devour her. At that moment, various spiritual flames crossed the battlefield, falling upon the monster and leaving it with less than 1% of its health points. Lin Tan attacked the lizard, feeling that her brother was still the same as always treating her like a child. She no longer wanted him to intervene. Seeing his sister's reaction, Lin Yuen felt it was increasingly difficult to hand over some equipment to her. On one side, Lin Tan continued to attack the monsters that Lin Yuen helped to defeat, while he eliminated most of them. Watching one secretly give rewards to the other, Chao Xiang couldn't help but call them memorable. Watching the two was even more fun than hunting the monsters. Soon, all the monsters in the Valley of Ashes were eliminated. The group advanced again until they reached a closed area. New Year's Sun, leading the group, warned that the final boss was just ahead. He asked Lin Yuen if they should leave to prepare first, as they were not yet suffering penalties. If they fought the boss and lost levels and equipment, the damage would be too great. Lin Yuen agreed with New Year's Sun's decision, but Wang Yan wouldn't let them run. That's hilarious. He's so good at defeating small monsters, but he's scared when he meets the boss. Chao Xiang didn't want her friend to take risks. Lin Tan, it's quite impressive that your brother brought us this far. Looking down upon seeing that she would be causing problems for her brother, she wondered if the current situation would be this way if she were stronger. However, with a confident look, Lin Yuen took a step forward. Sun is correct, so you don't need to do anything. I will go alone. Dark energy surged, creating the great gate of the underworld, through which countless zombie monsters, an army of them, invaded the Valley of Ashes. Wang Yan couldn't understand what was happening upon seeing so many beasts summoned. New Year's Sun scoffed at Wang Yan's surprise. You are teaming up with my best friend and still don't know his strength? Whether defeating a world boss alone or facing an entire guild, he is the best I know, the strongest. Putting aside New Year's Sun's compliments, inside a lair, a large lizard with a dragon head awakened. A spiritual flame ball crossed the entire lair, traveling towards the monster, which woke up sensing danger. However, due to its size, it couldn't dodge and was hit by the explosion of the attack. Furious, the Ash Lizard King roared, leaving its nest. The King rank level 21 monster had 10,000 health points, a muscular body, and a collar of thorny scales. Lin Yuen prepared to face it with the kobolds who carried spears and pickaxes. Behind a mountain, Chao Xiang observed the boss monster's stats. Its 1,200 attack points were enough to eliminate each of them instantly if it hit them. Holding her sword firmly, Lin Tan did not intend to let her brother run into danger because of her. She advanced to the battlefield, stating that she would attract the aggro of the Lizard King. As soon as she took a step forward, however, she fell over a trap skill, the Light Imprisonment, conjured by New Year's Sun. The priest warned her, "Watch from here. You will only cause problems if you go there. Let's just appreciate the elegant operation that my best friend will conduct." The Lizard King, refusing to recognize the enemy, opened its mouth, gathering a large amount of energy. The jet of flames was launched, advancing against Lin Yuen aggressively. The protagonist showed perfect distance control by dodging the Lizard King's attack. At the same time, wolves, kobolds, and vultures jumped onto the boss monster. The Lizard King was pressured downwards as the zombies attacked it. Snakes also emerged, biting the monster's ankles. With precise calculations of the Lizard King's ability cooldowns, Lin Yuen coordinated the summons to replace those that were being eliminated. Seeing how Lin Yuen seemed to know all the boss monster's information even before the battle made New Year's Sun appreciate a fight that could be called pure art. Observing her brother, Lin Tan wondered if that was his true strength. Wang Yan's girlfriend had already fallen in love with Lin Yuen. "Brother Lin is so amazing. Come on, defeat the big lizard." With a gloomy look, Wang Yan became irritated. "If this continues, they really will succeed. I will be embarrassed in front of the whole class." Grabbing his sword in a fury, Wang Yan planned a sneak attack. If he could make Lin Yuen make a mistake, the boss could finish him off in a single attack. The protagonist continued the battle against the Lizard King, wielding his sword against the large open mouth. With 3% of its health remaining, the boss monster tried to use a bite skill on Lin Yuen, but he escaped. Since the skill had an 8-second cooldown, the protagonist found a chance to finish off the lizard. At that moment, Wang Yan laughed behind him. "You want to defeat the lizard? I won't let you." The protagonist saw Wang Yan try to attack him and scoffed internally. "Idiot!" He spun his body, making Wang Yan miss the thrust and pass right by him. With the spin, Lin Yuen launched his leg like a whip, hitting Wang Yan from the side. With surprise and pain to the point where his eyes almost popped out of their sockets, Wang Yan flew away. He was launched towards the Lizard King, which was already preparing a new bite attack. To finish off the Lizard King, Lin Yuen used the body explosion ability on his zombies. A large fireball consumed the Lizard King, as well as Wang Yan, who still had some health points. At that moment, a server-wide notification was announced. Congratulations to players New Year's Sun, Ali Song, Lin Yan, Young Master Yan's follower, and unknown name, for completing the Valley of Ashes on heroic difficulty for the first time. Xiao Xiang hugged her friend, praising her brother. We really did it. Xiao Tan, your brother is so cool and amazing. Can you ask him to carry us more often in the future? Lin Tan was still incredulous, so she just made some excuse. He's always busy. We'll talk when we have a chance. New Year's Sun was excited, but already expected it. As expected of my best friend, I'll let him take the glory this time. Next time, I'll show the pinnacle of priests. Wang Yan's girlfriend had already switched sides, asking to add Lin Yuen as a friend. Hearing Wang Yan's friend praise his friend irritated New Year's Sun. Acting for Lin Yuen, he used an attack skill to finish her off. With Wang Yan and his girlfriend eliminated, Lin Yuen headed to the Ash Lizard King to use Shadow Summon. The large zombie lizard walked into the gate of the underworld immediately upon being raised. Since a chest had appeared, Lin Yuen called everyone to divide the prize. Xiao Xiang remembered how Lin Yuen had conquered the dungeon alone and stated that she was happy to just be able to complete the quest. Stating that he only needed the skill books and scrolls, Lin Yuen declared that they could keep the rest. Inside the chest was a silver rank leg guard, as well as bronze rank wrist protectors. A bronze rank sword and agility boots, also bronze rank, were found with them. With an eye on the equipment, New Year's Sun asked them to sell all the items to him. Xiao Xiang didn't mind just receiving money. Stating to Lin Tan that this way, Wang Yan would no longer bother her, Lin Yuen left to do some other quests. Before he distanced himself, however, his sister called him. Stopping, he asked if she would accept the equipment he wanted to give her. Since the moment her brother had entered the dungeon, he had demonstrated incredible abilities. She had never seen such a large amount of summons before, which made her wonder if her brother was also the chosen one of a secret class. With this in mind, she questioned, "Since you started playing this game, have you felt any change in your body?" Lin Yuen wondered if he had been noticed. Since Lin Tan had contacted the people from the Order, he couldn't reveal the secret of the undead hunter yet. To protect his sister, he answered the question with another, "No, why? Is there any change in you?" Lin Tan quickly backed away and stating that she had a quest to turn in, fled. Lin Yuen watched his sister with a smile. Even after growing up, she still pretended very poorly. However, she had been able to talk to him this time, which meant she recognized him as her brother. Suddenly, New Year's Sun called out for Lin Yuen. While various people followed him, he waved. "It's good that you haven't left yet. Xiao Yue just decided to open the mortal difficulty of the Valley of Ashes. I said you were a close friend. We are sure we will succeed this way." Lin Yuen didn't expect to contact Lung Yue so soon. This was a good opportunity to investigate whether the first disciple was hiding in the Water Mirror Moon Flower Guild. The protagonist accepted the offer, stating that he was already thinking about attacking the new difficulty. Hugging Lin Yuen, New Year's Sun showed relief. "You really are my best friend. Come, let me introduce the core members of our guild." The first to be introduced was the captain of the Divine Triangle and president of the Water Mirror Moon Flower Guild, the beautiful Miss Lung Yue. Lung Yue greeted Lin Yuen, stating that she had heard of him for a long time. She welcomed him. Next, New Year's Sun introduced Xinghen, a master of conjurations, someone with a rare class and the mage of the Iron Triangle. The mage, however, did not yet recognize Lin Yuen as a teammate. He didn't want a random player on the team. With a restrained look, Xinghen stated, "Mortal difficulty has a low tolerance for errors. A random player like him won't cooperate with us. He will only slow us down. I don't want to take risks. Do you understand what I'm saying?" New Year's Sun didn't understand what Xinghen meant, since Lin Yuen had just carried him through the heroic difficulty. With a secret smile, Xinghen commented, "I've seen many self-important people. So that you don't say that we intimidated you with our numbers, I will give you a chance. If you manage to drain half of the boss's health, I will give you a golden equipment. But if you drag us down and are the reason for the failure, you will have to compensate for all the losses." Xinghen stared at Lin Yuen, trying to intimidate him. "Did you hear me? It's not too late to give up and leave." Faced with the challenge, the protagonist's battle instinct was ignited. "Oh, a golden equipment? I will receive it happily. Just make sure everyone is watching so you don't go back on your word later." Lung Yue prevented the discussion from becoming more heated. "All right, Xinghen, we agreed beforehand that Sun's friend would join us. If you had any objection, you should have raised it earlier. The decision has been made. We will follow the original plan. Everyone will cooperate, and we will conquer the dungeon. Xinghen was irritated to hear that Lin Yuen would actually accept help from an outsider when the difficulty was so high. Warning that she would not repeat the words she had just said, Lin Yuen told everyone to enter the dungeon. Xinghen gritted his teeth, swearing internally, Lin Yuen, I will show that stray dogs are useless, and I am your only indispensable companion. Inside the dungeon, level 18 fire lizards wandered normally. A flash of light appeared, drawing their attention. With red eyes, the monsters stared at the humans who appeared in the center of the valley. New Year's Sun was shocked and worried. The difficulty was so ridiculous that they found themselves surrounded the moment they entered the dungeon. Lin Yuen extended her sword, commanding, Melee classes, advance! There are many monsters, we need to find a chance to get past them. While Lin Yuen advanced to attract the aggro of the monsters, Sun rose into the air, launching a blessing magic on his companions. Irritated, Xinghen conjured various lightning balls. Maliciously, he thought of throwing them all at Lin Yuen in a sneak attack. A lizard suddenly jumped on top of the group. Xinghen had forgotten to look at the monsters behind them. Lin Yuen charged to stop the monster while complaining, What are you thinking, Xinghen? Wake up! On the other side, New Year's Sun realized they had been surrounded. Even the monsters behind them left no room for maneuver. The group's archer was tremendously pressured, as was the shield bearer. At that moment, Lin Yuen raised his hand and declared, Leave this to me. The gate of the underworld appeared behind him. Wolves left the gates of the underworld, roaring as they advanced. A tamed boss monster quickly pressured one of the lizards attacking the group. The other wolves jumped together against the giant monsters, using their fangs to knock them down. At the same time, Lin Yuen brandished his sword, making mincemeat of every enemy. The archer was impressed. Thanks to Lin Yuen, she wouldn't have to sacrifice a pet to save themselves. On the other hand, Xinghen was furious at being in the background. Internally, he swore that Lin Yuen would not leave the dungeon alive. Xinghen ran towards Lin Yuen to explain himself somehow, but she pushed him away, telling him to stop being distracted. The group continued to attack the monsters when a new wave announcement surged. Everyone was engaged in the fight. The archer and the shield bearer fought together. New Year's Sun conjured his buff abilities, while Lin Yuen cleared an area and Xinghen struggled to keep up with him. Lin Yuen observed Lin Yuen. Being able to analyze and resolve the crisis quickly showed that he had a rare reaction time. She intended to invite him to the guild as soon as they left the dungeon. Xinghen, who observed Lin Yuen the entire time, became increasingly irritated. He gritted his teeth, looking for a chance to embarrass him. Suddenly, Xinghen launched several attacks against Lin Yuen, pretending to be trying to help him. The protagonist frowned, but saw that as an opportunity to approach Lin Yuen. The protagonist succeeded in the acrobatic test to bend his body and escape the lightning spheres. At the same time, he used an ability to summon the aggression of the surrounding lizards. At that moment, the protagonist felt someone grab his hand. Lin Yuen held him and pulled him up, escaping the attack of two monsters, while defining which one each would defeat next. Yuen attacked the one on the left, while Lin Yuen charged with her sword against the lizard on the right. With heavy blows, both crushed their targets, knocking them to the ground. With their sword skills, they managed to solve the problem. However, their actions caught the attention of several other monsters who charged against the duo. As they fought coordinatedly, New Year's Sun cheerfully praised the combination. The archer also became excited. The president and that handsome guy have beautiful chemistry. The protagonist commented to Lin Yuen that she had used an ability he had never seen before. She revealed it was nothing special, just a technique she learned by luck thanks to an ability book. Lin Yuen took the opportunity to compliment. The second guild is truly a place full of talents. Do you have any experts with special abilities? I would like to exchange some techniques with them. Seeing Lin Yuen's interest in the guild, Lin Yuen invited him, Join the Water Mirror Moonflower and you will find out. The protagonist changed the subject with a smile, stating that he played alone. That smile left Lin Yuen speechless, as she recognized it. Seeing how Lin Yuen was dazzled, Xinghen was furious, wondering what Lin Yuen had done to make her that way. New Year's Sun ran towards the group suddenly. Report! I got all the equipment. We will share them after the battle. Xiao Yue, should we fight the boss as planned? Lin Yuen nodded to the question. At that moment, Xinghen approached with a smile. Wait, I want to apologize to this friend. His strength is beyond what we expected. With his abilities, we will certainly perform better. Maliciously, he made a suggestion. Why don't we let him help attract the boss's attention? The protagonist smiled when he heard the suggestion and retorted, If I attract the attention, I won't be able to fight, much less remove half of the boss's health. Are you reneging on your bet? Reluctant to give me a gold rank equipment? Xinghen crossed his arms, mocking internally, believing that Lin Yuen wouldn't even withstand a few attacks, and tried to instigate him. You worry too much, friend? As long as we finish the quest, I'll give you the equipment. Lin Yue intervened, stating that she did not authorize last-minute changes. Xinghen this time tried to convince her. Come on, Lin Yue, I know you admire him. Why don't you let him make that decision? The protagonist frowned, seeing Xinghen as a problem if he wanted to get closer to Lin Yue. Calming down, he noted internally that he would deal with him later. To show initiative, the protagonist accepted. Soon they arrived at the boss monster's lair, with Lin Yuen in the lead. New Year's Sun stated, "Dear friend, let us see your strength." Xinghen promptly mocked, "Idiot! He must not know that the boss's area attacks are specially designed to counter-summon beasts. This will be fun." The protagonist, however, already knew all the mechanics from having faced the monster in his past life. Conjuring a spiritual flame, he launched it against the sleeping monster. The attack hit the side of the Lizard King, waking it up. It roared furiously, overflowing with more energy than the Lizard King of the previous difficulty. The shield bearer was worried. The boss monster was at level 25, while many of the players were only at level 15. Lin Yue took a step forward, telling everyone to be alert. While Xinghen mocked internally, the Lizard King tried to step on Lin Yuen, who jumped to the side. Immediately, the kobolds appeared to help him. The protagonist realized that the Lizard King's first attack had been the same as the previous one. While Lin Yuen attracted the attention, everyone attacked the lizard from behind. The lizard launched a wave of flames. The protagonist jumped to dodge, while Xinghen watched, treating him like a little mouse trying to escape. Suddenly, the lizard swung its tail, hitting those who were trying to attack it from behind. Lin Yue shouted hastily, "Xinghen, use your quick control skill!" However, Xinghen replied, "Too late!" While blaming Xinghen, the group was hit and thrown far away. Furious, Lin Yue exclaimed, "Why didn't you use the lightning to paralyze the boss's tail? Wasn't that your job? Do you know the great opportunity you made us lose?" Xinghen flinched, trying to apologize. New Year's Sun remembered that everyone's health was already low, and that it would take time to recover everything. He didn't see how his great friend could deal with the boss alone in the meantime. The shield bearer next to him was already warning that they couldn't abandon the dungeon or they would suffer great losses. Annoyed, Lin Yue told everyone to learn from what happened. "The new teammate didn't make any mistakes. It was us who messed up. I'm here to inform you that he is withdrawing from this instance, and all losses will be borne by the guild." The archer at that moment noticed something. "President, wait! He doesn't seem to be affected. He's defeating the Lizard King alone." The protagonist, seeing that the group could no longer approach, decided to face the boss alone. He had the scorpion to use poison and paralyze the tail. The great Lizard King opened its mouth, roaring to prepare an attack, but it was too slow. The electric scorpion had circled the Lizard King, ready to interrupt the spell. Paralyzing lightning bolts were fired by the scorpion, crossing the ground between the two, hitting the lizard and causing paralysis. As soon as the monster was affected by the negative effect, all the beasts charged against it. Lin Yue was shocked to discover that Lin Yuen also had a beast with the lightning attribute. Xinghen felt that he was being made to look worse than a simple summoner. New Year's Sun confidently cheered, "Great! My great friend is really going to deal with the boss alone. Let's quickly regenerate our health to help him." However, Xinghen was still smiling, waiting for the boss's area attacks to destroy Lin Yuen's summoned beasts. As he expected, the energy attacks reduced the monster's health to their lowest points. At that moment, Lin Yuen used a skill, Shadow Curse. Immediately, a werewolf's health was completely regenerated. Xinghen was incredulous. How did he restore the beast's health? Doesn't that mean he could defeat the boss alone? As soon as they had regenerated enough health, Lin Yue took a step forward. "Prepare yourselves. The boss is almost finished. Let's help him together." As its health points dropped to a certain point, the Ash Lizard King activated the Furnace of All Things skill. With the air turning red, Lin Yue shouted hastily, "Be careful! This is his most powerful ability." Xinghen gritted his teeth, refusing to let Lin Yuen win. "I want Lin Yue. Just perish along with the monster." He raised his staff suddenly. "Get out of the way! I will interrupt the boss!" He activated the Thunder Resistance Ring ability, and magic surrounded him. The Ring of Lightning spun around him, almost hitting Lin Yue. The attack rushed towards Lin Yuen, who already expected to be betrayed. From where the protagonist was, he saw Lin Yue being thrown away. Faced with the confusion, he jumped to hold her midair. Holding her like a princess, the protagonist gently asked her to hold on to him. The boss's attacks exploded around them, while Lin Yuen jumped to dodge, carrying Lin Yue with him. With the boss defeated, the announcement surged across the entire server. Congratulations to the unknown player, and to players New Year's Sun. Lin Yue, Xinghen, AAA swordsman, and uses controller, for completing the Valley of Ashes dungeon on mortal level for the first time. Blushing from being carried, Lin Yue commented, "I never thought you were so young and yet so experienced not to panic." The protagonist smiled, attributing such ability to luck. Lin Yex made a request. "Even if you don't join the guild, I want you as a friend. That way we can play together in the future." As the two added each other as friends, New Year's son carrying a golden chest commented, "This is the first time I've seen her so shy." Realizing she was still in Lin Yuen's arms, she asked him to put her down. At that moment, the information surged that Lin Yuen contributed 80% to the completion of the dungeon. He approached Xinghan, demanding the gold rank equipment. Xinghan cleared his throat, changing the subject and asking them to first look at what they had obtained from clearing the dungeon. However, the protagonist refused, demanding the equipment first. Gritting his teeth, Xinghan tried to evade. "I will give it to you, don't worry. I just need to find a piece of equipment to replace his." The protagonist smiled, questioning if he wanted to avoid paying the debt. Lin Yuen intervened. Stating that Xinghan's equipment would not suit Lin Yuen, she suggested that he choose the item from the boss drops first, while she herself would buy suitable equipment for his class. The protagonist agreed with the plan, but asked if, instead of the equipment, he could exchange techniques with the masters of special abilities. Lin Yuen smiled. Since they had conquered the dungeon thanks to him, she stated that when he returned, she would ask the other guild members if they had free time. Almost forgetting about the Lizard King, the protagonist approached it. As soon as he began extracting the Lizard King's soul, he received a notification. "Your zombie kobold miners have been eliminated in the sewer." The protagonist was shocked. There shouldn't be players hunting near the secret dungeon. 3 zombies should scare anyone who approached. In this situation, the Cobra Master could be responsible. He didn't want to lose the opportunity to find the first disciple and quickly ran to the portal, leaving the dungeon. Using invisibility, the protagonist reached the sewers through a secret passage. Soon he found the slaughtered kobolds. Checking the monsters, there were no signs of a struggle, indicating that the enemy was very skilled in sneak attacks. Examining a zombie kobold's neck, he found a snake bite. The bite was too large to have been made by the snakes in the secret dungeon, and the Hades cobra should have swallowed the kobold whole. Given this information, the protagonist concluded that the culprit was the Cobra Master. Suddenly, Lin Yuen felt a presence and quickly turned around. Various bone-eating cobras, level 15 boss monsters, sneak attacked him, even though he was invisible. The snakes fell to the spot where he was previously, after he jumped to escape. Conjuring spiritual fire, the protagonist launched attacks, trying to discover the abilities of the still unknown snakes. As soon as he eliminated some, one last one with a more powerful appearance remained to face him. The cobra attacked, trying to bite Lin Yuen, but raising his sword, he blocked the bite. Lin Yuen was not alone. A giant wolf, enveloped in underworld energy, was summoned. The protagonist stepped back, ordering, "Block them!" The snake tried to slither past, but the wolf's heavy attack crushed it under its paws. Lin Yuen, however, knew that wouldn't work for long. The true enemy was hidden in the shadows, controlling the snakes. He tried searching around, and when he saw a snake slithering through a grate, he also saw something shine there. Lin Yuen used the strength in his legs to leap forward, destroying the ground beneath him. With the powerful thrust, he channeled all his energy into the Shadow Fist gauntlet. A giant hand appeared above Lin Yuen, a skill behind the gauntlet, which mirrored his movement with a punch towards the grates. But Lin Yuen canceled the attack at the last second. He realized he was attacking the wrong place. That gate still had the marks left by him, meaning it had never been opened. That was actually the location of the King Cobra Haas's. The enemy behind the attack was trying to lure Lin Yuen into an ambush. Meanwhile, the giant wolf continued to attack the snakes. They somehow managed to escape it and tried to attack Lin Yuen from behind. However, Lin Yuen possessed the invisibility skill to easily escape them. The snakes were surprised when their target vanished. They tried to crawl towards his last location, but found nothing. From the shadows, an angry voice then emerged. "I won't be fooled by that. I won't tolerate anyone else knowing the secrets of my sewer. This is my territory." Holding a staff, a hooded person wearing a scaled mask appeared. He noticed movement as the sounds of footsteps in the water emerged near him. He immediately used a powerful dark magic, raging, "Become food for my snakes." The devastating magic shot out of the staff like a blast of energy, transforming the world into true darkness and destroying everything it touched, be it walls or gates. It was at that moment that a mocking voice emerged behind him. "Where are you attacking?" The snake summoner was shocked when he saw someone with a sword behind him. Lin Yuan's attack carried a powerful energy slash, but it fell upon a dark defense. The summoner managed to retreat, with a snake coiled around his body serving as protection. Grinding his teeth, he cursed, "How dare you trick me!" Consumed by fury, he slammed the staff into the ground, from which countless snakes were summoned. Faced with so many enemies, Lin Yuen opened several gates to the underworld to summon his scorpions. Lin Yuen had discovered in the brief confrontation that the enemy was not good at close combat, so he planned to restrict the snakes with the undeads to confront their summoner. Seeing Lin Yuen bring more undead zombies into the battle, the snake summoner gnashed his teeth. "What a coincidence is this? That's impossible." While asking if he had no other skill than controlling snakes, Lin Yuen attempted a sword strike, but the enemy somehow managed to jump backward. Lin Yuen didn't want to know much more, since without the snakes, the summoner was vulnerable. It really is an homage to the first faithful. The battle became more intense, with Lin Yuen using phantom magic to attack the summoner, who used whatever he could to defend himself. New snakes suddenly appeared when he slammed the staff into the ground once more. These, of an incredibly large size, were hiding beneath the ground and broke through it to block Lin Yuen's path. The summoner laughed, confident that he had now taken control of the situation. "You didn't expect that, did you? Now let me capture you for interrogation." The protagonist frowned, understanding why he had been stealthily attacked earlier. The enemy had already completely taken control of the terrain. This, as well as him being subordinate to the first faithful, made Lin Yuen want to capture him even more. Lin Yuen stopped toying around, and with a single swing of his sword, the energy charged by it eliminated the snakes blocking the path. The summoner held his snake-headed staff and cursed, "You piece of trash." From the staff, a dark energy beam emerged, rushing towards Lin Yuen. The attack was perfect, however, for the protagonist. By dodging the attack, he could use the opportunity to get closer, but the attack became much more oppressive and ended up hitting his shoulder, throwing him backward. Snakes wrapped around Lin Yuen's body, immobilizing his movements. The summoner approached Lin Yuen, pointing the staff at his chest. His voice was arrogant. "When I saw the zombies, I thought I had made a mistake, but you turned out to be a necromancer. It's a shame your skills don't seem to be complete." The protagonist showed surprise and confusion. "Necromancer? What are you talking about?" Internally, he wondered how the enemy knew about such a class and its abilities. The snake summoner smiled maliciously, thinking about how he would make the captured necromancer talk, and asked, "Tell me, how did you hear about the boss? We have plenty of time today." Lin Yuen replied with a smile and revealed, "I'll return that sentence to you. I'll make you tell me everything you know." Suddenly, undead snakes emerged, latching onto the man in front of Lin Yuen. He hadn't even realized when his snakes had been transformed into undead spirits. Even while still bound by the enemy snakes, Lin Yuen replied, "My souls are infinite. While your snakes were perishing, they were being handed over to me." The summoner used all his strength to free himself from the snakes that were grabbing him. He immediately tried to flee, while being pursued by them. Lin Yuen immediately used his spiritual power to destroy the snakes that were immobilizing him. One of the snakes he had transformed managed to reach the conjurer, who was startled to see it. It didn't let him escape. Using the entangle skill, it coiled around his body, using its entire body to restrain him. However, when Lin Yuen approached, he discovered that the summoner had vanished. At least he had discovered the master of the snakes in that area. The snake controller of this period also did not possess the strength he had when the Dark Lord emerged in the previous life. This led Lin Yuen to believe that if he could discover a way to get rid of her controls, they would be nothing more than material for his underworld gate. Unexpectedly, Lin Yuen noticed something. Amidst the crushed stones, something was shining. Picking up the item, Lin Yuen discovered it was a pocket watch. There was nothing on the dial, showing that it wasn't a piece of equipment. It seemed more like a keepsake. The enemy might be hiding in the Mirrorwater Moonflower Guild, so Lin Yuen immediately thought of contacting Leng Yue to check before he escaped. The protagonist sent a message to Leng Yue, stating he wanted to talk about what happened in the Ash Valley. It was already night when the two met in an area of medieval buildings. Leng Yue apologized for being late, as Lin Yuen was already waiting for her. She immediately placed a ring on the table, a gold rank item that she owed him. The ring, which had an eye inscription, was called the Ring of Concentration. It had a bonus of 20 spirit points as its main attribute. Among its skills, it had Quick Meditation, a skill that increased mana regeneration by 30% or 40% if the mana was below 1/4 of the total value. Lin Yuen analyzed the item, and recalling that the mana consumption of his body explosion was extremely high, he believed he could make good use of Leng Yue's sincerity in giving him such an item. Excitedly, Leng Yue revealed that there were also the items they had obtained in the dungeon. They had agreed that Lin Yuen could choose first. The first item he checked was the Shining Breastplate, the silver rank. Equipment had effects of increasing constitution, spirit, and strength, in addition to the Guardian skill, which reduced 10% of damage taken. Next came the Meteor Dagger, a short dagger that increased attack power, movement speed, and critical damage. Its skill, Starflower, increased damage dealt and attack speed by 7%. Finally, there was a level 1 skill scroll that increased proficiency by 100 points after use. Of all the items, Lin Yuen chose to take the scroll. At the same time, he already placed the Ring of Concentration in his backpack, commenting Commenting on his location, Lin Yuen ended up saying that she thought Lin Yuen didn't like public places, as he was always alone. The protagonist ended up revealing that he was leveling up in the sewers. That's where I found a master. The guild emblem he was using was very similar to yours. I would like to discuss some techniques with him, but would that be convenient? Surprised, Lin Yuen said she would ask at the EUI guild. The protagonist then handed the watch to her. He dropped this. Does it remind you of anything? Does anyone in your guild carry something like this? Seeing the pocket watch, Lin Yuen picked it up to check it. She also didn't think it was a piece of equipment and was honest, stating it was her first time seeing it. Since she didn't know anything yet, Lin Yuen asked her to inquire about the sewer issue. Changing the subject, Lin Yuen asked something that intrigued him. If you take out a gold rank item to give to someone outside, won't your guild object? Lin Yuen looked away, revealing the truth. Xingyan got quite irritated, but it was all his fault. Lin Yuen seemed to have a distant look when she thought of something else. With a melancholic expression, she scratched the back of her neck, continuing, "You look so much like my brother that sometimes I can barely tell you apart. If he were alive, however, he should be the same age as you." Discovering why Lin Yue's actions were so strange when dealing with him, Lin Yuen offered his condolences to her. Placing the watch back on the table, she ended the subject. Showing a serious look, she declared, "If you believe me, try to prepare some anti-electricity potions. You will need them soon." Lin Yuen discovered from her tip that they already knew the next special dungeon had the electricity attribute. It was a shame, however, that the formula for the most powerful anti-electricity potion was in his hands. He had obtained it after completing the mission with Emor. After discussing all matters, Lin Yuen stood up after saying goodbye. Lin Yuen, however, wanted to go with him. As the two walked together, they were actually being watched. Xingyan was around a corner, following them. He was so furious that he slammed his staff on the ground. "That bastard! Is he dating Lin Yuen? Damn it, I want to finish him!" The noise Xingyan was making ended up attracting Lin Yue's attention, who approached when she saw him. "Xingyan? What a coincidence. Are you coming to the tavern, too?" Startled, Xingyan coughed, quickly creating an excuse. "I was just passing by here." He immediately turned to Lin Yuen, irritably shouting, "Lin Yuen, what do you have to talk to him about? You better stay away." The protagonist ignored him, replying that he only wanted to talk to Lin Yuen about her guild. Irritated, Xingyan remembered that Lin Yuen had said he wouldn't join the guild. "Why do you want to talk to our guild master about the guild? Is there some other purpose?" Seeing how Xingyan wouldn't leave him alone, Lin Yuen decided to provoke him. "Of course, the guild master Lin Yuen is amazing at fencing. I'd like to learn a thing or two from her." This left Xingyan even more irritated, and he tried to warn Lin Yuen to stay away from Lin Yuen so she wouldn't run into trouble. Lin Yuen thanked him for his concern but retorted, "I don't need your permission to have a drink with someone, do I?" Xingyan quickly tried to correct his words, but was only ignored by Lin Yuen, who walked past him, irritably commenting, "I only came here to save your equipment. You really disappointed me." Being completely ignored by Lin Yuen, Xingyan clenched his hand tightly as he watched her leave with Lin Yuen. "It's all because of that bastard. When I'm done with him, Lin Yuen will only have eyes for me like before." With the thought of attacking Lin Yuen, Xingyan started wandering around the city. He ended up arriving at a tavern where he found someone he could ask for help. "Help me deal with a person." The masked man didn't like Xingyan's haste. "Let me drink first." Xingyan immediately started opening his inventory. "I will give you double the reward if the mission is complete. You must eliminate him in the most miserable way possible." Seeing how much Xingyan was willing to spend, the man accepted the request and received a photo of the target. As he left, Xingyan instructed, "Remember to choose a place with many people." His gaze was that of a malicious lunatic as he ordered, "Make him suffer slowly in public." The man, who had the same pocket watch on his waist that Lin Yuen had found on the snake tamer, analyzed the protagonist's photo. Somehow he felt a sense of familiarity. The next day, the protagonist walked through the desert-surrounded city and met with an important person who analyzed the watch negatively. "I've never seen this kind of pocket watch before. It looks like a common accessory, but you can try your luck with the Scorpion Tail Knights." Lin Yuen did not expect that even Doug, a game character who was extremely wise, wouldn't know the item. He still thanked him for the tip. Carrying a picnic basket, a young woman entered the room looking for Uncle Doug. "How have you been lately? I brought some delicious food." Doug immediately thanked Edith for the visit. It was at this moment that Doug instructed Lin Yuen, "If you want to get in touch with the Scorpion Tail Knights, you can ask Edith. She is Captain, Sid's daughter." The young woman, however, corrected him. "I'm no longer treated as his daughter. I'm one of the Tails who earns a living through my own efforts." Lin Yuen could perceive from Edith's comment that there was some misunderstanding between her and her father, and he volunteered to help. Doug worriedly commented on how Edith's father must be regretful. "Why are you two, father and daughter, so different? Please just listen to your uncle's advice." Edith ended up agreeing and asked Lin Yuen to follow her. As they met, Edith picked up a small box, commenting out loud, "I thought I would never have the chance to give him this present." Lin Yuen commented that he thought she hadn't had the opportunity. In a way, she agreed, and opening the box, she showed a formal dress, which she had spent a whole year sewing. She wanted Lin Yuen to deliver it to her father. Handing the box to Lin Yuen, she asked him to come back with her father's answer. Asking Edith to relax, Lin Yuen swore, "I will deliver it to him as soon as possible." Lin Yuen ended up accepting the quest Broken Family. The mission consisted of delivering the clothes Edith made to her father, Sid. In the Scorpion Tail Knights Regiment camp, 2 guards holding axe spears provided security. They noticed, however, someone approaching wearing a worn cloak. "Stop! Who are you?" Facing the weapons pointed at him, Lin Yuen spoke calmly. "Please don't worry. I am here on behalf of Miss Edith to deliver something to the captain." Upon hearing about Edith, one of the guards asked him to wait. "I will report to the captain." The Scorpion Tail Knights were the strongest fighters in the ancient Western Desert Kingdom besides the Imperial Master. Building good relations with them would grant Lin Yuen countless advantages. After a few minutes of waiting, the guard returned, asking Lin Yuen to follow him. Inside, the protagonist saw countless knights, as well as their mounts. The winged Scorpion Lions were unique mounts of the Scorpion Tail Knights. To obtain one of these mounts, it was necessary to raise one's reputation to an extreme level to receive the permission to purchase it. Upon arriving at a large tent, the guard accompanying Lin Yuen announced that the captain was waiting for him. Lin Yuen remembered that Captain Sid was formidable. He was as strong as a level 60 Lord Monster, so he shouldn't reveal the secret that he was a Necromancer. With that in mind, the Yai protagonist opened the tent. Seeing Captain Sid standing and looking at a map, Lin Yuen asked permission to enter. The man with white hair and beard wearing armor that resembled a scorpion's shell looked at Lin Yuen, immediately asking, "Tell me, how is Edith?" Placing the box on the table, Lin Yuen revealed, "Miss Edith misses you. That's why she asked me to deliver something to you." Lin Yuen handed the attire to Captain Sid, revealing the time Edith had invested in making it. Discovering that his daughter spent a year on the outfit, Sid was touched. That child must have put a lot of effort into this. But why didn't she come to see me personally? Melancholy appeared in the captain's eyes as he recalled, "It seems she still maintains a passion for sewing after all these years. Look at these delicate stitches. Truly a work of art." Sid remembered how stubborn he had been in the past, believing his daughter shouldn't pursue the profession of a seamstress, even driving her away. Having not seen his daughter for years, Captain Sid touched the formal attire, feeling the fabric of the clothes. Lin Yuen was surprised to see the powerful Sid possess such a fragile side. It seemed there might be an opening to ask about the pocket watch, so Lin Yuen tried to gain Sid's sympathy. "Lord, Miss Edith doesn't blame you." Hearing the young man's words, Sid pleaded, "Tell her that I no longer care about something called glory. I just want to have her back in my life." Nodding, Lin Yuen stated he had another matter he would like to trouble him with. Lin Yuen then showed the pocket watch with the skull symbol, asking if the captain recognized it. Sid, however, claimed never to have seen that before. As soon as their conversation ended, Sid sent Lin Yuen away to deliver his message to Edith. Before he left, however, Sid interrupted him. With a sharp look, Sid asked the young man's name. The protagonist swallowed hard, wondering if Sid had discovered something. However, Sid let the question go. Sighing, he commented, "I ended up being presumptuous. Since you are someone my daughter approves of, I shouldn't doubt you." Sid extended his hand, showing a crest with a compass rose, and declared, "Thank you for everything you did for Edith. If anyone bothers you, you can freely execute them in the name of the Scorpion Tail Knights." Recovering from the shock, the protagonist declared, "Yes, I will protect Miss Edith's safety." Lin Yuen received Sid's approval, as well as 1,000 points of reputation with the Scorpion Tail Knights. The score made him reach the friendly level with the Knights, and now he could be an honorary member. Lin Yuen still couldn't believe he had received the badge from Sid. This item could only be obtained through the captain, and with it, he could practically go anywhere in the Western Desert. Since he already had 1,500 reputation points and saw the camp's shop open, Lin Yuen didn't want to miss the opportunity. The equipment shop vendor greeted Lin Yuen and asking what he would like to buy showed him an item window. The protagonist was direct. "I would like to buy a Scorpion Lion." Having already acquired the combat mount skill, all he needed was an active mount. The shop representative stroked the head of a lion lying on the ground and commented, "Scorpion lions are very expensive. There are only a few of them in the Savage Sands areas, so they cost 300 gold. Money was not a problem for Lin Yuen, who lifted a bag full of gold. Spending the coins, he obtained the scorpion lion mount. Upon returning and telling Edith what happened, the young woman cried, "My father really said that? Oh heavens, I thought he had forgotten about me a long time ago, and was only obsessed with his knights." Lin Yuen reassured her, stating that the captain still wanted her by his side. Delivering Sid's words to Edith, the protagonist completed the secret quest. Edith extended a box, offering it as a gift to Lin Yuen, and requested, "Please convey to my father that I am happy to sew beautiful clothes for everyone, and that I want to continue doing this." Lin Yuen received a gold rank equipment as a reward, which gave him 100 constitution points, 60s, defense points, and 30 spirit points. In addition, it had an immunity spell. The skill, upon use, provided immunity to all spells and crowd control for 10 seconds. However, its cooldown was 24 hours. Lin Yuen was extremely satisfied, as the garment's effect would give him a great advantage against the snake tamer. He immediately put it on. The equipment was a black overcoat with gold details. Upon returning to the knight's camp and delivering the message, Lin Yuen made Sid realize that Edith was happy with her current life. The captain was relieved. Now that he was in front of Sid once more, and the captain didn't know about the pocket watch, Lin Yuen asked him about snakes. Sid was confused by the question. Since we expelled the snake people civilization, all the snakes in Fengchuishan have been exterminated by us. But what about the snakes in dreams? Do they count? The captain's serious look and question made Lin Yuen suspicious. He asked what snakes he was referring to investigate the matter. The captain revealed that there was a legend about a giant snake, but things in dreams were ethereal and intangible, so he didn't know where to start. Since Lin Yuen was now an honorary member of the Scorpion Tail Knights and was interested in snakes, Sid decided to put him to work. Taking a sealed letter, he handed it to Lin Yuen, along with a mission. The protagonist wondered if the item was related to the Snake King Hazis. Snakes appearing in dreams was also a strange thing that made him wonder how they were related to tamed snakes. The letter Lin Yuen received granted access to the quest Duke Carlo's Nightmares. The mission level was unknown, and it ordered him to go to the Duke's house, find him, and discover clues in his mansion. Lin Yuen immediately left for the residence, as the quest would only last 48 hours. In front of him was a wooden gate with a large crest featuring a shield and 2 crossed swords above it. The place looked more like a fortress. However, the door suddenly opened, and a man seemed to be dragging someone. A woman was thrown onto the ground by someone shouting, "How dare you, you humble commoner! Try to challenge the Duke!" The butler straightened his sleeves and ordered the men who were with him, "Finish her off." The men attacked the defenseless woman on the ground, and one of them raised a clenched fist. But Lin Yuen stopped him from attacking, holding his wrist and commenting frankly, "So this is the Duke's house. It was truly an eye-opener for me." The man quickly stepped away from Lin Yuen, pointing at him. "How dare a cursed commoner interfere in the Duke's affairs?" The butler stepped forward, and with an arrogant smile, crossed his arms, clicking his tongue. "You want to be the hero saving the damsel on the street? Then this will be your end." The woman, despite being injured, tried to tell Lin Yuen to leave so as not to face the Duke's wrath. However, in the blink of an eye, he made the men who tried to attack him fly away and faced the butler with a sharp look. "This is really what I came looking for. Tell me, where is the Duke?" Startled, the butler tried to intimidate Lin Yuen. "Do you know who you are dealing with? This is Duke Carlo's territory." At that moment, someone appeared behind the butler, a fat man with red hair. He bellowed while looking at Lin Yuen. "Who is the damned commoner who dares to lay a hand on my people? Immediately notify the Scorpion Tail Knights. Make them throw this person in jail." With a sharp look, Lin Yuen raised the insignia gifted to him by Sid, stating, "I was sent here by the Scorpion Tail Knights. I am here because of your nightmares." Upon discovering that Lin Yuen was a knight, the Duke changed his attitude completely, with a foolish smile. He turned to the butler with an irritated look, however. "Deal with those useless bastards. Punish them for 3 days and 3 nights. With his foolish gaze, he apologized to Lin Yuen. What an ignorant idiot. He couldn't even tell the difference between a knight and a commoner. The Duke quickly approached Lin Yuen, declaring, "You finally arrived. If you can solve my problem, I will praise you to Sid." Several maids were cleaning the mansion. Many of them, though, had noticeable tired looks. Lin Yuen went to the Duke's office, who immediately stated, "In my dreams, a giant snake chases me, hissing, and even renowned priests couldn't find the source of such a thing. How absurd! I, a Duke, suffering such torments." Revealing that he had hired someone to paint the snake, the Duke showed an image to Lin Yuen. The protagonist immediately recognized the drawn snake. It was the Snake King Hazy's. Without giving any information, the protagonist stated that he would need some time. While Lin Yuen and the Duke were talking, a maid with a tired look approached with a tray. Unexpectedly, the maid tripped on the carpet and spilled the water glasses onto the Duke. The Duke stood up, furiously ranting, "You damned commoner!" Enraged, the Duke struck the maid. Powerless to protect herself, she fell to the floor, placing her hand over her cheek, which was now red. The arrogant Duke continued to rage, his mouth as big as his belly. "You can't even handle simple things, you useless woman!" A heavy boot was raised to step on the maid, but at the last second, Lin Yuen moved, carrying the frightened woman in his arms. Placing the maid on the ground, Lin Yuen commented, "We are still discussing the commission. Isn't it inappropriate for you to do something like this?" The Duke quickly restrained himself. "I lost my composure because I was just trying to help them. If they can't even handle something small, how will they survive in the future?" The Duke stared at the frightened maid who was protecting herself beside Lin Yuen and stated, "When they had no home, I was the one who kindly accepted them, and they were so grateful to me." The Duke smiled maliciously, asking the maid named Anna if he wasn't right. Anna looked away, cautiously replying, "Yes, I am grateful to the Duke." However, fear could be seen in her eyes, as the words were not true. As soon as Anna was sent away, the Duke reiterated, "Unlike people like me who were born noble, this trash is not even worth a piece of moldy bread." Returning to his seat, the Duke continued, "Even the worst person has their use. They only exist to serve us, don't you agree, Knight?" Lin Yuen remained silent in the face of the question. Since he wouldn't speak, the Duke ordered, "Butler, prepare a feast. Prepare a separate seat for this knight who holds no titles." Internally, the Duke rejoiced at the insult. If it weren't for me, he would probably never taste a Duke's cuisine in his whole life. Ha ha ha. The meal was served in that same office. The maids brought the dishes, placing some on the Duke's table, while preparing another nearby table for Lin Yuen. The arrogant Duke then stated to the butler, "The knight may not be used to refined food. A bowl of fish soup should be good enough for him." The protagonist ignored the Duke's words, as the mission was the priority. He could deal with the bastard after this. Sometime later, Anna herself served a soup to Lin Yuen. While drinking wine and eating meat to the point of smudging his whole face, the Duke questioned, "Knight, have you already figured out how to solve this? Don't waste too much of my time." The protagonist drank the soup while commenting, "I would like to observe you in your bedroom tonight." Upon hearing him, the Duke furiously slammed the wine glass on the table and bellowed, "What a joke! My room is not a place you can enter. Figure out the answer yourself. I only want the result." The protagonist frowned, seeing the Duke's stupidity and arrogance. That night, Lin Yuen used his invisibility skill to approach the Duke's room. Judging by his attitude during the day, there must be some secret in the room. To complete the mission, he needed to use special methods. However, Lin Yuen heard a sudden noise coming from inside the room. Duke Carlo was attacking the young woman Lin Yuen had met earlier. Throwing her onto the floor, he questioned, "Don't you know what's right or wrong? Is serving me, Duke Carlo, an insult to you?" Next to him, the butler agreed. "Exactly. Countless people would love to serve the Duke if they had the chance." The woman on the floor was trembling, begging them to let her leave. The Duke, however, grabbed her, smiling maliciously. "Did you think a knight could protect you? What an idiot! They do everything I order." The butler behind the Duke followed with mocking words. "What knight? He's nothing more than a servant if the Duke gives him orders." Ha 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 ha! Lin Yuen became furious when faced with that situation. He now understood how the Duke had made the maid submit to him. The Duke furiously threw the ex-maid onto the floor, ranting, "I, Duke Carlo, am powerful and influential not only in this kingdom, but also in other countries. You will never escape my control in your entire life." The butler smiled, commenting, "A wise man like the Duke certainly wouldn't put all his eggs in one basket." The protagonist found the conversation quite strange. The title of Duke was only valid in the Desert Kingdom. There was no way he could receive special treatment in other countries officially. It was at that moment that the discovered information updated the quest. Formerly called Duke Carlo's Nightmare, the quest was renamed Capture the Traitor. The mission required him to capture and arrest the traitorous Duke and find evidence of his betrayals. As Lin Yuen had expected, there was something behind the Duke. He immediately used an item to send a capture request to the Scorpion Tail Knights. At that moment, the Duke started to feel sleepy, but suddenly opened his eyes, cursing, "That damn snake is keeping me awake again." He looked at the woman in front of him, declaring, "You won't get off lightly because of this either." It was at that moment that the door was opened. Lin Yuen entered the room, questioning. Your Excellency, I think I heard a scream. He was trying to delay whatever was going to happen until the knights arrived. Upon seeing Lin Yuen, the Duke stood up, furious to the point of stuttering. You cursed knight! You disrespected me again! How dare you! The butler quickly sided with the Duke. Don't you know that invading the Duke's residence is a serious crime? The protagonist approached the woman on the floor, asking, You can go now. I need to speak with the Duke. With a gloomy look, the Duke tried to stop him. Leave? Do you think you can spoil my fun? Does a mere knight really think he's something? Even a knight's insignia can't. Hide your mediocre appearance! The butler took advantage of the situation and instigated his boss. Duke, we should punish him! The Duke immediately pointed at Lin Yuen and shouted, Get him! I want to see what happens to this cursed low blood. The butler smiled maliciously, already knowing what he had to do. He then shouted, Guards! Someone is trying to attack the Duke. The guards outside were alerted and rushed into the room. The woman on the floor weakly asked Lin Yuen to run away. She didn't want anything to happen to him because of her. However, confidently, Lin Yuen stated that nothing would happen to him. Several guards stormed the room shouting, Get him! Eliminate the intruder! Lin Yuen drew his sword, preparing to attack. He held the maid with his other hand, advancing while brandishing the sword. The residence gate seemed quiet during the night, but soon a large explosion occurred, knocking it down. The protagonist had opened an escape route, saving the maid as well. However, the guards soon caught up with him. Being pursued, Lin Yuen continued to move away. There were many maids and servants there, so he could not cast necromancy or the body explosion skill. The maids watching Lin Yuen flee were surprised. Is that the person? Did he really want to deal with the Duke? While Lin Yuen was being pursued, Anna frowned but remained silent. As soon as he got far enough away, Lin Yuen brandished his sword, finishing off the Duke's knights who were pursuing him. Lin Yuen believed that all he needed to do now was to keep an eye on the Duke and the butler and wait for the knights to arrive. However, suddenly, a magical current rose up to trap him. Upon seeing the skill, the protagonist immediately remembered the equipment that ignored control effects. Activating the magic belonging to the attire he was wearing, the control was broken, but the butler didn't know. The butler still held a staff, exuding confidence. All you knights are the same. Aside from, brute force, you don't even have a brain. The butler continued with the magic, yelling, Duke Carlo is never without skilled warriors by his side. Now go and teach him a good lesson. The hidden maids were worried about Lin Yuen, as he was still in the butler's grasp. They couldn't do anything, as the butler was an extremely skilled expert who had retired from the Royal Mage's Order. The butler drew an extremely vicious dagger with the power to add lightning to the target's bloodstream and charged at Lin Yuen. The dagger moved quickly toward the protagonist, who, with a dark expression, secretly smiled. As soon as the butler's hand advanced, Lin Yuen grabbed him by the wrist. The butler was shocked to see that his target was not imprisoned. But the surprise also came with an attack, which struck him in the chest. The butler fell to his knees on the floor. His gloves, previously white, were stained red. Duke Carlo was shocked by what he saw. He trembled, pointing at Lin Yuen. I summoned you to take care of a mission. Are you trying to rebel? The protagonist returned the accusation to the Duke. Compared to the mission, I think your act of treason is far more serious. The Duke was shocked to see that Lin Yuen knew the truth. He took a step back, afraid. At that moment, the butler began to use his staff to stand up, grinding his teeth with tremendous effort. Now that you know, you must also perish. Since the mission only required him to capture the targets, Yuen couldn't permanently finish them off. He used spiritual magic to attack the butler and disarm him. As soon as the butler was shaken, Lin Yuen approached him. The protagonist delivered a heavy punch, stronger than anything the butler had ever seen in his entire life. The energy present in the attack caused the butler to be launched against a stone wall like a comet. As soon as he hit the wall, he fell to the floor. The Duke tried to flee into the mansion while shouting, That bastard! I'll make Sid punish him. But upon climbing a flight of stairs, Duke Carlo came face to face with someone. Lin Yuen was already there waiting for him, and seeing the Duke's surprise, he questioned, Weren't you planning to capture me? The Duke quickly tried to find an excuse. No, nonsense. I was planning to write a letter of recommendation to send to Sid. Oh, better yet, I should ask the king to reward you with a medal. The protagonist, however, declared, creating blue flames. If I capture you, the king will also give me a medal. The Duke tried to flee, but Lin Yuen punished him with a great punch which delivered his fury. When you were persecuting the innocent, did you even think about stopping? The Duke admitted he was wrong and swore he would let all the maids go. But for Lin Yuen, it was too late for the Duke to repent. The protagonist grabbed Duke Carlo by the collar and pulled him, declaring, "First, you will think about your confession." The Duke tried to convince Lin Yuen to free him, swearing he would give him everything he desired. Lin Yuen delivered an ultimatum to the Duke. "Say goodbye to your aristocratic title." The protagonist delivered a heavy punch, which punished the Duke for all his crimes, throwing him against a wall that collapsed from the impact. At that moment, Captain Sid arrived, mounted on a flying scorpion lion. "I hope I haven't arrived too late. Is Duke Carlo safe? Where is the infiltrated agent you mentioned?" The protagonist then revealed. "Unfortunately, Commander, the criminal who needs to be arrested is Duke Carlo. He is a traitor." Upon dismounting the scorpion lion, Sid showed his surprise at Lin Yuen's words and warned him, "You better know, attacking the Duke without evidence is a capital offense." On the ground, the Duke began to yell, "Do you know the punishment for a capital offense? Curse it! You sent a madman!" Sid warned Lin Yuen that his word was not enough to apprehend the Duke, but at that moment, a maid approached, declaring, "I know where the evidence is." Anna approached Lin Yuen and Sid, revealing, "I heard the Duke secretly plotting with the Snake People's civilization, and they even worshipped him in a secret chamber." Anna revealed that the secret room was not far from where they were, and all the evidence was hidden there. The Duke was so furious that his eyes turned red. He railed against Anna's words. "Nonsense! When did I have any connection with the Snake People's civilization?" Even bound, the Duke stood up, running toward Anna to silence her. Lin Yuen did not allow the Duke to approach Anna. With a punch full of energy, he slammed the bastard into the concrete and asked Sid, "Please, Commander, take the Duke to prison. I will return shortly with the evidence. The truth will be revealed soon, and the consequences will be taken." Sid sighed loudly and put his hand to his face due to stress. "Well, whether this turns out to be a great achievement or a great demerit, only the result of your search will reveal." Sid immediately ordered 2 guards to stay and help Lin Yuen with the search, and for the rest to take the Duke back to the camp. The protagonist approached Anna, asking her to lead them to the secret room. Anna truly trusted Lin Yuen. In her eyes, he was completely different from other people. Anna guided Lin Yuen and the 2 guards until they entered a secret passage in the mansion that led to the sewer. Lin Yuen was not surprised because of the Duke's dreams. Behind Lin Yuen, somewhat worried, the guards tightly held their spears. While following Anna, Lin Yuen wondered why she volunteered to reveal the Duke's conspiracy. It didn't take long for them to reach a large door in a sewer chamber, the place where Anna revealed Duke Carlo met with people from other kingdoms. Just by looking at the door, Lin Yuen could see that there were some unusual marks on it. Being cautious, he slowly opened the door. The guards who were behind Lin Yuen peeked inside, but it seemed there was no one there. However, in the next second, 3 giant snakes emerged, attacking the group. One of the guards who was further back shouted, "Back off, everyone!" Lin Yuen, however, merely swung his arm, destroying the snakes and reassuring everyone, "Don't be afraid. They're just some tiny snakes." A large spirit wolf was also summoned and used its fangs to grab the serpents' necks. One of the guards was relieved when he was saved, while the other was apprehensive about what might lie ahead. Lin Yuen frowned, as it seemed. Anna was not surprised by the attack. It was then that he thought that if they were silenced, there would be no way to prove the Duke's crimes. This made him wonder, could she be a snake woman disguised as a human, secretly interacting with the Duke? Feeling that the Duke was about to be exposed, she chose to cut off her own tail and escape. Lin Yuen decided to perform a test, throwing a snake-attracting potion to test the authenticity of the maid's identity. However, he told the others the opposite. "This is a snake repellent. It will drive the snakes out of the vicinity, so don't be afraid." The potion Lin Yuen threw on the ground quickly filled the entire sewer, including enveloping the maid, who did not seem to be affected by it. "I'm sorry. I didn't know there would be something like this inside, but the evidence must be there." The protagonist stared at Anna for a moment, and noticing no change in her behavior, proceeded to ignore her. He understood he was overthinking. Lin Yuen took the lead and entered a type of crypt where he found the evidence. There was a huge snake statue, and on one of the walls a hood was hanging. That was enough proof for the guards. "This is the Duke's crest. He really had a relationship with the snake men. This is a serious crime." Behind the guards, Anna had a gloomy look. But behind that look, she smiled maliciously when she saw her plan succeeded and requested, "Knights, please make him pay the price." The next morning, in a warehouse, Duke Carlo found himself imprisoned with 2 knights keeping watch over him. He was already extremely irritated. "A whole night has passed. Where is your evidence? How dare you taint a duke's reputation? As soon as I get out of here, I'll teach all of you useless people a lesson." Silence dismissing the Duke's complaints, Sid entered the warehouse shouting, "The evidence has been found! Interrogate him immediately!" The Duke quickly tried to deny having connections with the Snake Men, but one of the guards immediately slammed him onto the table. "Stop making excuses and confess your crimes, you damned traitor!" Sid was still surprised by the situation, as he never imagined Carlo was a traitor. He placed his hand on Lin Yuen's shoulder, congratulating him for the great service. "I have already reported what you did to the king, and your reward will arrive soon." The protagonist thanked the commander's kindness, acting humbly. "I only did what needed to be done." Throughout the Yatsai warehouse, the Duke's screams could be heard echoing, until he lost his voice. Sid immediately wanted to take action. The Snake People civilization must now possess a large amount of information about the Western Desert Kingdom. I will lead a team to investigate. As for the Duke's maids, we will probably have to clean up the mess. Lin Yuen was relieved, however, as he knew someone from Sid's own family who could help. The protagonist accepted the mission, assenting to the orders of the Knight Commander. A guard who was extracting Carlo's confessions warned Commander Sid that the prisoner was about to speak, and was ordered to prepare to write down everything he said. The butler ended up being taken to the same warehouse and immediately surrendered. "I can speak first. The Duke has several secrets." Before the butler started talking, the Duke threw himself on top of him, trying to silence him. As soon as he silenced the butler, Carlo immediately began to speak with a tone of weakness. "I admit it. I made some small deals with other forces, but only small deals. I voluntarily confess, so please, beg the king for me." Sid immediately took a dagger and stated with a dark look, "We have fought for our country for years, and you still betray us. You are a cursed bastard." With Carlo's confession, Lin Yuen completed the mission to capture the traitor, gaining another 1,000 reputation points with the Scorpion Tail Knights. However, this left him confused, as there was nothing mentioning the giant snake, not even a single detail. He hadn't accepted this ending, and said goodbye to Sid. Now that he has been brought to justice, I will take care of the maids. Sid gave him authorization to leave, and declared, "I will stay here to make Carlo spit out every one of his secrets." As soon as Lin Yuen left the warehouse and closed the door, the commander turned to the Duke. Stabbing the wooden table, Sid startled the Duke and shouted, "Confess honestly, who is the Snake Men's secret agent?" The Duke, frightened, immediately revealed another matter. "Those who hired me were from the Southern Kingdom. There are no Snake Men." At that moment, Lin Yuen had already returned to the Duke's residence. He remembered that, in his past life, someone had posted on the forum that Duke Carlo's family possessed a shield that belonged to the king. It had excellent attributes and special abilities. He especially sought such an item among Carlo's treasures. However, upon seeing the shield box completely empty, he was surprised. Has it already been taken? Did someone else know about this? Equipment? Sometime later, Lin Yuen returned to the outside of the large residence and found a guard who showed all the maids gathered, but revealed one of the maids was not found. Curious, Lin Yuen asked who was missing and discovered that the fugitive was none other than Anna. For Lin Yuen, there were only two options. Either the maid had suffered retaliation from the Snake Men, or his previous suspicion was correct. No matter which of the two options was correct, however, he intended to find her. Knowing that Anna couldn't have just disappeared, he went back inside the mansion, heading towards the secret passage that led to the sewers, the most suspicious place of the Duke's affairs. Descending to the sewers through the hole in one of the rooms in the mansion, Lin Yuen remembered the feeling that something was missing before. There was no reason for the Duke to reveal his dream about snakes if he was related to the Snake Men. While Lin Yuen was walking through the sewers, a mocking voice arose. "You are so slow." Lin Yuen quickly hid, as the voice was not speaking to him, but to another person. Anna was walking towards the person who spoke to her, reassuring, "Why the rush? You are not the one wandering around the Duke's mansion, so of course you can come and go as you please." In front of Anna was a man with a hood and scale mask. With his arms crossed, he mocked, "Has Duke Carlo already been caught?" Lin Yuen recognized this man. He was the snake master he encountered earlier. Immediately, Lin Yuen activated his invisibility. He wondered why Anna was meeting with such a player when she was just a game character. The snake master smiled, clicking his tongue several times. "As expected of you, Anna, you were born to be an actress. That idiot Duke must never have even imagined that the secret room was actually prepared by you." Putting aside her maid's clothes and wearing a battle uniform with purple lipstick, Anna mocked with her new intimidating air. They certainly would never even imagine. However, she remembered what had happened the night before and revealed, "There is a knight who is different. For some reason, he started to suspect that I was connected to the Snake Men and even tried to test me using a snake attraction potion. It's time for you to start acting." The Snake Master, however, thought that everything had been resolved by Anna and asked curiously, "What did such a person look like?" Anna handed the man a composite sketch of Lin Yuen, commenting, take care of this. I still need to finish the Snake Men's mission and continue to weaken the nobles of the Western Desert Kingdom. Curious, she asked the Snake Master how the work of replacing the snakes he had lost was going. However, he ignored her question upon picking up the portrait. His eyebrows immediately rose, and furious, he ground his teeth, crushing the paper while cursing, "That bastard! If it weren't for him, my beloved snakes wouldn't have left. Me, it was he who stole my secret dungeon." After observing the interaction, Lin Yuen was sure that Anna was the Snake Men's spy, whose purpose was to incriminate and eliminate the nobles of the Western Desert. Still, he wondered why he had completed the mission if the Duke had been incriminated. Well, he let that matter go, as he wanted to look for an opportunity to eliminate the two in front of him. Anna was surprised by the Snake Master's reaction, and asked curiously, "Have you met him before? He's just a knight who knows a little magic, right? Can't you even deal with that?" The Snake Master became furious upon hearing the mockery, and punched the wall while arguing, "What do you even know? He is much more capable than you saw. He can summon undeads. If it weren't for that cursed necromancer guarding the secret dungeon, would I be in such a situation?" Anna was curious upon hearing the Snake Master, wondering what the enemy's profession was. Upon confirming that the knight was a necromancer, the Snake Master asked Anna to lend him the Snake King Hazes. With a look consumed by red and the darkness of hatred, the Snake Master swore, "I will make him perish completely, totally, so that he never returns." Anna immediately refused. Irritation appeared in her voice and expression, seeing how the Snake Master was driven by personal emotions. "No way! The Snake King Hazes has already been assigned to someone else. As soon as he is exposed in the perception of the Western Desert's Grand Preceptor, it is very likely that he will be annihilated by him. That will be an unacceptable loss for the Snake Men civilization." Taken by the brute instinct of revenge, the Snake Master begged, "I can't wait to finish him off. You need to give the Snake King to me." Anna stared the Snake Master in the eyes and warned him with a dark voice, "I will not allow you to do anything rashly." Lin Yuen was observing the two arguing and seemed surprised. Generally, NPCs did not interact so much with players. This meant that the Snake Master might be using Anna to strengthen his reputation with the Snake Men civilization. Lin Yuen did not want to allow this to happen. Slowly, he drew his sword, preparing a sneak attack. However, before he acted, a large explosion occurred. Surprised, Lin Yuen looked at the attacked location. A gigantic snake had broken through a wall and appeared behind Anna, being commanded by the fake maid. The snake dominated the player in front of her with its size and impressiveness. Confident in being protected, Anna declared, "The Snake King Hazes can sense the fluctuation of my emotions. If you really want to attack me, I won't be able to control him." The Snake Master broke out in a cold sweat and laughed awkwardly after scoffing. "You two truly have a deep connection between master and servant." Anna held out her hand, stroking the Snake King while commenting, "Everything was part of this plan." Even irritated, the Snake Master prepared to leave. "I will find a way to resolve this. You can continue with your mission, but don't forget what the boss said. You need to cooperate with my actions." Anna agreed with him and asked him to let her rest for a while. Having worked for that old man was really disgusting. We only found a slightly better shield this time. After being so disgusted with that fat pig for so long, it seemed like a waste of time. The Snake Master just didn't want to talk and said goodbye without even looking at Anna. Since Lin Yuan's invisibility was ineffective against the Snake King Hazes, he couldn't attack carelessly. He had only one option. He released a small snake to track the Snake Master and thus allow him to attack when he was distant from the boss monster. The small undead snake followed the Snake Master through the sewer paths, crawling in silence. At the same time, Anna and the Snake King Hazes passed through the opening in the wall that the Snake King created with its attack. Anna reassured him, "Don't worry, soon, very soon, you will see the light of day again." Planning to ask the knights about the Duke when he left, Lin Yuen, however, wanted to capture the Snake Master first, as he was related to the first loyalist. Lin Yuen descended from the hiding place where he was, reaching the corridor where Anna and his target met. Lin Yuen possessed the Sober Dao spirit skill, which made him confident that he would be able to catch the Snake Master off guard. Using a map, he located the target he was about to ambush. Despite what Lin Yuen expected, the Snake Master ended up finding his pursuing monster and activating the perception paralysis skill. He destroyed the small undead snake. The Snake Master, discovering he was being followed, looked around worriedly. He immediately pulled out a scroll he had prepared in advance. He swore at that moment that he would finish off his pursuer sooner or later. Just as he was about to use the scroll, Lin Yuen managed to spot him. However, as soon as the protagonist Arrived where he was, the Snake Master had already disappeared. Lin Yuen saw the remaining teleportation particles and was surprised. This is extremely expensive, a single-use item. He used it so carelessly. This shows that the Loyalists' resources are much more abundant than I imagined. Against someone so rich, Lin Yuen realized he needed to raise as much funds as possible. It's time to stock up on as many anti-static potions as possible. As soon as the electric attribute dungeon opens, they will be extremely sought after. To prepare, Lin Yuen still needed to occupy the secret dungeon, the Serpent's Lair. Sometime later, in an enormous residence, even more luxurious than Duke Carlo's, the voice of a girl in shock could be heard. Heavens! These girls suffered so much. Let them stay. I can teach them how to embroider. It's better than them becoming beggars. Looking at each of the maids, Edith even cried sadly upon finding out what they had been through. Lin Yuen was relieved to see that Edith had agreed to help. The protagonist said goodbye to Edith, and as he was leaving with some knights, he asked one of them, "Has Carlo's confession been prepared?" The knight answered everything he knew. "The commander has already taken care of preparing it, but I never expected him to secretly conspire with the Southern Empire. What a shame for him. The Southern Empire is our mortal enemy." Lin Yuen discovered through the knight with whom Carlo was making deals. In the history of the immortal world, the Southern Empire and the Western Desert were always enemies. This made Lin Yuen hope that the disgraced Duke would receive the punishment he deserved. Without Lin Yuen noticing, behind some bushes there was a hooded being. On his shoulder was a red-eyed crow. With a whispering voice, the man ordered the bird, "Tell the boss that the target has already separated from the knights, and he can act at any moment." The crow took flight, unexpectedly speaking. Got it. Got it. During the afternoon, Lin Yuen had returned to the desert capital. The recipe for the potent anti-electricity potion was an item only he possessed. Preparing such a potion required high-level alchemists, but most of them were in the major guilds. Since the recipe disappeared after one use, if the alchemist betrayed him after learning it, it would be a problem. Thinking about this, Lin Yuen went to a bulletin board. He knew that hiring an alchemist without guild alliances was the safest option. Since high-rank alchemists were rare, he wanted to post a reward and see if any candidate would show up. Suddenly, Lin Yuen saw a piece of paper stuck to the bulletin board that caught his attention. There was a name he recognized, Luo Qingyan. In Lin Yuan's past life, she had been one of the top 10 alchemists in the Western Desert. Her main class was a ranger, capable of launching long-range attacks. Luo Qingyan had also never joined a guild. Lin Yuen took the quest poster published by Luo Qingyan. She was asking for help to defeat 10 granite golems to obtain the monster's core. Immediately upon taking the poster, Luo Qingyan was added to Lin Yuen's friends list. Luo Qingyan immediately showed surprise by sending a message to Lin Yuen. "Did someone really dare to accept my quest? Didn't you see the members of the Blazing Flame Guild obstructing my publication?" Stating he had never heard of such a guild, the protagonist asked Luo Qingyan where they could meet to complete the mission. The woman who was currently in a laboratory smiled upon seeing the hired person's impatience and sent a message. "I'll send the coordinates. See you later." The protagonist received the coordinates and hoped that Luo Qingyan would be someone he could work with, as master alchemists were rare and hard to find. Large stone pillars formed a mountain range that blocked the passage of the sun. Lin Yuen was already leaning against one of the rocks when a woman with long brown hair and a quiver at her waist approached. "You're the one who accepted my quest?" The beautiful archer waved at Lin Yuen with a smile as she quickly approached. "Are you alone? Granite golems are elite monsters, you know. Are you sure you can handle them by yourself?" Lin Yuen, upon seeing this woman, ended up recognizing her. Unexpectedly, she was the woman he had seen drunk in a tavern a few days ago. With her face slightly flushed, Luo Qingyan moved her curvy body close to Lin Yuen, as if trying to seduce him. "I didn't expect you to be such a handsome guy. I guess I'll let you accept the quest." Taking the lead, Luo Qingyan bravely stated, "Be careful. I, your big sister, will protect you with my bow and arrow." Lin Yuen, however, didn't think the archer was very reliable in combat. Since there were no other alchemists available, however, Lin Yuen had to endure it, as she was the only option. As they followed along, Luo Qingyan commented on the mission. "These granite golems are hidden among the piles of stones. They always ambush people." As soon as Luo Qingyan commented on such a thing, a stone not too far from them moved slightly. The protagonist looked back, frowning. Luo Qingyan hadn't noticed anything, and commented to reassure, "Don't worry. Even if the mission fails, I, your sister, won't blame you." It was at that moment that a large granite golem, a level 15 monster the size of a truck, jumped towards them. The monster landed, smashing the ground like a heavy sledgehammer, but Lin Yuen and Luo Qingyan managed to dodge in time by jumping back. Luo Qingyan quickly drew her bow and pulled an arrow, releasing a green energy with a slight spiritual touch. "Leave this to me! It's a promise! Your big sister will protect you!" The arrow struck the granite golem's humped back, but didn't even scratch it. Luo Qingyan realized that, as expected, compared to alchemy, her combat skills were useless. As soon as Luo Qingyan attacked the golem, countless others appeared. They were hiding under the ground. She had become the target of all of them. The protagonist quickly drew his sword and took the lead in the battle to protect Luo Qingyan. "Hide well, I'll take care of them." While preparing an attack, Lin Yuen remembered the characteristics of the granite golems. They possessed high defense, so he needed to fight against that. Using spiritual power to attack the stone heads of the golems, Lin Yuen advanced towards them in a frontal fight. Seeing Lin Yuen fight, Luo Qingyan felt like she had seen him before. He was a young, cool, and sharp-looking man. Shocked, Luo Qingyan finally remembered, "Isn't he the guy who chased those thugs for me at the tavern? Does he really dare to defeat these monsters alone?" Luo Qingyan became extremely worried, believing that Lin Yuen wouldn't succeed and would probably curse her because of it. Immediately, she ran to try to help him, grabbing a potion. "Don't worry, little brother. I'll give, you some healing potions right away." Lin Yuen, however, was already leaping towards the monsters. In mid-air, he opened the gate to the underworld so that his beasts brought back to life could be freed from rest and do what they did best. Kobolds with sharp pickaxes attacked the golems, mining their bodies. It didn't take long for small orange minerals to spread everywhere. Lin Yuen picked up one of those hand-sized crystals and handed it to Luo Qingyan. "This should be the granite golem core you are looking for." Luo Qingyan was shocked to see the golem core in Lin Yuan's hands. "How did you get it? Did my eyes get cloudy from staying up all night making potions? I didn't even see what happened." Changing the subject, Luo Qingyan asked shamelessly, "Was it you who took me to the hotel that day? I owe you a big favor." Unfortunately, she didn't think she could help. "But with your strength, why did you accept the mission? You could have easily received countless other missions, rewards." Lin Yuen was honest with the archer and alchemist. "I wanted to find a high-level alchemist to hire and prepare potions for me, but I don't trust anyone in any guild. You coincidentally met my requirements." Stating that the business would be profitable, Lin Yuen asked if Luo Qingyan would be interested. Luo Qingyan didn't think twice before accepting, and, already familiar with Lin Yuen, she invited him. "How about we have a drink together and talk a bit about your plans?" Lin Yuen was in a hurry, however, and asked her to immediately sign the contract so they could discuss it later. Luo Qingyan was not used to contracts, but since it was a requirement from the little brother she had just met, she signed it. Lin Yuen managed to keep the information secure and saw Luo Qingyan agree to sign the cooperation agreement. With a smile, Luo Qingyan commented, "Now your big sister will work for you. What do you want her to help you with?" The protagonist was about to take the potion recipe out of his coat when he noticed something. He looked at the environment, realizing something. He had the feeling that he had seen that location in his past life. It seemed to follow a certain pattern. Lin Yuen immediately summoned his scorpion lion. The flying mount, upon appearing, startled Luo Qingyan, who took a step back. Before Luo Qingyan knew what she needed to do, she saw Lin Yuen fly away. Flying over the region, Lin Yuen saw the same landscape he had seen published on a forum in his past life. The numerous rocks were arranged in a formation. In the middle of them, a large rough stone pillar, pointed to by an X mark of smaller stones. That was, in fact, the entrance to a secret dungeon. Lin Yuen entered the dungeon with the appearance of a crypt. Behind him was Luo Qingyan and a kobold further back, guarding the rear. Looking around, Luo Qingyan revealed she had never imagined there would be a secret dungeon in the stone forest. She became worried that it was just the two of them there. Lin Yuen was more focused on remembering the information he had read at that time on the forum. The only information was the image of the entrance. There was no information about the areas inside. Secret dungeons were extremely risky, but their rewards were incredible. Even without information, he wanted to continue. Seeing Luo Qingyan's concern, the protagonist reminded her how she herself insisted on following him. This made the alchemist smile, mocking her own actions. "Oh, I was just curious. Don't worry, I don't want any items. I just wanted to learn something new." Leading the way, Lin Yuen asked her to follow his instructions. Seeing the main entrance just ahead, Lin Yuen approached carefully. He stopped suddenly as something appeared ahead of him. He found a large hall where stairs descended into a gigantic space. There, he discovered subterranean ruins of the Azik civilization, an ancient tomb. Descending the stairs, he told Luo Qingyan about the Azik civilization. In the world of immortals, this civilization worshipped the afterlife. They sought the transcendence of the soul, a state of immortality, and possessed powerful techniques to create artifacts with bodies. However, this civilization perished hundreds of years ago. Discovering a sarcophagus in the center of the ruins, the duo approached it. Since they had a bad feeling about it, Lin Yuen sent one of the kobolds to check the sarcophagus in his place. Luo Qingyan even moved away, afraid of what might happen. Suddenly, Lin Yuen heard a strange sound, as if mosquitoes had appeared. He quickly looked back and saw a beam of light approaching. The beam of light rapidly snaked, heading toward him. Lin Yuen managed to hastily dodge the attack, which passed him, but unexpectedly continued to advance. It was heading toward Luo Qingyan. The alchemist did not have the same agility as Lin Yuen and ended up being hit and thrown against a stone, while numerous hooded beings carrying scythes and dark energy emerged throughout the tomb. They were dark-robed specters, level 17 monsters. Lin Yuen, Luo Qingyan, and the kobold were completely surrounded by the dark beings. An energy continued to snake throughout the tomb, worrying Lin Yuen. Those appeared to be insect-type monsters. Luo Qingyan had difficulty even getting up. She couldn't even feel like she could move her body. Lin Yuen positioned himself in front of Luo Qingyan and ordered the kobold, "Take her out of the dungeon!" The kobold quickly took Luo Qingyan in his arms, running fast. Luo Qingyan, before being taken away, opened her inventory. She grabbed numerous potions, leaving them behind so that Lin Yuen could use them and increase his power at least temporarily. The potions fell to the floor, broke, and activated their area effect. Lin Yuen received a 10% agility bonus from the first potion. The second potion, for attack increase, increased his damage dealt by 10%. The defense bonus potion increased his defense by the same value of 10%. He was facing monsters specialized in fast attacks. Dealing with them first was his priority, so Lin Yuen used everything he had to brandish his sword and attack the shadows inside the dark robes. Lin Yuen advanced toward each of the monsters and, surrounded by a magical energy, strengthened his sword attacks, eliminating each of them with the blink of an eye's agility. At the same time, the attack that hit Luo Qingyan earlier was pursuing him like a living projectile. The protagonist frowned upon seeing how the object was approaching. He quickly turned around, counterattacking the projectile. By saving himself, Lin Yuen was able to realize that the person behind the attack was smarter than he had initially imagined, as that person knew how to take advantage of opportunities. A large scarab appeared after Lin Yuen's block. Such a monster had 0 defense, but Lin Yuen couldn't even cause damage to it, as if it had some protection mechanism. Lin Yuen discovered that this was the Azir Empire Scarab, a special monster of unknown level. Despite having only 100 health points and 0 defense, it possessed 1,000 attack points. With absurd speed and such absurd single-target damage, the Scarab managed to cover the gaps between the techniques Lin Yuen possessed. It became a monster of desire for Lin Yuen, who chased it without letting it escape. Lin Yuen summoned the Thunder Scorpion to block the Scarab's path. However, the Scarab snaked around the Scorpion, passing it before the monster summoned by Lin Yuen could notice. The protagonist, however, would not let the little monster escape. Once again, a monster appeared in the Scarab's path. This time, the dragon Lin Yuen defeated with Leng Yue. But once again, the Scarab skillfully zigzagged, escaping. However, the Scarab ended up fleeing in the direction where Lin Yuen already expected. The protagonist had leaped toward it, wielding his sword and pointing it downward. Lin Yuen's sword fell onto the Scarab, putting an end to its escape. By staking the sword into the insect, Lin Yuen dragged it for a long distance, causing it to continuously lose 1 health point. With a large explosion, Lin Yuen finished dragging the insect. Seeing the Scarab finished, the protagonist gasped with exhaustion. "Although I could only deal a little damage each time, it won't escape anymore." Sword stuck in the Scarab, Lin Yuen checked that the monster's health had reached 0. He immediately used his necromancy powers, wishing, "Now you will fight for me." The power fell onto the Scarab, which rose, flapping its wings. As soon as it revived, the Scarab cried out in surprise. The protagonist was surprised to see its reaction, as this showed that it possessed a certain level of intelligence. The Scarab immediately began to fly, as if it were trying to guide Lin Yuen. The protagonist followed the Scarab that went to the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus was still closed, but the Scarab landed on top of it at a very specific point. A large beam of light arose coming from the coffin, which began to open. Lin Yuen was shocked to understand why there was no information about the tomb in his past life. It was because it was necessary to make the scarab cooperate, and no one had managed to do such a thing. As soon as the scarab opened the sarcophagus, a chained golden book appeared, releasing a glow of the same color. Lin Yuen was congratulated by the system, as he had obtained the Book of Curses. He could pay a price and learn a skill of his choice from the chained book. Some skill options appeared. Damage amplification was a level 1 curse. A group of enemies would be cursed and receive 50% extra damage. As a learning cost, Lin Yuen would give up 200 maximum health points. The weakened vision skill cursed a group of enemies, reducing their visual range. The cost of 50 vision points needed to be paid to learn the skill. The opposition skill cursed an enemy, reducing the damage they dealt to the bearer. To learn the skill, one had to lose 100 attack points. The counterattack skill cursed a group of enemies, causing them to receive part of the damage dealt. To obtain the skill, 10 strength points needed to be lost. The last possible skill was fear. At level 1, it cursed an enemy, causing them to fall into a state of fear. To learn the skill, it was necessary to lose 5 spirit points. Reading all the information, Lin Yuen realized that they were truly convenient for the civilization that revered the afterlife. They were mainly focused on negative effects. Judging by the effects, the skills did not seem to be easy to dispel. Lin Yuen was interested in the damage amplification skill, as it was the most effective in combat. Losing 200 health points was not a big problem for him, since the scarab compensated for Lin Yuen's lack of quick elimination skills. He believed that choosing the curse would be better for fighting groups of enemies. In addition, with the Dark Dao Spirit's crowd control removal ability, he could hit key enemies with more precision in battle. Walking towards the monsters he defeated, Lin Yuen discovered that they were already undeads originally, so he couldn't resurrect them. The scarab that now followed Lin Yuen possessed a paralyzing skill. Combined with its high speed and life, it meant that when he encountered the snake tamer again, the enemy would not easily escape. Sometime later, Lin Yuen left the tomb. He had plans to make, return to the city and prepare a shop. He needed to start stocking the potions. Just as he planned to leave, Lin Yuen was surprised as Luo Qingyan was thrown toward him. He looked toward a ravine where the group that attacked Luo Qingyan was. There was a barbarian, a man with a large axe, and another with a large sword. There was also a mage, and leading them was a man with long golden hair. He looked at Lin Yuen maliciously. "You're the one who took her mission? Don't you know she's on the Blazing Flame Guild's list? It seems you're tired of living." Trying to get up, Luo Xingyan warned Lin Yuen, "Little brother, find a chance to run. They are after me. This group of people is weak, but they insist on stealing my job, and since they were wiped out by monsters, now they are trying to blame me." The guild leader held his staff with a golden bird's head and yelled, "You damned woman! If we hadn't helped you fight the stone golems, our brothers wouldn't have lost levels. You are to blame for our loss. If you don't pay 30 gold coins, neither you nor your friend will leave alive today." While casting his threats, the leader of the Blazing Flame Guild saw a dark energy emerge. The energy spread to him and his guild members, who didn't even understand what was happening. The mage, knowledgeable about magic, soon recognized what was happening. They were being targeted by a curse. A large magic circle had appeared, with evil inscriptions. The curse had descended upon them. Lin Yuen's scarab flew over him, getting ready. Lin Yuen smiled maliciously, returning the words that were directed at him. "Don't even think about leaving here alive." This had been the perfect opportunity for Lin Yuen to test his new skills, in conjunction with the scarab. Being affected by the curse, the leader of the Blazing Flame Guild yelled at his mage, "What useless trash! Can't even repel a curse!" The mage tried everything, but he couldn't remove the curse. This curse didn't seem to be the type they had faced before. The guild leader yelled, "Don't think I won't win just because you succeeded in your sneak attack!" He opened his arms, confident and despising Lin Yuen. "This is just one curse. There are 4 of us. Defeating you will be like eating a piece of cake." But at that very moment, an attack fell on one of his team members. The mage fell to the ground, already unconscious. Around him, a smoke from the attack flames still lingered. The protagonist extended his hand toward them, while a green energy emerged, and declared, "Amplifying damage through curses, allowing greater mobility for the scarab to eliminate the enemy's healer. This makes the tactics more flexible." The leader of the Blazing Flame Guild yelled, and releasing his energy, he charged, "Quick! His skills must be on cooldown. Defeat him now." A whirlwind was created by him. As he stated, "This guy is attacking with summons. He is definitely a long-range attacking class. Get close to him quickly." The protagonist saw the swordsman and the barbarian with the axe approaching. He unexpectedly smiled. In Lin Yuan's hand, the sword appeared. The remaining trio of the Blazing Flame Guild was shocked to see him draw a sword, showing that they were completely wrong. Lin Yuen eliminated all of them with energy attacks wielded by the sword. They didn't even have a chance to get close to him. At the same time, the scarab moved quickly, attacking each of them. They tried to counterattack, but the extremely mobile target only suffered 1 damage per attack. The leader of the Blazing Flame Guild fell among several stones, breaking them with the weight of his own body. Seeing Lin Yuen approach, he asked incredulously, "This is impossible. How did you defeat my team so easily? What is your profession?" He tried to retreat, as he never expected to encounter someone like Lin Yuen, so he quickly tried to recruit him. "Why don't you join my Blazing Flame Guild? How much did that woman pay you? I can pay twice as much, no, 5 omis. Times as much." Lin Yuen, however, realized that the man who offered him money was preparing for an attack. Immediately, Lin Yuen released a dark wolf to attack and send the bastard who had dark plans against him to the afterlife. The leader of the Blazing Flame Guild was shocked to see the attack. Lin Yuen just turned to leave, while the explosions happened behind him. At the same time, large movements were happening in the forest. Several hooded figures were running, carrying axes, bows, and whips. They stopped suddenly, and one of them, with a scar over his eye, asked while gasping, "Is it a coincidence? Or have we already been exposed?" At that moment, someone appeared before them as if they had teleported, and commented, "It seems there are 3 more little rats here." One of the hooded men became furious, but didn't even know what to do, other than try to dodge, when a powerful attack fell on where he was. Lin Yuen ended up realizing that the 3 were on a completely different level compared to the Blazing Flame Guild. They might be part of another group. The 3 quickly recovered. Being exposed, they joined forces to attack. The archer launched her arrows, while a warrior advanced carrying his axe, and another used his lasso to attack. The protagonist dodged the arrows, moving his body diagonally. The rope tried to attack his foot to make him trip, but he spun his body in time and, placing his hand on the ground, propelled himself upward, dodging another attack. Upon landing on the ground, he provoked the group. "Use every trick you have up your sleeve." Faced with such arrogance, the warrior used all his strength to attack, luring Lin Yuen into a trap.